Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Moran and I'm here with Andrew Velez, Joe Dehls, and this is now episode 147. In this episode, we are going to recap the biggest storylines from Wild Card Weekend and preview the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. A quick Patreon shout out to Woody Buckets, Tizzy, Corey, Max, Freddie, Dylan, Playboy, Orlando, Chris, Charles, Michael, Greg, Cole, On Bloods, Ka, Liam, T Grove, B Money, Ryan, Epic Lankiness, Travis Ball, Aaron Moran, Matthew Jimenez, It's Black Ace, Anthony, BJ, PJs, Langston, Jazzy Juice, Johannes, Ruben, Brian, Ricky, E, Enzo, Sean, Muffins, John, Sean Triplet, Court Cousins, Ben Mack, P. Dot, George, Hakari, Mateen, Dave 2 Freedom, and Jay Aqua.
Good old Jay Aqua, man. Let's get it going.
It's great to be back in the studio for the football episode.
Emoji.
And I did go to the Rams game. I was Ramily. They gave us this towel, everybody that went to the game. It was an awesome time. It was really fun. The game was a blowout, as we all know. But the TV doesn't do the stadium and the crowd justice for how loud it was. I mean, I was turned up.
Yeah?
I was turned up.
Every video you posted, it was awesome.
Yeah, good ass seats too.
I was turned the fuck up, I'm gonna be honest.
Bro, that stadium's crazy. That
It's
ring
beautiful,
around
bro. I would love to go. It's the Super Bowl's
Jumbotron?
there this year, right?
Yeah, it's a Super Bowl.
It's gonna be
but
tough.
apparently it might be in Dallas because of COVID.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Oh wow, for real?
Yeah.
yeah.
SoFi is a beautiful stadium. They have five basically like levels.
Yeah.
So it's very high. I told myself that if I was gonna go to the game, that I'm gonna get good seats because it didn't cost that much.
crazy.
Yeah,
Seats
it
were
was
not good.
it was $350 and that's like a lot. But for those seats, I
For a
don't think it
playoff
was
game,
that.
that's
Yeah,
not crazy.
Not at all.
I got them before they clinched a home playoff game, so they were pretty cheap at the time. They like skyrocketed after the Cardinals lost and stuff like that. But yeah, just sitting at the fifth level, I can't imagine it, bro. Like I do it at the Jets game with MetLife because I had season tickets this year at the 300 level, like all 22 view, and knowing that SoFi has two more levels above that. Yeah. I was like, nah,
Real
bro. Like
nosebleeds.
I sit far enough here.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't do it. But yeah, it was a fun time. I bought a fake chain with the Rams thing
Bro,
from
that
somebody.
was so
Yeah,
lit. That was so lit.
Yeah, I actually made a mistake, bro, because it's falling apart because it's something cheap. Because I bought it off of somebody selling it outside the stadium, but they sold it in the stadium. So I messed up in that regard.
It's
I could
probably
have
more
bought it
expensive
in
in the stadium, though.
Yeah, maybe it cost $40 though.
Either way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It cost. So I probably should have bought it in there, bro. I was wearing it as I was walking down to my seat. My chain comes off and I have to fix it. I'm like, these bastards got me, bro. I'm like, oh my God, they skimped me, bro. But before we start the show, I never shouted out Chris Mason, but he added the podcast and said, at Pick a Side Pod, love the show, became a new Patreon supporter. Instead of a shout out, can I get Joel to apologize for saying the Vikings were going to beat my Rams? So this was a long time ago.
This was.
And, you know, I did become
Here
a
we
Ram
go.
fan
This is
for the night.
unbelievable.
For the night. I appreciate that. I
fine.
appreciate the
We'll
honesty.
allow it.
Yes,
I will
and
allow it.
Look,
I will
just
allow
a
it.
disclaimer for the show today. I'm not a Rams fan no more.
Unbelievable.
It was just for one night. I'm not a Rams fan no more. I know you're gonna pick them against the Bucs. Do you really think I'm gonna do it? Absolutely.
You got to
not.
ride, man.
And we'll talk
Don't
about
be
it
on the
later
wrong
in the
side of
show.
history.
You do gotta
Don't be
ride.
on the wrong side of history. And another thing I'm going to say, it's going to be crazy when the Rams are playing a home game come Super Bowl time. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
And also Corey Lee, who's a Patreon supporter on TikTok, commented on one of my videos. Give me a shout out on your show this week. I'm a Patreon. Love the work and content you're doing on the podcast. So shout out to Corey Lee for the positive and supportive comment. But yeah, I'm happy to finally be back in the studio.
No doubt.
great.
No doubt.
I am still coughing a little bit. I mean, before when I was doing the intro, I threw up in my mouth. So because of that, I had,
Bro's on his super spreader world tour,
Oh,
man.
yeah, we're done.
You gotta.
We're done.
You
yeah.
gotta.
I mean, you work from home. You'll be fine. Drew goes to a nursing home.
If they ever see this,
First
I'm
responder
sorry,
Drew's
guys.
screwed.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Most of them are women, though.
They are.
They're like
they are.
1%.
Not that, yeah, I was gonna say there's like 5 or 6 classmates of mine that are guys.
Yeah.
The rest of them are all women. They're cool
Nice.
for a majority.
Yeah. So
the hospital
Those who listen are cool. In the hospital, it's
All women.
99%.
Yeah. Male nurse is hard to come
That's
by.
why we get chicken when we get to the
Facts.
end result. I actually want to give a shout out. I almost forgot. When I was at the Dolphins game, _ Mike Just Do It. Dude was really cool. He's actually a Patriot fan, not a Dolphins fan. But he was really cool. Bro bought me a beer. Really solid dude. We chopped it up before the game started. Met his wife. Really cool guy. Just want to give you a shout out. I know we weren't in person last time, so I figured we wait till we're back in the studio to give you your due diligence. So I really appreciate the hospitality you showed me over there. Hopefully we get to link up again next time we go to a game. Any of you guys want to link up when we go to games? That's why we do this, to interact with you guys. So shout out to you, Mike. Really nice meeting you and your wife.
yes, sir. Our goal one day, hopefully, we can accomplish this, is to do like live shows, and we can have
So
venues, and you guys can pull up. But also just planning out trips as a podcast. Like, I know I told you guys about the Senior Bowl, but Melvin has his first UFC fight, which is a friend of
Dude, it actually
close
got
friend of
canceled.
Drew's and Joel's.
It got canceled.
It got canceled today, actually.
Guy got scared. He pulled
did.
out.
Oh, he did?
It's in Alabama, right? The
Nah,
Senior
he
Bowl?
didn't. He didn't get
Yeah.
scared. He got something. I think he might have gotten sick or something. But we're gonna say he got scared.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, but hopefully if we get to travel to places, we can see where you guys are at and interact with you guys when we go to different places.
Big facts.
But right now, school just started, so I don't know when the next time that's going to be.
That's a fact.
Yeah, school started for us. We'll still be dropping
heads,
2
man.
episodes a
Young
week,
heads.
no
Young
doubt.
heads.
Young
Get
heads.
out of here. Get
I
out of
remember
here.
when I was in college.
Come
man.
on now. I got
Good
my
times.
bachelor's already.
That's facts. Yeah.
Double bachelor. Come on.
In this episode, we're going to recap the wild card weekend, and then we're going to preview all the games in the divisional round that are happening this weekend. Later on in the show, I think the biggest storyline here of this weekend was the Cowboys collapsing versus the Niners. I mean, they looked flat going in. They lost 23-17. The score doesn't look too bad, but you watch the game, it didn't look like the Cowboys ever had control. Now, what do you make of the Cowboys losing like this to the Niners, the undisciplined nature of their play, the penalties they had? Do you think Mike McCarthy should get fired? I know that's been a growing narrative. What are your thoughts on this game? I'll start with you, Joe.
This game really just felt like how the Cowboys franchise has been the last 10 or 15 years. They've always been good, more than a competent organization. They've never been a laughingstock, never been the Cleveland Browns or Detroit Lions, but they've also never been good enough to win a big game or even win one game in the playoffs as is. So when you look at this game, I mean, it's easy to look at the last play by Dak and say, oh, that's the reason why they lost the game. That's not the reason. They had a million penalties. The 49ers should have won the game earlier if Jimmy G just waited a split second more. Trent Williams gets set. Game's over. We don't even see that. But really, this game just, like I said, it just seems like that's what the Cowboys have been. And especially this game, and it ties down to the head coach. Because Mike McCarthy probably wasn't the most popular hire a couple years ago by Jerry Jones. I wasn't a big fan of it. He came in. Kellen Moore has been great, and he's getting some head coaching interviews in the last few days or so. But then the first DC he brought in, worst defense we've seen in God knows how long. This year, he did fix that. Dan Quinn has been spectacular. But I went back, and I was like, I wonder why Jerry Jones hired Mike McCarthy. So I found this quote. I think it was on NFL.com, and Jerry Jones listed a handful of reasons why he was set on McCarthy as soon as it became clear that the Cowboys had an opening to fill. He wanted someone who had a strong command of how to direct a team and compete at the highest level. Not sure if McCarthy's been able to do that. Experience working and developing a future Hall of Fame quarterback. Yeah, you have Aaron Rodgers. Dak is good. He's not Aaron Rodgers. Depth of knowledge on the workings of the league. He told Jerry Jones in the interview that, I watched every single snap from the Cowboys game. And then in the press conference when he did get hired, he said, yeah, that was a lie. But sometimes you have to say stuff, to get the job. So not a great start there. Extensive context and quality coaches and NFL figures. I guess Dan Quinn's been solid. A natural instinct of the game. I don't know how true that is. And familiarity working with a storied franchise with worldwide popularity and high expectations. So if you want to say that, sure. But you go through this list. Is McCarthy really any of these things? Probably not. I don't know if it ultimately falls on him. The Cowboys overall as a team weren't really good, And McCarthy in general, even if you look back at his days in the Packers, when you have the best quarterback damn near every season, if not top 2 or 3 outside of a couple of years, Rodgers goes down. They were great in 2011, going 15-1, but then lost the divisional game to the Giants that year where they were big favorites. After that, went 11 wins, 8, 12, 10, 10, 7, which is good, but you have the best quarterback every year, and you have the best quarterback easily in your division every single year. Detroit was bad almost every year there. Minnesota had, here's here and there, and Chicago's been a mess for God knows how long. And then you see what he did in Dallas. Mike Nolan wasn't really a good hire, and then the questionable clock management that comes up game after game, it seems like year after year. This is something that has been following him since his time in Green Bay, and it's not only just, the play call. I don't know who you want to blame it on. If you want to blame it on Kellen Moore, at the end of the day, Mike McCarthy's the head coach. He's the one who's going to get the fault or the praise if they win or lose that game. So I'm ultimately putting on McCarthy. Me and Drew talked about it the other day. Mm-hmm. Maybe Dak should have audibled out of that.
Could not agree more.
And just said, hey, because, even if you do somehow do it perfectly, right? You have 14 seconds. You have to do it absolutely perfectly. Maybe you have 2 seconds. So you have 1 shot at the end zone. What's the difference between one shot at the end zone at the 25 or 2 shots at the end zone at the 40? Is there really a big difference in win percentage? Because you're still going to have to throw some sort of a jump ball. The Niners know you have to get into the end zone. So what's really the point there? It ended up costing them the game. And it just seems like year in and year out, the Cowboys are good enough, but just not able to get over the hump.
This was tough for me. I love the boys. I really do. I've supported them for years now since Tony Romo was there. But Ezekiel Elliott is probably my favorite running back in the league. It was tough to watch, truthfully. That first half was really brutal by the Cowboys. Offensive line, they had no discipline. Lyle Collins was jumping nonstop, false starting. Basically, it seemed as if every quarter there was a penalty on this offensive line. It's tough because the offensive line is supposed to be the cornerstone of this Dallas Cowboys team as of right now. Obviously, you look at their defense, and they turned the ball over a bunch, and they have a bunch of big names: Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, DeMarcus Lawrence, Van Der Esch, who he had a decent game this past weekend. But that's not what the Cowboys are built off of, at least this season. They were the number 1 offense in total yards, number 1 offense and points scored. The offensive line is a big part of the success that the Cowboys had, and they were one of the main reasons why the Cowboys lost this past weekend. You look at San Fran and how many sacks that Jimmy G had on him. 0. You look at Dak Prescott. He was sacked 5 times.
Pressured a ton.
Nick Bosa was a force to be reckoned with this weekend. He was amazing. The pressure they were getting on Dallas was crazy. Ezekiel Elliott was basically a non-factor. 12 carries, 31 yards. He had some explosive plays where it was a lot of him making things happen. The O-line really did not help these guys. There were many plays where you look at the play to CeeDee Lamb over the middle of the field on a 3rd down in their territory. A huge play by Dak and CeeDee to get them around 20 to 25 yards. Called back on a holding call. It's just the little things that they did throughout the entirety of the game, truthfully. Dak would make a play, and you look at the stats, and it's just glaring. Oh, Dak had a terrible game. Had a QBR under 30. I'm not looking at Dak and looking at that's the main reason why the Cowboys lost. Was he a reason that they lost? Sure. Because I look at that last play, and I do put a little bit of blame on Dak Prescott. You're getting paid almost $40 million a year. You have the right to audible out of that call and to draw up some other play. I know Dak Prescott knows the playbook, and I know that he obviously is good at audibling. Why not call it there? In a situation you have 14 seconds left, you have no timeouts. I don't know who in the Cowboys organization genuinely believed that running a QB draw in that scenario was the right idea there. Because even if all goes right, like you mentioned, you have 1 second left for a Hail Mary type play. It's 25 yards. It's not really a Hail Mary, but that's it. That's the game right there. Or you draw 2 to 3 more plays at 3 at most, going to the sideline, making something happen, at least getting to around that 20 to 15 yard line. They got to the 25, I believe, with that QB draw. You wasted so much time with that one play when you could have earned yourself 2 or 3 more plays. And that's the game right there. Unfortunately, Dallas wasn't able to get it done. You look at both sides of the ball. the Niners were trying to give this game to Dallas. I'm looking at this Niners team. That first half Niners, that second half Niners, two completely different teams. Defensively, they did their thing without a doubt. But offensively, Jimmy G was borderline perfect in the first half. Where you look at the second half, Jimmy G was genuinely trying to give Dallas the game. The terrible overthrow to Ayuk, where Ayuk was all in space by himself. And you look at the throw where he threw the interception, completely missed his receiver by 3 yards, just a little bit high. Jimmy G, as you mentioned, that QB draw, that if he just would have waited a couple more seconds or a half second longer, that's the game right there. Instead, you give the ball over to Dallas to give them the number one offense this year, a chance to score. Dallas had a bunch of opportunities that they could have seized, even with all the mistakes that they had made to get up to that point. And that's why I don't have that much confidence going into this weekend with the Niners right now. Dallas is a great team for sure, and the Niners beating them is impressive. But I still come away from this game thinking the Niners should have lost if Dallas was just a little bit more cleaner. Because they've been clean all season. That offensive line has been a top 3 offensive line all year. And for them to completely shit the bed, for lack of better words, in one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game for the Cowboys of the year, it's unfortunate.
I was pretty high on the Cowboys about mid-season. I kind of stopped watching them as the season went on because their schedule got insanely easy. I mean, if you look at their schedule in the past month, I mentioned it on the last podcast. The reason I picked the Niners to win is because the Cowboys, outside of the Cardinals, haven't been challenged in like a month and a half. And they lost to Arizona without D-Hop. And we saw how embarrassing of a performance Arizona had against the Rams. That's why I wasn't very high on Dallas. The Cowboys are that team that we all look at every single year and we fall in love with the talent on the roster. But the truth is, it's not what it's cracked up to be. CeeDee Lamb was disappointing. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, as much as everybody likes to crown him as the next elite wide receiver in the NFL, I mean, he didn't have a good game.
How is he disappointing?
He had one catch.
But he had
one catch.
But he had some plays that were called back. Just like,
seemed like every chunk play they had got called back.
I mean, you're right. But I was disappointed with CeeDee Lamb's performance. Not only just receiving, because he didn't even do much there. I know that some plays got called back. But just his run blocking, his effort in there. I saw some plays where he was lined up as a tight end, and he didn't block anybody. And a defender ran free to tackle Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, just his effort in run blocking was abysmal. Amari Cooper, where was he? Dalton Schultz was their only.
Cooper had a touchdown.
But I just saw a lot of drops. I saw some drops from Cooper. I just don't feel like I can truly rely on Cooper.
And this secondary is not anything otherworldly that he couldn't have gotten his.
I'll just say this, just to start off, before I go on my monologue. Mike McCarthy shouldn't be fired. And I know that he has his clock management issues. I know it's plagued him this year. I know it's plagued him in the past. But the bottom line is that the Dallas Cowboys have gotten better from last year to this year. That's the bottom line. Next year, if he fumbles, okay, you fired him. Even if it's between, like, if I know the argument right now is Dan Quinn or Mike McCarthy, who should they have as head coach if they can pick one? I'm not too high on Dan Quinn either. Like, I know Dan Quinn has had a resurrection to his reputation this season, but the Cowboys are a turnover-reliant defense. And the Cowboys were flat. It's as simple as that. They got outplayed. They got outclassed. Kyle Shanahan flat out outcoached Dan Quinn in that defense, and DeMeco Ryans flat out outcoached the offense of the Cowboys. Kellen Moore gets this praise and this reputation for being this offensive genius and guru, but his play calling is very stale. It's not great. It's not awesome. He has great weapons, so they have great production, but he's not a great play caller. I don't think so. He's a good one. He's not a great one. He's not a McVay. He's not that, and that's what he's been basically propped up to be. Dak Prescott, to me, had a bad game. And it's funny because I was talking to Serge about this in the Discord about how I didn't think he played that bad. That's because I just saw like the first 4 drives at that point, And I thought outside the first drive from Dak was abysmal.
It was bad.
But the next 3 drives, he was getting into a rhythm, but Dak didn't have a chance. The offensive line was collapsing. There was no running game to speak of. Dak just missed so many throws that he usually makes, and that was throughout the entire game. I thought he played worse in the second half because I thought in the first half he had a lot of chunk plays called back. In the second half, he was just missing guys. Whether it was Cedric Wilson, Dalton Schultz, CeeDee Lamb, he was just missing so many guys. The offensive line didn't play well. Dak was missing a lot of throws he usually makes. Connor Williams.
He shacked it a fool.
He was abysmal. Connor Williams was absolutely awful. I mean, I thought he got beat on almost every single rep, in my opinion. And the run game just couldn't get going. No. They had 21 carries for 77 yards. Pollard and Zeke combined for 45 yards on 16 carries. The 49ers run defense absolutely outclassed the Cowboys offensive line and protection. It was so embarrassing to the point that Kellen Moore on 3 different instances brought 7 offensive linemen in the game. The 5 protecting up front and 2 right in front of Zeke that were lined up as like pseudo fullbacks. And on those plays, they ran it 3 times. The first 2 times they were runs. Pollard got like 6 yards on it with 7 offensive linemen. The second time, Zeke got nothing. Then the third time, this is actually why I think Kellen Moore's overrated as a play caller.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was a shot play. It was a play action, a shot play, and he had both offensive linemen run routes.
I saw that picture on Twitter. I thought it was fake.
Yeah.
I thought it was photoshopped.
Both were open. But I mean,
yeah, bro, come on.
but they're not options.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a shot play.
Yep.
And knowing that the 49ers, they don't give up big time plays, to call a play like that was absolutely ridiculous. And I guess Kellen Moore thought that, they'll think we'll run it this time because our 7 offense, we brought in this personnel and we ran it before, but they didn't care about, DeMeco Ryans didn't care about that because they already proved they can stop your run, even with 7 offensive linemen. It didn't really matter. I do think big plays got called back. CeeDee Lamb had a big play that got called back. I still think Cooper and Lamb were disappointing, though. Micah Parsons had 0 quarterback hits in his game. When he lined up against Trent Williams, Williams absolutely mauled him. I mean, Williams mauled everybody, especially in the run game.
No doubt.
Everybody, when the 49ers ran the ball, Williams had everybody laid on their ass, basically.
For sure, easily.
And Trayvon Diggs got burnt multiple times. It wasn't just on that, and it wasn't just on that play to Ayuk, that kind of wheel, wheel concept.
Violated him.
Trayvon got burnt a couple times, and that's because Kyle Shanahan designed plays specifically catered to knowing Trayvon Diggs is going to try to undercut this route. The next step for Trayvon Diggs is to be more of a lockdown corner instead of trying to jump everything and be aggressive. We know he has the ball skills, but now he has to work on truly solidifying himself as a lockdown corner and not allowing so many yards because he allowed so much this past season. But it just didn't show up in the score because they forced the turnovers. Dan Quinn, I think he did an okay job this year. Mike McCarthy, should he be fired? If the same trend with the penalties continues, of course. They had 141 penalties this year for 1,192 yards, the most in the NFL. They had a bunch of penalties versus the 49ers. If it continues, you absolutely have to fire Mike McCarthy. And the QB run, the last play of the game, I really didn't think it was that bad of a call. I just thought it was bad execution because...
How else are you supposed to execute that?
This is how.
You got to get down a little bit sooner.
Knowing how much time is on the clock. 14 seconds left. If there's 14 seconds left on the clock, Dak Prescott has to understand, okay, I can't run for 15, 16 yards here. I can maybe get 10, and then we can get time for one more play. It was a good play to get some yardage because the defense was so backed up. I mean, there wasn't anybody even within the first down of it, but Dak got down too late. And just watching how the Cowboys operated that play, you can point fingers at McCarthy because they don't. You can tell they didn't practice that situation in practice. For one, you have Tyler Biadasz. He's over there spotting the ball like 2 yards ahead of where they actually got stopped. The ref had to place the ball, and it was just a total mess. You can tell they didn't practice that situation in practice. And I think after the game, the Cowboys talked about it and how, like, in practice they don't simulate that play like if it's a real game. They kind of just have the center place the ball.
Yeah. Because the ref has to touch the ball.
Dak has to find the ref.
Which is just bad habits to build if you're a football team. And it showed. They have a lot of key free agents this year. Randy Gregory, Gallup, Jaron Kearse, Van Der Esch, Connor Williams, Cedric Wilson, Dalton Schultz. So they have some decisions to make. But ultimately, I just didn't think Dallas was as good of a football team as the 49ers. I thought the 49ers, at least in the past month, have been battle-tested. Kyle Shanahan, it wasn't surprising for me how he picked apart Dan Quinn's defense. And just Deebo Samuel.
Beast.
I mean, I know I was right about him before the season.
Oh, yeah.
But what he's done has even surprised me to the point that I knew that he had this ability, but the fact that he's finishing this year as a top 4 receiver, no less than a top 4 receiver.
You think so?
I think everybody consensusly will have him as a top 5 receiver this year. There's no doubt. After this season, when we rank our receivers, he's top 5.
Probably.
I mean, I was saying in the offseason, I said he's better than DK, and that was a hot take.
Yeah.
DK, he's not even top 10 right now.
No.
So Deebo has surpassed everybody's expectations of him. I love Deebo. The 49ers look scary. They are a great team. The Packers have their hands full, but the Cowboys, this was a disaster. I thought there really wasn't something that jumped out to me that the Cowboys did that was good. I mean, Dak didn't play well. The receivers didn't play well. The offensive line didn't play well. The running backs couldn't get going because the blocking wasn't good. And the defensive line got pushed around by the 49ers offensive line. You look at their secondary, Trayvon Diggs got burned. Anthony Brown was okay. I mean, there really wasn't anything that stood out to me that the Cowboys did on any side of the ball that was like, okay, this was good. And I know the blame is on Mike McCarthy, whatever. We got to stop trying to pick and choose who we blame. Kellen Moore's the play caller. Why are we blaming Mike McCarthy for the call? Kellen Moore's the guy calling the plays. Whenever things go right, Kellen Moore is a genius. Oh my gosh, Kellen Moore should be a head coach. The Cowboys are going to lose him. Whenever something goes bad, oh, Mike McCarthy, see, this is why he's out of Green Bay. This is why Aaron Rodgers couldn't win. Oh, stop picking and choosing. Kellen Moore is good. He's not great. He's not elite. He's not a guru. Mike McCarthy is good. It may be too late to work on his time and clock management issues because that's just been a reoccurring issue. I don't expect the dog to learn new tricks. He's an old dog at that. He's like, in dog years, like 18 years old or something. I don't expect him to learn any new tricks, but I just thought this was a flat out dominating performance for the Niners. The score is closer than what the game actually was, and the Cowboys were just flat.
So why do you think that wasn't a bad play call? Because to me, it doesn't seem like a big difference if you have one shot at the end zone at the 25 or 2 shots at the 40. I'd rather get my 2 chances because the Niners are probably still going to play back regardless.
Oh, and they gave them like 3 free plays of 10-plus yards.
Because the Niners are saying you could take everything over the middle, and that's why obviously Dak had all that room because you know that you're going to take time off the clock and maybe you have one play if you execute it perfectly.
Because I think Dak gets 10 yards there. They have time for one more play. They have time to spike it.
It's still a end zone shot, just like it is at the 40.
I think it's still an end zone shot, but from the 30-yard line, from the 40-yard line, is a difference. And especially when you take into account that the defensive line has been getting after Dak all day, and your receivers might not get to the end zone from the 40-yard line in time for Dak to throw the ball to them just because the defensive line was getting after him that much.
Yeah.
I think it makes some sense. What I called the play, I wouldn't have called the play. But I can understand the logic behind it. It was just poorly executed. If they execute that correctly, we're all calling them geniuses, but they didn't, and that's why we're calling them
because even
idiots.
still, if you execute it perfectly, then you still have to it's not a Hail Mary, but it's one shot at the end zone. The Niners know you have to score. You still have to somehow figure out how you're going to get that. And who knows, maybe they do send pressure because that QB scramble, I think they only sent three defensive linemen. It's not like they blitzed him or anything.
I was going to say that was the one play on defense that the Niners were actually protecting the outside routes. So in that sense, yes, I can understand because I was really trying to analyze it and see if Dak could have tried to run out of bounds, but he had two guys to his left. He had one guy in front of him. It was really tough for him to try and break to the sideline. But if you're going to run that play, I agree with what you're saying. You have to get down sooner. Give yourself another chance to at least run one more. Ultimately, though, I can't see how it was still the right idea, even in hindsight. There's no way that you have Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, who was your best option in the game this past weekend, and you don't even give one of them a chance. Again, Dak Prescott is getting a ton of money. We can look at Kellen Moore, we can look at Mike McCarthy, but end of the day, Dak has to have the brains and the understanding of the scenario of what's going on around him and adjust on the fly.
And it's going to be hard to move off McCarthy because they're going to be in a bad division. Like, who are you going to pick next year to win this division? It's probably going to be the Cowboys, unless the Giants go and get Russell Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Like,
can happen.
And you said that is, or is it?
It can happen.
No, Deshaun, if Flores goes there also.
Even still, but he's going to be in a bad division. He's going to win game after game, and you don't want to be that spot in the NFL where you're just good enough to get into the playoffs and never make a run. So this is like, sure, the Cowboys can win a game, but I don't see this team or McCarthy's ceiling being the Super Bowl. And I don't know if there's a head coach you could bring in that really changes that, but I think you have to try something.
One thing I'll say, and I'm sorry if you were going to say something. This was arguably the worst game Dallas had played all year in terms of discipline.
The most important game, though.
Agreed. And they still almost came out of this game with a W. In my opinion, I don't think you should panic. I don't think you should hit the panic button. I don't think McCarthy should go. Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn, they're probably not going to be here next year, and that's going to hurt them. Maybe Kellen Moore stays one more season, but it seems as if he's going to get a head coaching opportunity.
You think he is? I don't think he's going to be a head coach.
I think it's possible.
Not this year, at least not this year.
And if I'm the Cowboys, I hope not. Yeah. I hope that I keep the three that I have, I hope that I keep them together because as bad as they played, they still almost came out of this game with a W. You have the personnel. You may not be a huge fan of it, but me personally, I think that Cooper significantly underperformed this year. I think that was due to some injury issue that he had lingering throughout the entire of the year. I think he'll be back. CeeDee Lamb, regardless, he had a bunch of plays that were called back because this offensive line was atrocious. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to take a huge jump next year as well. Dalton Schultz, I think it's in their best interest to bring him back, given the fact that Dak and him had such a great chemistry this year. Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, that's one of the best duo running backs in the league. Offensive line's one of the best offensive lines in the league, and they had their worst game of the season and when it mattered most. I don't see that happening again. Defensively, you can always tweak things. Trayvon Diggs is going to get better. Micah Parsons is going to get better.
That's scary.
Whether you're going to bring back Van Der Esch or not, I think you should. Even though his injury history has not been the safest, I think you need that middle linebacking option. I think he definitely provides that. He was great this weekend, at least in my opinion. I just don't think, given the talent on this team, you should hit the panic button by any means.
It's also the first full year of Dak, and he was out the whole year last year, so maybe I'm a bit premature there.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I don't think they should press the panic button right now. I actually, the only guys I think they should bring back, honestly, are Jaron Kearse, Cedric Wilson, Dalton Schultz. Leighton Van Der Esch can go. Randy Gregory, I think, because Micah has shown he can be a pass rusher, an elite one at that, it really isn't that big of a deal if he goes. You do lose that versatility with Micah playing a linebacker role and in coverage.
Was Randy Gregory the one holding on a run play?
I don't know if it's
97. Help me out. Who's number 97?
It's probably Randy Gregory, or it was...
Might be.
Osa, I couldn't tell you how to pronounce his last name.
Oh, yeah, Osa. I mean, he got dominated. He's a rookie defensive tackle, though.
Man, that holding
but
was
he was good.
crazy.
He's been good all season, though. But
that was a bad mistake.
This game, he wasn't that good. It's funny because before the season, before the Dallas Cowboys paid Dak Prescott, I actually said that if I was Dallas, I wouldn't pay Dak. I would let him walk, and I would draft Mac Jones at 10.
And you still feel that way? Couldn't disagree more.
I don't say I still feel that way, but I also don't think it's the worst idea in the world.
It's Dak and Micah, not just Mac. You know, you get Micah Parsons too.
To be fair, I thought Micah was going to Denver, and you guys do have Pat Surtain, but I mean, come on, Micah should have been the pick.
I don't wish I had Micah. I would like Micah.
Of course, doesn't.
I have Pat Surtain.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
I'm not.
Micah, bro.
Pat Surtain,
he
who's
was
going to be a top 3 corner in the league one day
conversation.
potentially.
Yeah.
I'm just saying though.
I understand what you mean.
I don't think that should have went down like that, but I'm not opposed to the idea. A rookie quarterback on a rookie contract.
And your boy looked like
Micah.
Let's say your boy looked like dude.
Okay,
this
but
past
you
weekend.
have to. Mac Jones wasn't bad.
He looked like
and
dude.
we'll talk about Mac Jones because you just be hating on Mac Jones. Okay, we'll talk about Mac Jones. It's because you can't just. I know it's Dak and Micah, but with Mac, you get to sign top tier free agents because you have a lot of cap space. You're not paying $40 million to a quarterback.
But who would you have signed?
Maybe Dalvin Tomlinson. You could have signed some corners. Maybe
This game was penalties.
Yeah, it was literally their offensive line, which is literally their
penalties,
only non-hole.
But the Dallas, they have holes on their roster. They're flawed. They're a flawed team. They still don't have very good corner. Like Trayvon Diggs gets turnovers, but he allows so many yardage. He can't be your number one corner if he's allowing that many yards. And next year, it's a make or break year for him because this offseason, coaches are going to start to game plan around his weaknesses. He put everybody on notice this year. So next year, he has to come and prove himself as a lockdown corner, or else a lot of coaches are going to scheme up for him undercutting routes, and they're going to pick him apart. And he could very well go, because if he doesn't have 11 interceptions this season, if let's say he had 3 this year, he's one of the worst. He's a bottom half corner in the NFL.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. But because he had those many, like, do we expect him to have those many picks? No. So he has to really work on his game this offseason to become more of a lockdown corner. It's easier said than done. I understand that. Do I think they made the right decision keeping Dak? Yeah, but I think the Mac Jones idea was good. And to talk about Dak Prescott's tweets a little bit, in his comments on the ref. I mean, I just don't think that's who Dak is.
No,
I think angry. He was angry.
He never, like, that's so unlike him to go up there and say anything bad at the mic. Like, I feel like his whole career, of course, yeah, he's, your adrenaline still pumping. He's thinking he should have another chance at the game. So
I'll be honest though, I just think the Cowboys do have a loser mentality.
I can't agree with that.
They have a loser mentality because if all year long it's been them blaming the refs whenever they lost. They have blamed the refs. Versus Arizona, they blame the refs. I understand Chase Edmonds fumbled that ball. That was a bad call. It should have been a fumble. But there were a lot of reasons why they lost that game. Versus the Niners, they got dominated the entire game. You didn't lose the game because the ref failed to spot the ball on time.
You didn't play a complete game.
They didn't.
And you're playing a good 49ers team.
They got dominated the
I understand,
whole game
but
is crazy.
You want to know what's the difference? When I watched New England, when I watched Bill Belichick after a game, post-game, give his interview, you know what he says? They outplayed us.
Yeah, because they got dominated.
They outplayed us.
Clearly got dominated.
That's what he said. Yeah, but I'm not even talking about that specific instance. I'm talking about through his history when they've lost, he said, we didn't play our best. We got out-coached. Things like that.
I understand.
With Mike McCarthy and Dak, your leader, oh, it's the refs. Oh, good for the fans throwing stuff at the refs because it was bad. I mean, all they're doing is blaming other people for their faults.
Yep.
When the penalties, they were egregious.
They were.
Like the offsides on the offensive line, it was evident it was offensive line. That wasn't something the refs had against Dallas. No, they're just an undisciplined football team. And the fact that they're not taking accountability for being undisciplined, to me, is a loser mentality.
That's fair enough. Ultimately, I just can't look at them and just say because they're complaining makes them losers or has a loser type mentality. If you're going out there and you're getting embarrassed and you don't care, that's a loser mentality to me.
But look,
they're using them as scapegoats.
Look, you keep saying that Dallas almost won. I think they got embarrassed.
They did not.
They didn't get embarrassed.
They did not.
It wasn't a blowout.
Like I said,
the Cardinals got embarrassed.
I know it wasn't a blowout. No, I know it wasn't.
Cardinals
a blowout.
got embarrassed. The Patriots got embarrassed. The Steelers got embarrassed.
Okay,
100%.
I understand what you're saying.
Dallas and the Raiders did not get embarrassed.
Dallas got pushed around.
They did get pushed around.
They did, and they still almost won. They played their worst game of the season and almost won.
There's a difference. The Raiders and Bengals game versus the Dallas and Niners game, yes, it was a one-possession score when the game ended. But the Raiders throughout the game showed fight, showed grit, showed heart. They deserved to be in that spot
because they
for
had
that
to.
final. No, but they deserve to be in that spot on that final play. The Cowboys only had that spot because of mistakes the 49ers made.
But that's fine.
So that's
I
Cowboys made
understand what
mistakes
you're
too.
saying. I understand what you're saying. The Cowboys didn't play their way back into the game. The Niners let them come back. The Cowboys
So
didn't.
they didn't get dominated.
The Cowboys didn't find a key and open it. The Niners opened the door for them to win to come back in this
That's
game.
exactly what I'm saying.
But they got.
It's part of the game.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I think the Cowboys got embarrassed in this game, and it showed.
They played their
It was
worst
embarrassing.
game of 2021, 2022, and they lost by 6 points.
The defense was embarrassing.
Theirs or-
the Cowboys defense was embarrassing.
Embarrassing is crazy. It's like Deebo Samuel. Who's been able to stop him this year? Who?
Debo's different. I know what you're saying.
But that he was. Jimmy G played a great first half.
Okay, but
Second
the
half,
defense
he
got
was
the defense
mid.
got the defense got cooked.
They brought them back in this game.
So
They
you're
made,
telling
they made a
defense-
play on
so-
Jimmy G, got an interception.
so you're telling me that Jimmy G interception was the Cowboys and not Jimmy G throwing an egregious pick.
You still have to capitalize.
I mean, come on, it's an egregious pick.
It was
He
was
missed them by
egregious.
3
It was like-
yards.
it
But
was a
that's
bad- it was
also
a bad-
part of Jimmy G's game. Like he every once in a while he'll
and
throw
he
one of those
was
balls.
also pressured into making that throw.
Come on, really?
I'm being honest. I'm telling you what happened.
That's part of the 49ers though,
Dak-
is they have to overcome
Dak-
Jimmy G at times.
Dak wasn't good. The running game wasn't good.
Correct.
The Cowboys got dominated
And they
on the
still almost won.
The Cowboys got dominated on the defensive and offensive line. To me, when you combine their performance with all the penalties they had, it was embarrassing.
They were embarrassing, and they still almost won.
I'm not saying they still didn't almost win. I'm just
They
saying
played their worst
I thought
game
they were
of the
embarrassing.
year,
I know.
bar none, and lost by 6 points.
to a really good team.
We just look at it differently. I'll say this though.
I've seen embarrassing
I
games.
thought-
I've seen 45-3.
No, embarrassing was the Steelers versus the Chiefs. Embarrassing was the Patriots versus the Bills. That's embarrassing.
I'll say this. I think the Cowboys' best chance to win the Super Bowl was in 2016 when they went 13-3 in Dak Prescott's rookie season. Let me ask you this question. All that year, all season long, when Tony Romo was finally able to come back from his injury, it was a growing debate of whether or not the Cowboys should start Romo and bench Prescott. Of course, we know they didn't do it because Dak Prescott was playing lights out.
Unbelievable.
But hindsight is 2020, and going back to that moment, do you think Dak Prescott would have given that team a better chance to win the Super Bowl that year?
You're saying Romo?
Yeah.
You can't ask me that question.
No,
I
you're
cannot be
Romo
asked.
truther.
I cannot
It's
be
hard
asked.
because, I mean, Dak and Romo have the same record in the playoffs. Is Romo coming in and making a huge difference? Dak was incredible that season.
And Dak played incredible versus the Packers, too.
We've seen Tony Romo
playoffs.
have a good run, though. That
We
year
did.
against Green Bay,
Yeah, of
he
course.
should have won that game.
Yeah.
As history has shown for Tony Romo, it's not beneficial for him. It seems as if Tony Romo's this notorious choker. That being said, Tony Romo pulled off some crazy comebacks in his time. That being said, you put him on that Dallas team with Dehls, that was like his
Prime
last
Dez,
year
yeah.
of being in his prime. Ezekiel
Real
Elliott,
prime Zeke.
1,600, the best offensive line in the NFL, one of the better defenses in the NFL that season. They went 13-3, and they lost on Aaron Rodgers putting together like one of the best two-play
Aaron Rodgers,
drives
yeah.
in the history of football. I think either way you shake it, truthfully, I don't know if it really changes anything.
I don't think it does either, but it's a fun thing to think about. I actually wish Tony Romo got that chance. I love Romo as a player. I love Romo.
I love him. I love
Did you
him.
guys
So
see-
you've been a Cowboys fan for the longest. I see.
Low key.
He has like the Cowboys for a minute. Did you see? It was during the first game that I guess it was the Cowboys or the Eagles game. Aikman was sick that he wasn't commentating the Cowboys game. Did you see that? He was on TV. They were like,
Who likes Aikman?
I know.
Who?
First of all, I was like, thank God Romo's on it. Romo and Michaels are the best. But yeah, Aikman was like, oh, I really wish, I would love to call that game. Like he said it on live TV twice. You could tell how sick he was. But listen, bro, like Romo's the guy right
and
now.
he makes watching the games exciting. His
Yeah.
genuine
Yes.
reactions are the best.
yeah, Romo's the best.
I like Aikman, though.
I can do
Aikman's
without
just
him.
such like a boomer. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like he's just like that old head, like
He is. But that tandem is classic.
It is.
Joe Buck and
Yeah.
Aikman. But
Joe Buck gets a lot of hate.
he gets a ton.
and
of
I don't know
hate.
why. I think
he's
I like him.
fine.
I like Joe
Yeah,
Buck
yeah,
also.
he's fine.
I like Joe Buck also.
He's very professional.
He's grown on me. That call that he has, again, this is not football, but again, in baseball, when David Freese hit the home run to walk off, send it to Game 7, and we will see you tomorrow night. It's one of the best calls I've ever heard in my life.
Joe Buck, his voice does sound like you're kind of watching paint dry.
It is monotone a little bit, but he knows the game and he knows how to really work with his partner. I'm
gonna name you the groups of commentators. Let me know who you think is the best one. Chris Collinsworth, Al Michaels, Troy Aikman, Joe Buck versus Romo and Jim Nantz. Who you think is the best?
Romo.
It's easily Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. Because Jim Nantz understands how knowledgeable Tony is, and Tony is they have great chemistry immediately. Tony Romo will give his analysis, but understands when it's Jim Nantz's time to talk.
Yeah.
It's so, like, the immediate chemistry they have is special.
They need them in Madden. That'd be so tough.
Yeah, who do they
Charles
have?
Davis.
Yes,
Yeah.
They're not bad.
Nah, they're not terrible.
I don't know why, but
it would cost a fortune for them.
I've seen a lot of people talk about Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels and how they don't like them, but I love their.
They're probably number 2 for me personally.
I love their broadcast.
Because Chris Collinsworth, people don't like Chris Collinsworth.
You got a guy here, bro. I love Chris Collinsworth too.
I love Chris Collinsworth too.
Just
in Madden, it's Madden. He used to be in Madden, Chris Collinsworth, and you wanted to punch him in the face.
To say the same 5 lines
literally.
over and over.
Yeah. I think Chris Collinsworth, he always makes me learn about the game. That's why I like his
He's
commentary.
very smart.
Yeah, he's the founder of PFF.
Facts. That's a fact.
So you said that the Cowboys didn't get embarrassed. We disagreed on that, but you do believe the Cardinals did get embarrassed.
Unfortunately.
Do you think Cliff Kingsbury is to blame for the Cardinals coming out flat? Do you think he's another coach, kind of like McCarthy, who's getting some hot seat talk right now if the Arizona should fire him or not? So what do you think, Drew? I'll start with you.
I don't think this is on Cliff. I think the Rams are a better team than the Cardinals, and that's what it comes down to. They have more talent on both sides of the football than the Cardinals. Offensively, Kyler Murray was running for his life. And sometimes I feel like Kyler Murray does it to himself, but this game he legitimately had no chance in that pocket. The offensive line was collapsing what it seemed every other play. Aaron Donald wasn't forcing his will. Von Miller wasn't forcing his will. Leonard Floyd was getting to the quarterback. These guys were making it a living hell for Kyler Murray on Monday night. And Jalen Ramsey against a washed A.J. Green and a mediocre to slightly above average Christian Kirk. It's not ideal. It was not an ideal situation for the Cardinals. Ultimately, I can't look at Cliff and ask him to do more than... I guess I could ask for more than 0 points in the first half. Yes, that's pretty fair. That being said, the Rams played a perfect first half. They came out and they punched him in their face. Kyler Murray backed up in his own end zone. They put too much pressure on Kyler Murray. It was impossible for them to overcome it. I'm looking at this and I'm just saying the Rams are a better team. Really, what more can I take away from this other than the Rams played a 10 out of 10 game on both sides of the football where Matty Ice really didn't, the real Matty Ice, he really didn't have to do too much. I'm sorry, bro. It's the honest
Matt
to God
Ryan's better
truth.
than Matt Stafford, bro?
Right now, no.
Okay, I was ready to have a stroke.
I was ready.
I was ready to have a stroke.
But you can't call Matthew Stafford the real Matty Ice. Matt Ryan has a better career than Matthew Stafford.
The actual Matty Ice had one of the greatest chokes in the history of football.
He's got a great point.
Sports history.
Yeah, not for real.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Edelman making an acrobatic catch that should have been an interception is totally.
But you just hand the ball off to
Should have been an interception.
Yeah,
then the Giants shouldn't have a Super Bowl either.
And what do you? I mean, I understand what you're saying, but let's not act like it's Matt Ryan who gave up the game.
He didn't give up the game. He was MVP that year. He's the quarterback of a team that was up 28-3 in the Super Bowl and lost. What more do you want me to say?
I don't care. It wasn't on Matt Ryan.
He scored 1 touchdown. The game's probably over.
He only had to get his team in field goal range one time. Once.
He got sacked, didn't he?
Yeah. Yes, Dante Hightower, whatever.
I understand you love Matthew Stafford.
He's the real Matty Ice.
You can't light a match to Matt Ryan. He's not the real Matty Ice.
Not light a match.
Stop being disrespectful to Matt Ryan.
Thing I ever heard.
Matt Ryan love is crazy. He's a really good quarterback, but you're making it
He's
seem
a great quarterback, a Hall of Famer.
Oh, bro.
Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer.
He is, yes, sure.
What is this fascination with everybody disrespecting Matt Ryan?
If Stafford goes to the Super Bowl, is he not a Hall of Famer too?
Is he gonna go?
I'm saying if he's just a Super Bowl appearance away, not even a win, just an appearance away.
Matt Ryan has an MVP. Does Stafford have an MVP?
He doesn't.
Okay.
He never had a good team. He had like 1 or 2. And they were still okay. They weren't even good.
I would honestly say the Falcons have had the same amount of good teams as the Lions in the last 10 years. It's a fact.
No way. The same year you're saying?
The Falcons in the past 10 years,
bro, I
since
disagree
2010,
so hard.
The Lines have been terrible.
Bro, there was
the
a
last
firm
10
amount of years the
three
Falcons
good
were
years
going.
with Jim Caldwell, bro. Two. I lied. Two.
The Falcons choked it up to no. They beat the Seahawks that year. That I think it was Russell's rookie season. That year that I think Sherman was a rookie also. That they almost lost to the Falcons. But
All right, I understand. Look, this Matt Ryan disrespect is ridiculous.
it's not disrespect.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
just love him,
complimenting
man. I don't
Matthew
know why.
Stafford.
I just respect him.
You can respect
You
him.
don't respect him.
I do respect him. He's a really good quarterback.
I literally showed you his help this year.
And
He
because we
had
got into the
nothing.
Derek Carr debate, yes.
Come on.
But neither did bro. Okay.
All right. Anyway,
So you're telling me you put Matt Ryan on this Rams team? He's not doing the exact same thing as Stafford.
he's not.
I think
Yes,
Stafford's
he
better than Matt
is.
Ryan
He's
right
not.
now. Stafford's definitely better than Matt Ryan right now.
Matt Ryan would have threw for 40 touchdowns in this offense,
he-
bro.
no, he wouldn't have.
That's a fact.
Bro,
It's a
he
fact.
looked his
Well, I
arm
can
looked
tell you
dead at
Matthew
times this
Stafford
year.
threw 40 touchdowns this year.
I know
actually
he threw 41. Yeah.
and he was top 3 in yards this year.
Okay. Yeah. The
Bro,
offense
there
is
was
great.
time Matt Ryan looked bad this year. I understand the help. I'm just saying him specifically, regardless of his help, where his arm just kind of looked dead.
All right. Well,
Let's get back to the Cardinals.
I mean, there's really not much else to say. The Cardinals just did not look good on all fronts. Rams, for the last time I'm going to say this, ultimately are better.
Yeah.
And that's what it came down to.
I think we have to take a step back here because it's easy to overreact to this one game, nationally televised. It's a playoff game. Everyone's watching it. But if you just take a step back, and I said this a few weeks ago, life's about expectations. When we're going into this season, nobody in the world had the Cardinals above the fourth place team in the NFC West.
You're right.
You have Seattle coming off a 12-4 season, San Francisco getting healthy, the Rams making a huge trade for Matt Stafford. And when Cliff was brought in, this was after they fired Steve Wilkes after one season. They drafted Josh Rosen. Their franchise was in shambles, honestly. They brought in Cliff to kind of set a foundation and have, kind of like a culture setter there. Maybe he wasn't the best in terms of, his past history. He was just a college coach in terms of working with professional players. But so far, it's worked out pretty well. And all you could really ask for year after year is just get marginally better. And I think the Cardinals and Kyler Murray have definitely gotten at least marginally better.
As a team. As a team.
His first season, 2018, or excuse me, the year before he was there, 3-13, they got the first overall pick, drafted Kyler Murray. His first season when they had Kyler, the Cardinals won 5 games, so just 2 more wins. His second season, they win 8 games. Now his third season, they make the playoffs. I understand that the second half of the season, the Cardinals really fell off a cliff, and that's happened year after year with Cliff Kingsbury. It's hard for me to sit here and say he has any reason to be fired when his main job was to come in, take over a somewhat dysfunctional franchise. They were good in the Carson Palmer days, but, you just fire a coach after 1 year and you get off your first-round pick the same year. Everyone's looking at you like you're crazy, even how great Kyler Murray is. But it's hard for me to sit here, see the progress Kyler Murray has made from his rookie year, his second year, his first 8 games, he was an MVP frontrunner before he got injured, and this year too. So it is a bit hard because Kyler's got banged up in the middle of the season back-to-back years, and it's definitely put a strain on this team. And with DeAndre Hopkins too, it's apparent how important he is to this team. But when you just take a step back and look what the Cardinals did, they completely overachieved. Not many people had them go into the playoffs. We thought there'd be 3 teams in the NFC West making the playoffs and the Cardinals being the odd one out. In reality, Seattle was the odd man out because Russell Wilson gets hurt. Maybe if he stays healthy, who knows? But even still, you start off the season 8-0. Cliff Kingsbury looked like he could win possibly Coach of the Year. Kyler Murray possibly MVP. So they dealt with some injuries this year, but overall, Cliff was pretty good. His first playoff appearance wasn't great. Kyler's first playoff appearance was not good, but, now there was Josh Allen's. So I'm not going to say is this the end-all, be-all for Kyler and Cliff. They're going to be fine. I think it'd be foolish to move off at either of them.
like McCarthy, Cliff for me gets 1 more year. That's it.
Oh, Jesus.
1 more year and he's out, depending on how he does for me.
To hear this.
It wouldn't be an issue if this was a one-time thing. But Cliff Kingsbury collapsing in the second half of seasons has been a 9-year occurrence.
Happened in college.
It has been a routine thing to happen to Cliff. He was 35-40 as a head coach at Texas Tech. 19-30 in the second halves of those seasons, which means he was 16-10 in the first half. In the NFL, 15-5-1 through the first 7 weeks in the NFL in his first 3 seasons. 9-19 down the stretch. Yes, you can talk about Kyler's injury and J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins. But ultimately, that's a part of the game. Injuries are a part of the game. He has to get through that. Kyler Murray deserves some blame here also, not for the performance against the Rams, but just the second year in a row we've seen him collapse down the stretch. And somebody added me on Twitter or the podcast Twitter and said, tell Drew that never talk about Kyler Murray being top 5 again. He told you that.
Can't wait to talk.
Was he 23?
Am I allowed? Am I allowed to rebuttal that?
Not yet. You'll rebuttal it in a few.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
The Rams completely wiped the floor with Arizona. Completely wiped the floor with them.
It was ugly.
Arizona was down 21-0 at halftime. I mean, the energy at this... Look, being at a playoff game for the first time, I understood how loud the environment truly is. The TV broadcast doesn't do a good enough job at just capturing that.
Yeah.
Every single third down in my head, I just was like, there's no way this motherfucker's getting this. like the stadium was that loud that I was like, yo, like there's no way. Like the stadium is too turned up. I was slamming the chair in front of me. I spilled some lemonade on a woman in front of me. I was like, oh, I apologize. It was so loud. They were 0 for 9 on third down, which kind of matches what I thought they were. It was an embarrassing performance, but I also don't think that it was on Kyler. I thought Kyler just didn't have a chance. People are saying that it's because he didn't roll out enough. Cliff didn't design those rollouts for him enough, and Kyler, he ultimately can't see over his offensive lineman enough and stuff. I think that's foolish. I think that's a running joke. But you could maybe put 2 and 2 together. He is like 5'9", 5'10", so I get it. You do have like 6'4" offensive linemen.
He's better than a lot of 6'4", 6'5" quarterbacks. So
yeah, no doubt. Kyler Murray's elite. The receivers didn't get open. Yeah. I mean, AJ Green, he took that nasty hit early. I'm glad he's okay. I mean, Jalen Ramsey had his way with him. AJ Green couldn't do anything.
Bro, Jalen Ramsey was a menace on Monday.
Christian Kirk really wasn't getting open either. I mean, there was a point that they were lining up Rondale Moore as their X. I mean, he's 5'6", he's 5'7", 5'6", 5'7". He's a Darren Sproles, and even Darren Sproles I think is way better. Rondale Moore, he's just not somebody you can rely on consistently. They just couldn't get open, and Kyler didn't have a chance. Everybody says Kyler had a stinker, this and that. But whenever I watch quarterbacks, especially when I watch the All-22, because it gives me the view of the field, I always ask this question. What is he supposed to do? I watched Kyler that game. What was he supposed to do? I mean, there was nothing for him to do. And you can, I haven't dived deep into Cliff's concepts or anything like that, so I'm not going to really speak on that. But you can be a great play caller, have a great play, but if your players can't execute the game plan and get open, it's ultimately worthless. It's going to make any coach look bad. The Rams offensively, firing on all cylinders. OBJ looking like prime OBJ. Cam Akers, really an amazing story, an amazing comeback. Really had a great game. I know Matthew Stafford got his first playoff win. I didn't think he was challenged or he had to do much, honestly. He didn't have to.
He did what he had to do.
I even told this to my cousin because
played perfect.
I even told my cousin this. I was like, you know what? I think the Rams dominated Arizona that bad that Stafford could have threw 4 picks and they still would have won.
Oh, God. But imagine he did throw 4 picks, what he would be saying on the show right now.
No, for sure. But I think he could have threw 4 picks, maybe even 5, and the Rams still would have won.
Maybe even 7.
That's how much of a beatdown it was over Arizona. That's how much it was a beatdown.
Come on.
They were 0 for 9 on third down.
Yeah, they were terrible.
Only you can find a way to minimize Stafford's game.
I think Stafford.
Bro, there was this one play on some real. There was this one play. He is in the pocket, chilling. The safety's kind of backpedaling. But Stafford is hard staring Cooper Kupp. The safety just bites maybe a step or two. No look, keeping his shoulder, just opens his body up, throws it to Van Jefferson.
Nah, that was beautiful.
No look pass in the playoffs. Come on.
Stafford is a great quarterback.
Bro, that's like 30 yards.
Yeah, nah, he's nice.
Stafford is a great quarterback, but I really didn't think
elite.
He wasn't elite in that game.
No, he's an elite quarterback. You said he's an elite quarterback.
All right, yeah, I agree with you. He's an elite quarterback.
There we go.
I don't disagree with you.
There we go.
Damn.
I've always told you that my gripe with Matthew Stafford is I really can't trust him in primetime games. The Rams didn't bring Stafford in to win a game like this.
Agreed.
A game where they won all around.
I agree with that.
They brought him in to
week.
beat the Bucs this weekend.
Yes, sir.
That's what they
can't
brought
wait.
Matthew Stafford
Family.
in for. I think Jared Goff could have
now.
beat the Cardinals last week. He could have beat them on Monday.
Yeah.
So Stafford was brought in to win the game where your running game isn't going, where you have to put the team on your back and make big boy throws and don't make bad decisions.
Come on.
So
now.
the jury's still out. I'm not, I'm not leaning one way or the other. I love Stafford, but I just can't really trust him in playoffs.
Enough. You're not allowed to say a thing like that.
No,
man.
because this is the thing. This is the problem with you guys. You guys think just because I love a player, I can't critique him. I critique Stafford, and it's warranted. The critique is warranted.
Can't say love. I've never heard you disrespect Derek Carr a day in your life. I've never heard
I can trust him in the fourth quarter.
Really? Do an interception, lost him the game right there, right?
That's the last play of the game.
Come on, you serious?
Yeah.
Listen,
Are you serious?
I'm being very, very.
Are you serious?
Come on, I'm just saying.
Stafford made
Bro,
If Stafford did that, right? Because Derek Carr looked absolutely crazy on that last drive. If Stafford did that exact same thing and threw that interception on that play, Lord knows this guy would be chirping like
No,
he was,
I wouldn't, bro.
No, you
No,
100%
I
would.
wouldn't.
Because Derek Carr looked amazing. He was hitting throw after throw. That third down to Darren Waller was amazing. Every single time he was pushed against the wall, he answered. But he threw an interception and lost them the game.
That was
if
the
that was
desperation
Matty
throw.
Staffy, it wasn't desperation. It was the last play of the
You
game.
have to get the ball.
Bro, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
It's the
understand, but
last
it wasn't-
play.
it
He
was-
has to
If
throw
no one's
a
open,
ball.
someone's you got to throw it.
He has to just give a guy a chance.
He had time. It wasn't like he just kind of just.
He had to step up in the pocket
Yeah,
for
he
that.
was moving around.
Was it really?
He was,
I feel
yeah.
like that's not how I remember it. Maybe listen. Both of you guys are saying.
Look.
But I'm just
You
saying.
can check my track record.
Hold the same
this
energy.
This is the thing, because y'all think I just get up on here and I'm just trying to flip up on Stafford.
You do.
I've been high on Stafford for the longest, bro.
And then when he's finally in the limelight,
you can check. You can check my track record. You can check when he was on the Lions. My tweets.
That has nothing to do with anything.
No, it does. It
You
does.
fell off on it when it mattered.
No, you want to know why? It does have a lot to do with everything. Because when Stafford was in Detroit, all I said about him was he's an elite quarterback. Whenever I said that, people would say, "Oh, playoff appearances, this and that." I said, "Okay, but he's still an elite quarterback. He's just in a bad situation." I've always vouched for Matthew Stafford. In 2019, I had a guest on the show, Facundo. It was with JC. We were on the show together. I picked the Lions to win the division. I don't know if it was in 2020 or if it was 2019. It was one of those. And they laughed at me. Of course, it was a bad pick. I said Matthew Stafford is elite. This guy was like, how? He does playoff wins. I was like, that doesn't matter. He's elite. I've always loved Matthew Stafford. But now that he's in this position, I'm just up in the air in the playoffs. I know he's a great regular season quarterback, but just in these moments, I have to see it. I'm just not all the way sold.
We'll see this weekend.
Look, like you think I enjoy doing this? Look.
I do.
I think you love it, actually.
No, you're
think you
sicko.
enjoy it.
Because this is what's going to happen. And I'll tell you, there's two scenarios that could play out. Obviously, the Rams could go on and win the Super Bowl. I'm going to feel like $1 million. Joel's going to try and say, oh, Matthew Stafford, man.
You're
that's my
ridiculous.
guy.
No way.
Love him.
Pick him with division.
Come on, man. I got his jersey. They lose. I told you from day one, you can't trust this guy. He's not like that.
Okay, yeah.
Not in the big game.
If they lose and he throws a pick that's
like
egregious.
Derek Carr did, you would be on him.
It's not an egregious pick. Stop saying it's an egregious pick.
I'm not
It wasn't
saying
an
it's egregious,
pick.
but I'm telling you, if that was Matthew
Bro,
Stafford,
I've seen Stafford throw interceptions that just leave me just shaking my head. That's why
A lot of
Carr's the same
quarterbacks
way.
have those moments, though.
But
to be fair.
that's why I am weary of him. I've seen it a lot in Detroit, so I have to see it.
Detroit's different. though.
If
He's playing hero ball.
the Rams win it all, am I going to be happy for Stafford? Absolutely, I'm going to be happy for Stafford. I love him as a quarterback. I love him as a person. He's a great dude.
Love him as a man.
Yes,
Nice.
he's a great man.
Yeah.
Great family man.
he is, man. Yo, he has the most kids in the NFL. Shout out to him.
I thought it was Phillip Rivers.
Well, he's not in the NFL
Cromartie
anymore.
has a ton too.
Does he?
Yeah.
Antonio Cromartie.
Yeah. I remember on the Hard Knocks episode, he had like 8 or something.
But that's what I'm saying about Stafford. Just because I love him doesn't mean I can't critique him.
That's fair.
I
understand,
critique him. So
I do understand that.
So we're gonna leave it at that. Cliff Kingsbury, I think it's one more
That was
season.
great. That was
5
so
and
great.
10, 5-10-1 his first year, 8-8 second year, 11-6 his third year. Now this fourth year, He either has to win more than 11 games, win 11 games, and win a playoff game.
Yeah, that's next.
He has to do one of those things. Even if he loses in the playoffs next year, it just can't be embarrassing.
But he's made them better, though. I don't feel like why would one year like
because he's been the coach for 4 years now. Like
he's only made them better.
He took over a bad team.
I understand that.
Like they were
at some point
they were scrounging for anything after Arians left.
I know, but at some point you have to make a change if you're not getting success. Yeah. That's just what it is. It's a result-driven business,
and that's why I worry about McCarthy because we saw Jason Garrett be there for 10 years, and it was the same story just about every single season. But are you guys worried at all? Because I'm getting a little bit worried. Kyler's a small guy. It's happened 2 years in a row that he gets banged up, and he's just not the same. Like, sure, Cliff did have that problem down the stretch in college as well, but to me, I'm more worried about Kyler being able to stay healthy for a 17-game season.
This year was different for me because they didn't need him to come back immediately, and they were winning.
They were 2-1 with wins over Seattle and San Fran with Colt McCoy.
It was once D-Hop went down.
They need more guys.
They do need more guys.
The receiver core outside that, while AJ Green had a good season, Kirk has his moments. If Hop goes down, you have a bad receiver core.
This is not a victory lap by any means. This is not for me to come at Joel by any means. When we talked about the Ravens versus the Cardinals, D-Hop is just this resounding name that is just so polarizing to any football fan that immediately you think, all right, Cardinals have the best weapons. But in the grand scheme of things, Christian Kirk is not a proven guy. He is good because Kyler Murray allows him.
He's a good secondary option.
And once you're backpacking off DeAndre Hopkins, who's getting double teamed every single play, it allows for guys like Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore, AJ Green to look better than they actually are. Yeah. They need another weapon.
Yeah, I understand that. Christian Kirk is he's an awesome 2, though.
Oh, I agree. He's an awesome 2. He cannot be your 1.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. But it's hard to be in that position.
He's a good 2. Like
he's a good 2.
Cedric Wilson or Christian Kirk. Like I really would have to sit and think about that.
Because I think like Robert Woods is a great 2. I don't think Christian Kirk. I agree.
That is so well said. Yeah. That is so well said.
Braxton Berrios too.
Hey, you don't have to tell me, man. I'm in. I'm in.
That's the thing. That's the reason why I also kind of have a gripe with Kirk. With Cliff Kingsbury, because we saw Mike LaFleur get the best out of a Jets offense, basically take Tampa Bay to the last play of the game with Braxton Berrios as their best option. Yeah. And Mike LaFleur can do that. I understand it was a meaningless regular season game. Yeah. Cliff being that flat, being an offensive guru, it is a bit alarming, so we'll see what happens with him.
LaFleur's an outlier, though. He's one of the best offensive coaches in the league.
I mean, they've been using his play call.
Yeah, I know, bro. They've been using it. The laterals.
I'm gonna find all the clips of people using his play call so people know where it originated from.
Yeah, because we saw it a few times this weekend.
Because nobody's been able to execute it outside of us. We executed it. Nobody's been able to execute it.
Cowboys did it to CeeDee Lamb.
No. That was a different play. That was I think it was Cedric Wilson caught the ball. It was like a crossing route, and then CeeDee Lamb came across.
You're just saying like complete opposite side of the field that they messed up on.
The play is a pass.
You know what I'm talking about?
The play is a pass to a receiver, and then while the receiver's running, he throws it backwards.
I feel like that's what CeeDee Lamb did.
No, it was a toss. It was a toss.
Okay,
it was like it was a toss.
Because I remember one play specifically where they did what you said. They threw it to the receiver, and then he threw it back, but it was a forward pass.
It was like the equivalent to like a dribble handoff in basketball.
Yeah.
Like he came, like they were this close to each other, he just tossed it back. Mm-hmm. Where like the play that LaFleur designed is somebody running a slant, a guy coming here, and you literally passing it to him like 10 yards away from you and just running.
Okay.
Yeah, they missed that play. They missed that play with Tony Pollard. I think somebody overthrew Tony Pollard on that.
It went out of bounds.
Joe Douglas, that's your guy?
Of course.
You'll kiss him?
Yes.
Real.
Oh man, where though?
Oh,
come on, man. You don't have to do that.
God forbid. It's like you kiss your uncle on the cheek. How you been doing?
There you go, man.
100%.
That's a genuine gesture.
That's a French kiss or no?
French kisses with tongue, bro. Come on.
What culture?
Italian. Italians.
Okay, Italians.
Mwah.
So you do that to Joe Douglas?
Yeah, that's my guy, bro. He's turning around the Jets organization, bro. Come on.
Yeah, not many have been able to do it, man.
I mean, I'm glad I've always really been guys. Joe Douglas, that's my guy for sure. That's my guy.
Come on, man. You came up with the title yourself. You got to ride with that.
The pick a side?
Come on, bro. Pick one.
I am picking a side.
And it is.
I never say which one I'm picking. I'm picking a side, though.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You know, I'm actually interested in hearing what you have to say. The Eagles announced today that Jalen Hurts will be the starting quarterback in 2022 per Howie Roseman. Sirianni also voiced his support for Jalen Hurts. It looks like they're riding with Jalen Hurts. They're riding this wave out. Do you think the Eagles can successfully build a team contender around Jalen Hurts? He's your guy. He had an awful performance against the Buccaneers. Yeah. How do you feel about that? Give your 2 cents.
Yeah, so did Mac. So did Carr.
Mac was way better than Jalen Hurts.
Okay, no,
he was not.
Mac Jones was
You
not
gotta
good, bro.
stop.
Mac was not that good, bro.
Y'all gotta
Mac
stop.
was not that good.
Y'all gotta stop acting like Mac Jones.
Bro, he
the
played like
perfect
poop.
pass he threw wasn't just a great play by Micah, bro. Like, come on.
Perfect pass?
That was a
How about
perfect
that
pass.
wide open touchdown he had where he threw the ball at the ground for a touchdown?
And that pick that he had.
Listen, neither of them had a good game,
Agreed.
but I don't care. It's their first game. They're both practically rookies.
Mac was better though.
If you want to say marginally better, sure.
You literally
could
picked
have
two
that,
from
but I don't
the
really
two
care.
ugly-
They're-
Also,
pumpkins.
have
we'll
it
talk
back.
about
Good.
Mac.
We
Just
will.
talk about Jalen Hurts. Stop hating on my boy Mac, man.
Stop hating my boy Jalen, bro.
Facts.
Come
I'm
on.
not hating on Jalen.
He played awful.
Yeah, bro. Like you literally said,
everything-
You read this beautiful
hold-
intro, then you say he played terrible. Go ahead, talk.
Hold on. Answer this question. Last week, wild card preview, did I or did I not say exactly what the Bucs needed to do to make Jalen Hurts look very
The
flawed?
Eagles never had a
and they
chance.
exactly did
They were
it.
didn't have
completely
a
outmatched.
chance.
I said they weren't going to have a chance.
It just
though.
didn't take a
so did
rocket
we all
science
do.
to figure
All of
that
us
out.
knew they didn't have a chance.
But okay, I understand that, but I also warned you guys about his lack of pocket presence, and
That's been a thing.
Yes.
Okay,
He's
but
also been
y'all-
banged up. He has an ankle
hold on,
injury.
hold on. To be fair, y'all didn't think it was egregious as what you saw versus the Bucs.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Yeah.
The pocket presence, the going through progressions. Hurt was awful.
You
Hurts
can be a
was
witness
awful.
to this. How many times have I said to you, I don't love Hurts as a passer?
I know.
How many?
Yes.
It's so adamant. You
Yes.
don't even have
I
to.
know.
Okay, I'm sorry for grouping you in with
Thank
this
you.
Hurts lover.
Yeah. Sorry.
God
man.
forbid, bro.
I had to get
God
off that.
forbid. His first full season, he hasn't been perfect. Just
but-
like no rookie quarterback is outside of
Okay,
like
I get it. I
Andrew
get
Luck.
it. I get it. I'm not gonna be too hard on Hurts. Just give your take on Hurts.
Okay, I won't be too hard on Mac
Sorry,
then.
bro. I had to.
So, to recap, the question is, can the Eagles build a successful, championship roster around Jalen Hurts? And this is what it comes down to because I did my quarterback tiers list a couple weeks ago. It comes down to who are my other options.
Yeah, because Hurts is in that category with my boy. I'm just saying.
Oh, really?
That's
He's
all
in
I'm
the
saying.
tour tier?
That's what I'm saying.
He wasn't in the tour tier for me.
That's what I'm saying. Because you were chatting, putting my boy in that dead last tier.
Okay, bro.
And I'm telling you right now,
Tua sitting on the
Mac
couch.
is in that category, and so is him.
No way.
Mac is a tier above both
no,
those
he's not.
guys. Yes,
Okay.
he is.
Here we go. I'm the Hurts guy. Am I allowed to talk? You guys
Yes,
are going back and forth with Tua and
I've
Mac
been
Jones. Like,
silent.
you guys are mad defensive.
Tua is better than both of them.
Anywho, it depends what your other options are. Because if the Eagles they have 3 first-round picks. If the Eagles could use 2 of those and somehow get a Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, it's probably not going to happen. But if you can upgrade, I 100% always say Jalen Hurts, he's not a top 10 quarterback in the league, right? He's not going to backpack this team to Super Bowl in this year or next year, right? I understand that he's not there yet in terms of his progression.
Not there yet.
Not there yet, and who
Not
knows?
there. Who knows?
I never said he was going to be a
Easy.
top
All right, whatever.
5 quarterback.
All right,
I just
I'll
thought
stop being
he
mean.
could be a franchise guy potentially. Because when we look in his first full season, he had just under 4,000 total yards, 26 total touchdowns, only 11 turnovers. That's pretty good. Wouldn't you say that's pretty damn good for a quarterback who doesn't have, maybe the perfect situation? You got Jalen Reagor out there. He might be the worst wide receiver in the
sucks.
league.
Yeah,
No
he's not
disrespect,
good.
Jalen.
He's not
He
good.
sucks.
But when you, especially because we talked about it with Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, can you get better year after year? Jalen Hurts had obviously made a step from his rookie season, although it was only 4 games starting, to his sophomore season. From 2020 to 2021, his interception percentage dropped, his sack percentage decreased, his quarterback rating increased, his QBR increased. So when you're looking at all these stats overall, and you could just tell just by looking, he has improved as a passer. His completion percentage has gone up drastically as well. And then I also think he's been pretty good under pressure. While you do talk about his pocket awareness where it could definitely improve, I think he has been pretty decent in terms of being under pressure with not the best weapons on the outside. Devonta Smith is going to be a stud. But outside of that, I've made what I've said about Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor, these guys,
Bro, I don't know about Quez because Quez got open a couple times and Hurts missed him by yards.
Yes. Oh, no, I know. There was a wide open
Quez is a pretty good deep threat.
Yes, but regardless, they're not. I wouldn't say either of these guys are special.
I agree, but at the same time, it's like,
but when you look at Hurts under pressure this season, which is, I mean, that's where going to be 70% of your throws. You're not always going to have a clean pocket, damn near never in the NFL. He was under pressure 204 of his dropback, which is 11th most in the league. During those dropbacks, he had 1,046 yards, which was 8th most. He's able to make those completions. 63 touchdown interception ratio. Turnover-worthy play on 4% of his throws. 10th best, about the same as Kyler and Kirk Cousins. We like those guys, right? We like Kyler and Kirk Cousins, right? We like them.
I like Kyler.
Oh my
Kirk.
God, these stats are driving me crazy.
Well, what's wrong with these stats?
I can just tell you spent hours looking this up.
This took me 10 minutes, bro. This took me 10 minutes.
Bro, you spent,
What was the stat you just said? I'm sorry. With Kyler and Kirk?
Turnover-worthy plays while he's under pressure. 4% of the time.
I hate the turnover-worthy plays.
I think it's a great stat because it doesn't just,
No, I'm not opposed to it.
You're in.
I just know that it's your job. It's your job to basically.
I can't stop laughing. I'm sorry.
It's your job to make the case for Hurts as being what you think he can be.
But
I appreciate the stats you got.
I do think he has to, where he does have to improve, like Drew mentioned, is passing down the field.
Correct.
This season he was not good passing the ball down the field. Only completed 34% of his passes of 20 plus yards,
horrible.
and had 10 turnover-worthy throws, which was top 3 in the league, top 3 most. So he's improved across the board statistically outside of those deep throws, which is fine. It's his first year starting. I still have faith, but he also brings the elite rushing ability that a lot of quarterbacks aren't going to bring. He's in a very small category of guys with Kyler and Lamar in terms of being able to just build the offense around his ability to rush the ball, RPO, read options. And he's also a great leader. Everyone buys into him. The organization, the players, they all know he's the guy. So you have 3 first-round picks. If you're not going to go and somehow get a Deshaun or Rodgers, someone like that, you use those picks. You build around Jalen Hurts. Maybe you move down, get some picks in the future because it's not the best class in terms of offensive weapons, but he's still a pretty deep class. Maybe you could pick up a guy like a Drake London, a big body. Maybe you have to move up probably for a Garrett Wilson or someone like that. But I think Jalen Hurts, he made the playoffs. I know the schedule wasn't great, but you still got to play your schedule. He did what he had to do. He got into the playoffs his first year, rookie head coach as well. So there's nothing that I really took away from this game. If you hated Jalen Hurts after this game, you still hate him. If you're a Jalen Hurts believer, you still believe in him. So I didn't take anything away from this. They never had a chance. We said that in the preview last week. None of us gave them a chance to win this game. The Bucs and Brady, they're by far the better team, better coaching staff. They've been there year after year. So when it comes down to it, I'm a still believer in Jalen Hurts.
Okay, I appreciate all that you mentioned. These stats were pretty good. Not that I really care about it.
That's so rude.
The Kyler,
rip him apart when he talks about Matt.
Kyler,
he's on one, bro. He's on one.
But I agree with everything he's about to say.
Go ahead.
The Kyler versus, like you mentioned, he has some stats that are with Kyler and Kirk and all. They're.
I'm just talking.
Okay,
I
I understand that. Okay, whatever. Let's talk about the game first. This was just a complete embarrassment. This was also an embarrassment.
2 touchdowns.
They lost. It
was embarrassment.
They were down 31-0 at one point. Had it not been for the garbage time stats that Jalen Hurts put up, this would have been his just stat sheet would have looked so.
You gotta play
awful.
4 quarters, bro. I'm sorry. What do you want?
You mentioned the Jalen Hurts rushing ability. Yes, it's elite.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that's elite about him. And his leadership and the way he dresses too, I would say, is elite as well.
Fly.
Yeah, he is fly.
And he's handsome.
Look, yes.
He's a good-looking dude,
He
for sure.
does have a great jawline. I do agree.
That takes into account, bro. Look at Jimmy G.
There was a point in the game where the Eagles had 9 drives. They had 7 first downs. I came on this show last week, and it's actually been a reoccurring theme for the past couple weeks that I've been telling you guys, that I've been thinking Hurts has been getting overrated because of this season. I said it last week. Everybody thinks that Hurts backpacked this team when it wasn't like that. The offensive line is elite. The weapons, yes, they're not elite, but the Eagles scheme didn't ask for the receivers to be elite because the backfield, they were a run-first team. That's what they were.
With patchy running backs. They brought in Jordan Howard. I don't think they signed him in the offseason.
They were good though.
I know, but you got.
I don't care. I don't care about the names if they produced.
A majority of their yards were from Boston Scott's one rush for 34 yards. Yeah. If not for that, they'd have under 60 yards. Yeah.
I just want to preface this by saying I agree with the decision for the Eagles to stick with Hurts as quarterback next season. I agree. This is a stopgap, though, and the Eagles will very quickly learn that he's not a franchise quarterback. My comparison for him out of college that still stands today is Tyrod Taylor. And whenever I say that, I get so much slack. Like Tyrod Taylor didn't make a Pro Bowl in his first year as a full-time starter with the Bills. Like he didn't lead the Bills to the playoffs. But he is a career backup, spot starter. That's what I think Jalen Hurts is going to be. He's good. He's just not great. Those traits that he has as a quarterback, yes. Can he get better at reading defenses? Absolutely. But he doesn't have elite traits as a thrower. He just doesn't. He has a good NFL arm. I'd say it's about average, maybe a little bit above. He does have an elite rushing ability, but when that's taken away, you saw how he looked. And when I was rewatching the Bucs and Eagles game, not the playoff game, but the original one they played in the regular season, these are all things that stood out to me. I don't put too much stock into the completion percentage. He completed 61% of his passes this season. Most of his passes were run pass out. The scheme was run pass RPOs, bubble screens, short passes, and he completed 61%. The Eagles stopped throwing the ball outside the numbers and specifically in the middle of the field because Jalen Hurts, he just was not good in that area. That's exactly why. He's an okay quarterback, but his pocket presence, he sees ghosts out there. He runs away when nothing's in front of him. He doesn't have great pocket presence. He doesn't go through his progressions very well, which he can get better at, I understand. He's just an okay NFL quarterback. And the reason why I started to get pissed off about Jalen Hurts this season is because people have started to categorize him as baby Lamar and compare
poor man's Lamar
and compare Lamar's first 16 starts to Hurts's and stuff like that, and all these numbers show they're similar guys and stuff like that, when that's not the case. And that's why I made the comment I did that I think he's starting to get overrated. The Buccaneers' performance, Jalen Hurts has been that quarterback all season long. It's just no team, due in large parts of their weak schedule, was able to really make Hurts play a way that he's not comfortable playing. And versus the Buccaneers, it just got exposed. I know it's only his second season. That's why I'm not going to be too critical. I do think he has a limited ceiling. If he surpasses it, will I be surprised? I won't. Donovan McNabb has a lot of faith in him. He has said that the Eagles have their QB, that they should be patient. And it's really about the Eagles just building this team up, because regardless if Hurts is the long-term starter or not, they have to build a team that can contend. So if Hurts is not the long-term starter, you can bring in a guy who can just fill in right away and then have success. They have 3 first-round picks, the pick number 15, 16, and 19, 3 picks in the first round in the teens area. And in this draft,
use it to move up.
In this draft, the top 10 isn't that great either.
True.
So this is the perfect spot to be in. They have $12 million in cap space, so they can play around with it a little bit. But Hurts, to me, has a lot of flaws. And I'm just not... The problem with Hurts is that he has these flaws, but he doesn't have the upside. Zach Wilson, he has flaws, but he has the upside that if he gets over the flaws, he can be a top 10 quarterback. I don't think Hurts has that type of ceiling. I think he's just an average quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater-esque, Tyrod Taylor-esque, and that's totally fine. I mean, this is a guy that was a second-round pick, that was called a running back, that nobody thought had an NFL future. So he's surpassing expectations.
Without doubt.
Can he surpass more? Probably. We'll just see what happens. But that's what I think about Jalen Hurts.
I'm sorry, King. Usually we see eye to eye. Unfortunately, not on this one. I think he's a solid quarterback for sure. He's not bad. He's by no means a bad quarterback. Do I think he's a franchise quarterback? I don't think so, personally. I think I need my quarterback to be a great passer, or at least a... This is going to sound mean. I don't think he's a good passer either. I think he's, at best, okay. I think that he needs to work on his accuracy. He needs to work on his pocket presence. And I think that, like we all can agree, I think we can all agree he can get better at pocket awareness. That being said, it's really tough to become an accurate thrower in the NFL if you aren't already. He has the offensive line already to protect him. I agree he does not have the best weapons. But that being said, this past weekend, he had some guys open. Quez was open deep twice, and he missed him twice by yards. And that's been my whole gripe with Jalen Hurts basically this entire year. I can trust him on the ground without a doubt, but in terms of actually letting the ball fly, that's where things get dicey. And this was going to be a script. From day one, we knew this. This game was going to be a script where Jalen Hurts was going to, if he had a chance to win this game, it had to be with his arm. And that's where I could have no confidence in the Eagles winning this game by any means. If Jalen Hurts does not get better accuracy-wise as a quarterback, I can't see it happening, personally.
You know why I like Hurts? Because he's always been doubted. You know, he got benched in the
That's why I like Lamar, but
game.
I feel similarly with Lamar also. I think Lamar's a great quarterback? Yes, I do think he is.
Yeah.
Do I ever think that he'll get over the hump and win a Super Bowl personally? Until he works on his accuracy and is consistent as an accurate passer,
I don't know, man.
I will always have my reservations.
I've seen
disagree
Flacco
with you
go.
there.
I've seen Jimmy G go to the Super Bowl. I've seen Nick Foles go
Lamar's
to the Super Bowl.
a great passer.
But Jimmy G was a great passer?
He's a great passer.
I can't agree with that.
He's a great passer.
I can't agree
I
with
don't even know
that.
if I can't go great.
I can't.
Could you tell
He's
me
a great
great? You're
passer.
telling me he's like a top 5-7 passer in the league. He's not there.
No, that's elite. He's a great passer.
Here we go, semantics.
I
What
know,
do you mean?
semantics.
Come on.
It is semantics. It's
Elite,
semantics.
top
It's
5, top
semantics.
6, top
It's
7.
semantics.
Come on.
He's a good passer.
All right. So let's name guys. You said top 5.
Who's the better passer?
I think. Okay.
This is
All
that's
right.
what I'm saying.
All right. Name players. We'll talk.
Okay,
About
Aaron Rodgers,
Aaron,
Tom Brady,
Tom,
Josh Allen,
Allen,
Mahomes,
Mahomes,
Stafford, Derek Carr.
Lamar.
Matt Ryan.
Lamar.
Oh, wow.
Right now.
I'm shocked.
Come on, bro.
Russell Wilson.
Let me bring up
Russell.
Joe Burrow.
Joe. Herbert.
We're 9 names deep
That's eight.
now.
Eight. I count.
Dak Prescott.
Lamar.
I disagree.
Just passing?
Kyler.
It's even.
Oh my God,
Bro,
that's
Kyler was leading the league in completion
Bro,
percentage.
crazy.
With the high
Because-
A
because
dot.
That's crazy.
No,
That's
it's just-
crazy.
I see
That's
their scheme.
crazy.
It warrants for his complete percentage to be high.
But we already went over that. We debunked that because he lets the ball fly.
He had one of the highest A dots in the league and leading the league in completion
Bro,
percentage.
I just think Lamar Jackson, he's a great passer.
He's not. He's a
Listen,
good.
I'm one of the biggest Lamar fans. I can't say he's a great passer just yet.
I think he's a great passer.
I think
This year was an
off
off season for him. I'll admit that. You guys know I'm not the biggest Lamar fan.
And I'm the biggest Lamar fan. That's why I'm shocked
Exactly.
right now.
No, but I just think that, Lamar, I don't think will win a Super Bowl. I don't think he'll do that.
Why not?
Because I think once he gets paid, the roster is going to be decimated, and I mean it's what happens.
The Ravens just such a good organization.
They
They've
are.
always had good players no matter what. They paid Joe Flacco huge money.
And plus, I just think the lifeline of running quarterbacks is very short.
Yeah, but I mean he's gonna last one contract definitely.
Yeah, Cam Newton got drafted in 2011. He lasted until 2015, basically.
Cam was
2015,
also
2016.
I feel like
2015
Cam
he went to
also
the
was just
Super Bowl,
taking.
so it's a few years after that.
Cam was taking.
No, but
I feel like
he
a lot
dropped
more
off
hits.
after that. He made the playoffs in 2016, but after 2017 and over, he dropped off.
Lamar has to take a page out of Kyler's book because Kyler doesn't get hit often. Lamar still gets hit often, but Cam, I feel like thought just since he was always such a big body, he could withstand all those hits, and eventually it caught up to him. But I mean, Lamar's better passer than Cam,
Yeah, he is.
so he's got that going for him
So
too.
I
think he's better. I mean,
understand.
he's a faster runner. Obviously, Cam was more physical, probably the most physical we've ever seen.
Is Lamar?
You don't think Lamar's the best running quarterback?
He's the best running quarterback of all time.
Oh, without a doubt. But in
Okay.
terms of everything, and I'm taking into account
No, yeah, Lamar.
because you said Cam's a better. You said that Lamar's a better passer than
Yeah.
Cam.
Yeah.
And he's the best rushing quarterback.
Cam had a
I've ever seen.
35-10 season and still rushed for 10 touchdowns that year. I think
Lamar's
I think
MVP year-
I think he actually ran for 15. He had 50 total touchdowns.
Lamar's
that
MVP
year.
year is better than Cam's MVP year.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
If we're talking about regular season only,
Lamar had
yes.
36 and 9. 36 touchdowns, 9 picks. His MVP
Lamar,
year.
correct.
If you look at
36
passing
and 9.
and 9 interceptions. He had
All right.
his.
if you look at Lamar's MVP year, regular season, he was
7.
far better. He was better than Cam.
So 43 total. And
But
9.
because
Cam had 636 and 10 touchdowns. He had 50 total touchdowns.
Okay, yeah, Lamar had 43. I mean, on the goal line though, they used Cam a lot more.
Of course.
You know,
I'm
Lamar's
just
not built
saying,
like
I
that.
think the playoffs is what separates Cam in that season because he made the Super Bowl. Lamar got embarrassed in the divisional round. It is what it is.
That's a good debate though, Lamar versus Cam.
I think so too. That's actually was going to be a question of mine. You kind of just beat me to it.
Yeah, we had that debate on the podcast before, actually.
Really? Was I here?
No, that was when this room was still red.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a really good debate.
yeah,
Yeah, we had that debate. Who's MVP season?
I'm a huge Cam fan.
I know you are.
I love Cam.
Yeah,
I've
no,
always
I'm not.
have. It hurt me to see him go against my Broncos. It really did.
Hey, you'll take it. Though.
Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
of
One of the
course.
one of the easiest, most relaxed nights I've ever had.
You know
That's
who
nice,
is
bro.
better than Lamar though, and who's proved it already?
Oh,
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, y'all want to see in the playoffs, and he did it.
I said it.
nice.
I
He
said
did
it.
it.
he's nice.
I
Joe
said
Burrow is that
I
guy.
will say Burrow is better in the future, no doubt. I can 100% see it. I did not see it happening 2 games after we had that conversation.
Yeah, Burrow's disgusting.
It's over. It's
I
no
love
debate.
Joe Burrow.
It's no debate.
That's my guy. He's so cool. He's
He
swag.
is so cool.
Yeah, he's
Is
cool.
Joe? All right, now let's really get into it. Let's really get spicy, really quick. Is Joe Burrow top 5?
Coolest player.
No. Best quarterback
Oh.
in the league, top 5.
He's not top 5 yet. But
He's
if we're-
right outside.
If we're
Be
talking,
honest.
if we're talking about top 5 young quarterbacks, he's definitely top 5
He's-
young quarterbacks.
Are you taking
Three.
Burrow or are you taking Kyler?
I'm taking Joe Burrow.
Burrow. It's just the injury with Kyler. Probably small.
That's really it. That's
just
really it.
That's the only thing that's
That's
stopping
really
me.
it.
I think
Are you
the
taking
top-
Herbie or are you taking Burrow?
Herbert. The
That's
top.
close.
These are the top 5 young quarterbacks in the NFL, in my opinion. Number 1, Mahomes. Number 2, Josh Allen. And even though Josh Allen to me is number 2, he has a case for number 1.
I agree.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is not the clear-cut best young quarterback in the NFL anymore. Josh Allen is just as good as him and even better on some games. Josh Allen is flat out amazing. It's Mahomes, it's Allen. I think there's a gap. Justin Herbert, I'd put Joe Burrow 4.
And then Kyler 5.
Kyler probably would be 5 for me.
I agree with that list.
Either Kyler or Lamar is 5.
Yeah, that's fair.
Kyler's better than Lamar, man. With all due respect, he is. He is.
This is the first time we've seen Lamar get hurt. If Lamar didn't get hurt, I would push back there. But Lamar did get banged up this last season. And Kyler's just small. That's why it worries me. Lamar's a bigger guy.
Kyler missed games this year and almost threw for more yards than last year.
He's a beast.
There's a gap between Allen and Herbert just because.
Yeah,
you don't have to explain.
No,
You
no,
don't have to
I
explain.
understand. But maybe some TikTokers.
You're right.
Because that's going to get clipped and they might want to see this.
You don't
Okay.
think Herbert could be as good as Josh Allen?
Yeah, he can.
Okay.
He
Oh,
can
I'm saying
hold
right
on.
now, though.
Herbert
Right
can,
now.
Herbert can be just as good as Mahomes too.
Yeah,
Correct.
facts.
I just want to put that
I think
out there.
I think those three are in that top tier for me.
In terms of talent, it's Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, and there's a gap between those 3 and Burrow.
Yeah.
I can't agree.
I think
I
there
will
is
say
a-
this
I
though.
think there's
I
a
will
little
say
gap.
this. Joe Burrow has the ability to be on their level, not because of his physical talent, but just because of his understanding of the game.
Agreed.
That's why. Just his feel for it,
Leadership.
leadership. Even
Swag.
though I mean, yeah,
Bro, those
I guess
glasses are
tough.
crazy.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, I just think he has a lot of Tom Brady-esque traits.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
it's it's very unfair to compare a guy like that to Tom Brady. Tom Brady is a GOAT, but Joe Burrow has that ability where I wouldn't be shocked if one day we're debating he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, maybe eat my words. I said he was a tier 2 guy, but he's definitely tier 1.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's my guy. Yeah, Joe Burrow's definitely. What other young quarterbacks are there in the NFL? Because I feel like we might be missing one. We're definitely missing Zach Wilson.
I was gonna say from this whole draft class
Zach Wilson's going to be that 5th. He's going to be over Kyler and Lamar next year. I just want to let you know
I
that.
don't think so.
next
Not
year.
Kyler.
Oh man, I don't know, bro. Zach, I love Zach, bro, but to say he's gonna be better than Kyler and Lamar next season's crazy.
Zach.
I hope you're right, bro. Because if he does that, we're in the playoffs. If he's better than
will
Kyler
be.
and Lamar,
We will be.
I said we could be next year's Cincy, bro.
All right, your boy Mac Jones, my guy Tua.
Oh, well, yeah, not that.
Yeah, they're not.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Those
like
are the
Mac
only
too.
young guys,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Those are really the only
But
young guys.
Trev, Fields, Trey
Yeah.
Lance.
Yep.
We don't think anywhere were you just out on these guys one bad year?
No, we're not out on them. It's just a rookie season. It's too soon to even have that conversation.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tua.
But
would
you're
probably be
not
6
too
for me.
soon to say it about Zach.
Because Zach is unbelievably different.
Okay.
2 is 6, personally.
2 assists.
And he has the most beautiful smile.
He does.
He also gifted his offensive linemen tickets to go fly anywhere they wanted.
He might have broke up with his girl. I saw something on Instagram. They like
Joel's about to hop in.
Dead ass. He's about to slide in his DMs like, yo, bro, what's up with that BMW ad or whatever he's got?
Yeah, maybe. I might shoot my shot with Zach, man.
I saw some report they like, I don't know, it's Instagram bullshit, but like they got rid of all their pictures together. Who knows? But I just saw that.
Drama alert.
Yeah, some TMZ.
Yeah,
probably.
bro. Who are we? Keemstar?
Yeah, I know, right?
Holy.
We're a gossiping podcast now.
We talked about Jalen Hurts briefly. Now we're going to talk about Mac Jones.
Ruh-roh.
The Bills beat the Pats 47-17. And we'll talk about the wild card weekend briefly after we do our ad roll for DraftKings. The Bills had the first ever perfect offensive performance. But we know what the Bills are. We're going to talk about them later when we preview their playoff game. What do the Patriots have to do this offseason for you to think that they can actually be a legit team? Because there was a moment in time where we were calling them I was calling them a sleeper. They were the best team in the AFC at one point, but they slowed down. Max slowed down. And, I mean, this game totally collapsed for them. What are your thoughts on Mac Jones? Before you guys go, Mac Jones is my guy. So I will start this one.
Okay.
I didn't think he played bad versus the Patriots. Versus the Bills. And I know, yeah, they got embarrassed, but I mean, when the Bills have a perfect offensive game, the defense does not get a stop on them at all. What do you expect from a rookie quarterback in his first NFL game?
Something.
At least the Eagles stopped the Bucs didn't have a perfect game. Even the Rams didn't have a perfect game. As big of an embarrassment that was. A defense in the Patriots that, led by Bill Belichick, to be embarrassed like this. And it's not like I didn't see this coming. Last week in my preview, I said the Patriots have been on a slump. They gave up 33 to Tua-led offense. That's embarrassing in itself. Then they gave up 33 to Buffalo too. Then 28 to Indianapolis. It's just their defense has not been that good over the past couple of weeks, and it just showed. The Patriots had 89 rushing yards. A lot of that is due to being down so early in the game. They had to go to the pass. Mac Jones, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. One of the picks, I think it was just an excellent play by Micah Hyde. Honestly, that was a good ball.
A little bit of both.
That was a good ball. I thought that was a great ball.
So is it good to play by the safety who intercepted Jalen Hurts?
It's a bad throw by Hurts.
My God, here he goes.
It was. I didn't.
It was
listen,
a great play.
Mac should have overthrown him. He underthrew him, which allowed Micah the ability to make that play.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Mac Jones, he's going to be a solid quarterback. I think he's going to be a franchise quarterback. Not in terms of like a top 10, top 5 elite guy in the NFL, but he definitely, I think, can be a consistent top 15 quarterback. The same thing we see with Derek Carr from Kirk Cousins, those kind of guys. I think that is Mac Jones' tier, and you can win in the NFL like that. Will you be able to beat the Josh Allens of the world in the playoffs if your team roster is that superior to the opposing teams? Yes. Will he be able to beat a Zach Wilson? Because he's coming up too. And I know that people laugh when I say this, but just trust me on Zach. Zach is going to be a great quarterback.
You're supposed to trust Joel with Zach, but you can't trust me with Tua. That's crazy.
It's just a difference in talents with those two.
There's a difference in talent. There is. There definitely is.
One's mobile. That's it. That's all I see.
Zach's arm is leaps and bounds better than Tua's.
God.
But the Patriots, but Mac Jones had a phenomenal rookie season. 22 touchdowns to 13 picks, 67% completion percentage. He was awesome. Hunter Henry vouched for him, said that he loves Mac Jones. He vocalized his support. Bill Belichick said that Mac helped us a lot, and he looks forward to working with him next season. Ultimately, the Patriots this year, let's be honest, who had them making the playoffs? At the beginning of the season, because I know in the middle of the season they went on a little run. Who had them truly making the playoffs? Nobody. Who had them competing for the division crown? Nobody. I was higher on the Patriots than most because I believed in Mac Jones and I believed in just the team and the free agent acquisitions they got. But the Patriots, their defense, they don't have an elite edge rusher. They don't have an elite linebackers.
Judon played well, though.
Their safeties are getting older.
They are.
Their corners are good. They have a great cornerback room.
J.C. Jackson's a free agent.
Yeah, and if he leaves, now the cornerback room is decimated.
They'll have to pay him. They let Gilmore walk. They have to pay him.
Ultimately, the Patriots don't have a lot of elite level difference makers on their defensive side of the ball. So their defense got exposed in that respect. And offensively, what do you expect Mac to do when his best weapons are Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers, and Nelson Aguilar? Kendrick Bourne had a good season for his standards, a great season for his standards, I'll say. Nelson Aguilar was disappointing. He didn't even have 500 yards on the season. Jonnu Smith had 1 touchdown on the entire year. A guy that I thought in Jonnu and Hunter Henry was going to be a great tight end duo, I thought that was disappointing. Hunter Henry came on this year, later in the year, and that was a good sign. But this offseason, they have to make it a point of emphasis to get a difference maker at the receiver position. That's it. Even get a Jameson Williams. He might fall to the 21st pick just because of his injury.
You think so?
Yes.
They still have him as the number 1 projected receiver, though.
Yeah, but draft day is always a little bit different.
Yeah, I think he falls.
Draft day is always a little bit different. I would take Jameson in a heartbeat. I don't care about the injury.
Where they're picking, he could definitely be there. I think he will be there.
I like Drake London.
Around like 20-ish?
Yeah, he just tore his ACL.
I understand, but modern medicine.
I know.
And he's a beast. He's
But
crazy.
even that, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, the Patriots.
There's talent.
Patriots have to get a receiver in the first round of this draft. There's no doubt about it. And I just think they have to build up that defense, and they have to start building it with speed. Boomer Esiason made a great point about how the Patriots have a lot of slow guys on their team. And versus offenses that have a lot of speed, they get exposed. So they need to work on that. I think the Patriots will be good. I don't know what they're going to be next year because the AFC East isn't a laughingstock anymore. The Bills are a great team, an elite team. Yeah. The Dolphins, for as much as we give Tua, I've said before, you can win with Tua. I've never said you can't. You can win with Tua.
I've never said
and the team could only get better. The offensive line was the worst ranked in the league, and Zach Wilson is coming. I am being honest. I am being truthful.
He is.
I feel like with Zach,
we could be Cincy.
Yo, I like
Cincy.
You don't have the weapons for me to say you're Cincy.
I feel like with Zach Wilson, I have an orb, and I'm just looking into the future with the Jets. I just see it. I see the vision. I'm all in on Zach.
We know.
To be Cincy's crazy. Now I'm really thinking about it's crazy.
Well, it's not obviously the
I understand
Jamar
what
Chase
you mean. I understand what you
different.
mean.
But just being
Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon.
I know, but just being a sleeper kind of team that no one really thinks going to win, they're competitive, sneak into the playoffs.
But
That could be the Cardinals.
What's the difference?
I feel like Cardinals and Bengals completely different.
But I'm just saying their regular season story. Now they're expecting them to.
The Bengals came up after one season. This is Joe Burrow's last season. He played 7 games, so he played a decent amount. But this year,
it took the third year for
exactly. Okay. And Kyler, it went 5 games, 8 games, 11, playoffs. Yeah. I feel like that. I feel more Cardinals than Bengals.
That's fair.
I'm still high on Mac Jones. This game didn't change anything about that. I thought he played well considering the circumstances. I will say this though. I do think he probably ends up becoming the 3rd best quarterback in this draft class. I think Zach is going to be the best one. I think Trevor probably ends up being the 2nd best. I think Mac is 3. And that's kind of how I had my rankings beforehand. Could I see Fields or Lance being better? Yeah, absolutely. I could see Lance being the 2nd best. I can make a case for a lot of these guys. But I don't. Mac Jones had the best rookie season out of all these guys. So I think he's going to be the best rookie quarterback? No. I think this rookie quarterback class is going to be good. I think they're going to have good careers. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we still have to see what happens and what ends up happening. But I still like Mac Jones a lot.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I think the key word you used was difference maker. And I know I was saying I was going to talk shit about Mac. I like Mac too. I think you have a good, understanding, like a top 15 quarterback. There's going to be a lot of matchups where he's the 2nd best quarterback, especially when you're going to face those elite guys like a Josh Allen, Mahomes,
Dolphins twice a year.
Anywho, it's going to be obvious that Mac is the 2nd best quarterback in a lot of games, but the Patriots need a number 1 weapon on the outside, an X receiver, because I talked about it. Like, you guys want to pick a side with the Patriots receivers are good or not. I said they're not. You guys are telling me about Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, whatever. You guys told me this was a pretty good receiver core.
You said
Kendrick Bourne sucked.
No, I said they're guys, which they are. They are guys. They are depth wide receivers at best, and that's exactly what they are. This is why they need to go and get a true number one wide receiver, because I don't even love them as number twos. I will, if you have a real number one, sure, they're fine. But you look at the talent of wide receiver in the NFL right now.
Agreed. Fair.
I mean, they're threes on a lot of teams.
They are.
So this past offseason wasn't great for them. I don't think any of their signs. I mean, you gave Jonnu Smith $50 million. He had 29 catches, less than 300 yards and 1 touchdown. That's an utter disgrace. Hunter Henry was a really good red zone target. He had 9 touchdowns. But even still, is he a true difference maker at the tight end position? Probably not. There's a lot of tight ends I would still be taking over Hunter Henry.
It's tough.
And even still, he doesn't open up the offense at all. You know, he's a really solid possession type tight end, but he's not a game changer. And that's really what the Patriots need. So in this offseason, you stated a point. Draft. But I also think we'll get into Calvin Ridley a bit later. I think that's another area they can go where we've seen the Patriots make splashes in the past to go out and get a big wide receiver, obviously referencing Randy Moss. But even if they could go and maybe sign an A-Rob or a Mike Williams to a 1-year deal just to infuse that room with a little bit more talent. I know A-Rob's coming off his worst season ever. I still think there's something there. And Mike Williams, we were talking before the show, you think he might get upwards of $16, $17 million, which is very similar to what Kenny Golladay got last year. I don't know if any team is giving him a big financial commitment over 3-4 years, so I could kind of see him getting like a 2-year $30 million type contract. Most of it's guaranteed in that first year. And I think that's a great situation where the Patriots can go as well. And I just think the second half of the season, they kind of got figured out, right? The defense kind of came down to earth. The offense did as well. They had 50-plus points against the Jaguars and Jets, but it was the Jaguars and Jets, two of the bottom teams in the NFL this year. They had some good moments, 45 against the Browns, 36 against the Titans. But like I mentioned, after second half of the season, especially after the bye, they scored 17, 21, had that 50-point performance, but then 24 and 17. If you take out that crazy outlier, they're averaging about 20 points per game. That's bottom 10 in the NFL. So the Patriots got some work to do on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, for sure, they can improve as well. I just trust Bill Belichick to make it work. They were, at one point in the season, the best defense in the league. Kind of came back down to earth. Re-signing J.C. Jackson is going to be huge for them. He's been one of the best corners over the last few years, especially ball hawking. Losing to Stephon Gilmore early in the year, too. So Bill's got some work to do, but I think number one has to be building.
Patriots had some work to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
You said
Bills.
I meant Bill Belichick.
Bill.
Okay.
They got some work to do on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
But I think the number one priority is getting actual difference makers for Mac Jones in the offense.
Couldn't agree more. You guys hit it right in the nose. You look at this receiver group, it's not the best by any means. I think that I don't know if wide receivers are going to want to come play for New England, though, personally. I am under the belief that, one, the Patriots don't want to spend that money on a wide receiver. I feel like they had a really strong chance to go and make a splash with an Odell-type player this offseason. I'm blanking off the top of my head.
Kenny
I guess
G,
Will
Corey
Fuller,
Davis.
Kenny G.
Yeah.
But Will Fuller was unfortunate where he kind of put a guy.
Corey Davis was free agent.
Corey Davis was another one.
All those guys would have been bad signings, though.
They're better than Nelson
In
Aguilar.
hindsight, I mean,
I understand, but come on, Kenny G, we didn't do anything this year.
Again, we open Pandora's box. Who knows what happens if they go into and they sign with the Patriots. That being said, I don't see Bill spending money on a wide receiver, personally. I feel like if he's going to spend money, it's going to be on a defense.
This was the first offseason, though. They went hard, and they spent a lot of money on the offense.
They spent a lot of money in a lot of places. Yes, they brought in Nelson Aguilar, but that was like $24 million 2 years. They brought in Kendrick Bourne. That was a 3-year, $24 million. They brought in
decent contracts,
but these are like little.
We're not
Matt Judon, Jalen Mills.
But there was I wouldn't say these are big. These are like little bullshit contracts. If I'm just using different words, you know what I'm saying? It's just like these are. Again, they're not different. They're like C+ grade wide receivers.
I couldn't agree more.
And they're getting whatever contracts. I don't see Bill going out and paying a $17 million contract for a wide receiver. I feel like he would rather spend that money on J.C. Jackson, who really could change a game. Unlike, in hindsight, again, Kenny Golladay, Will Fuller. But now this wide receiver class is a little bit different, or this free agency class is a little different. Calvin Ridley, but can you trust him? In the sense of this is mine going to be too. Correct. You have Allen Robinson. I agree with you. I am still in on Allen Robinson. However, it's a risk to give him the money, especially this was a prove-it year, and he definitely did not prove it. Mike Williams is another player that I'm skeptical about. Can he be a number one? Go ahead.
A couple other guys. Chris Godwin's free agent. Juju. I guess
Chris Godwin, I honestly think that he comes back. I honestly think he comes back.
Deal,
yeah, I think so. I think I think he stays until Tom Brady leaves.
Yeah. Unless some team comes and it's like, we'll give you a multi-year contract. Like, we don't care about the ACL. We'll give you a 4-year deal for $100 million.
For sure. But ultimately, this team ran out of steam. Joel, you said it perfectly. The defense just kind of collapsed towards the end of the year. They gave up a bunch of points to mediocre offenses. I mean, outside of the Colts, but the Colts even started to cool down towards the end of the year also. I just think in this game specifically, the Bills are one of, if not the hottest team in the NFL. They're playing perfect football. And it was borderline unreasonable to expect the Patriots to come into Buffalo and win this game. It was a different script. It was not cold enough where they could not throw the ball. It was not windy enough that they couldn't throw the ball. And clearly, that didn't even if that was the case, Devin Singletary was damn good. 16 attempts, 81 rushing yards. He was great. And Josh Allen is a freak of nature with his legs. He made the defender touch
silly.
earth.
Oh, God.
He is like that. He arguably, you could argue, he's the best rushing quarterback in the league. You could argue it in terms of everything that goes into it. He's the best.
I don't know if I'm there yet. He's damn good.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's the best rusher.
I know.
That's Lamar Jackson. It isn't close. In terms of everything and passing, running the ball, ball security.
What are you talking about? Complete quarterback?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen's better than Lamar.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, without a doubt.
Anyone's debating that.
But I'm saying like Kyler Murray or Jalen Hurts. I'm grouping Josh Allen with those guys.
In terms of rushing ability?
Correct. At this point, he has shown that. He leads his team most games.
He's
in
a better runner
yards.
than Hurts.
Yeah.
They
just play different offenses. Like Hurts they're designed for him to make runs, and Josh Allen just does a lot more off script, and he's amazing at it.
Correct. I agree with that. So, all in all, it was unreasonable to expect the Patriots to really come out and win this game. I think they could have put out a better fight without a doubt. However, Mac Jones, unfortunately, for me, is not an A-plus guy or an A guy. I don't think he'll ever be an A to an A-plus guy. I think that how you compare Tua to Jimmy G, I feel like that's more reasonable for Mac Jones. I feel like that's his ceiling for me, Jimmy G. He is not going to absolutely take over a game with his arm. The reason why they were not able to really dominate this game was because they could not get Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson really going. They couldn't. They couldn't.
3 touchdowns in a blink of
an eye.
And
that also has to do with their defense, but mostly where we saw the Patriots have their most success was on the ground. And they never really got going. You had Damian Harris, 9 for 30. You have Ramondre, 8 for 27. Brandon Bolden didn't even get a carry, but we've seen him have a little bit of success when he got some opportunity. I just think that they need to either surround Mac with more weapons to maybe prove me wrong, say that he could be that A guy, even though I don't see it personally. Or the second option is really just go all in on defense and try and have Mac Jones game manage his way to a Super Bowl.
Is Mac Jones not better than Jimmy G right now?
No.
Why do you say that?
No.
What makes you say no like that emphatically?
Jimmy G really has taken huge strides this year, where early in the year I was skeptical. He's really heated up.
Mac Jones has better stats than Jimmy G this
Correct.
year.
And Jimmy G has been
playing in an offense that is not the offense Jimmy G's playing in. If Mac Jones in San Fran, he probably throws 26 touchdowns this year easily. 26 plus touchdowns this year.
I think in the grand
they both have the same yardage on the year.
I think in the grand scheme of things, Debo also takes a lot of passing attempts away from Jimmy Garoppolo.
He also helps him out. He had 15
without a doubt, 100%. But we saw a shift in the game plan where you had Debo Samuel be that receiving threat, and then suddenly out of nowhere, he had games where he had 0 receiving yards, but he had 80 rushing yards.
I mean,
there was just a flip in the game plan come a certain point of the season where you weren't really relying on Jimmy G to win you games. However, when his number was called, he was stepping up to the plate.
I mean, we're talking about Mac Jones, who is working with a bottom 5 receiving core.
But one of the best run games in the NFL.
49ers are better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
49ers offensive line is better.
Whose personnel's better? Oh, that's facts.
Put
That's
Mac
facts.
Jones with Kittle. Put Mac Jones with
Ayuk,
Kittle,
Debo?
Debo, and
I'm
Ayuk.
saying running back class. Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson.
Mitchell is mad good
He's-
too. It's
he's-
close.
Mitchell is
It's
better than
close.
both
that
those
line
guys.
is crazy.
Mitchell is better than
They
Harris
also
and
don't have
Stevenson.
they don't use another back.
Say it one
Like
more
it's
time?
just Mitchell.
Mitchell is better than Stevenson and Harris.
I don't think he's better than Harris.
Him and Harris are neck and neck. I think you could slice it out.
And then
way.
you have
But
Ramondre to add to
this
that.
the thing.
And their secondary running back is Debo.
I think Mac Jones, if he's not just as good as Jimmy G right now, he's slightly better. I made the Tua comparison with Jimmy G because Tua is not as good as Jimmy G.
He is.
No, he's not.
He is.
He hasn't done anything to prove that.
I don't know.
Well, neither is
bro.
Mac Jones.
Mac is
Mac
better than
Jones,
Tua.
he had a better season than Jimmy
Mac's
G.
better than Tua.
If Tua plays the whole year, they make the playoffs. So I don't want to hear this.
Why? How is that? How
What do
is
you
that a
mean,
fact?
how?
What did he miss? 3 games?
He played
He
the most
missed
important game
4
of the
games.
season in Week 17 and lost.
They played the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Oh, you couldn't win that one.
Number 1 seed in the AFC.
They
It was
were
a
What
tough
are we
sad.
talking
game.
about?
Against the Titans, he's saying.
Oh, word. Yeah, I was thinking
Bro.
week 18. Yeah,
No, because he absolutely came out and dominated.
he did.
Oh man, Mac Jones. I mean, whatever.
Nah, I like Mac, bro. I
think Mac
he's a
Jones is
Patriot.
just as
I
good
like
as
him
Jimmy
too,
G.
and
He's a
there's nothing
Patriot,
wrong with.
so
Look,
I
as you
can't
tell
root for
me,
him.
there's nothing wrong with Jimmy G. But do you see how it felt when I said Jimmy G? How did it feel? Did it
because-
feel good?
I think you just did that to stab my heart.
I did.
I don't think
I
you
wanted
did that.
you to feel that
No, but
because
the
I
different-
do feel that way though.
The difference is that I feel like you're wrong, or I'm more right about it.
Drew
Like,
also feels like you're wrong.
Exactly.
I understand that, but like I think for Mac Jones, the more reasonable ceiling is Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr than it is Jimmy G.
Ooh, I don't know.
He's just as good as Jimmy G in his rookie season. Tua has not had a season as good as Jimmy G ever yet.
Yeah, I mean,
Season's
been a year.
Mac Jones as a rookie has done it already. That's what I'm saying. All right, whatever. Numbers don't lie. I guess like Lil Wayne said, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So
That's a fact.
I thought Logic said that.
Lil Wayne said it too. Is it? I could have sworn it was a song.
Let's just say it's Lil Wayne because he's cooler.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was just throwing Logic out there.
Before we go on to the next segment, shout out to DraftKings.
Feels
You can
good to
use
be
promo
back.
code TBPN. We're on to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is celebrating with a huge odds boost for new customers. Counting down to Super Bowl 56, new customers can get 56-1 odds on any team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still get in on the action of the divisional round. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Football Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, use promo code TBPN, and get 56-1 odds on any NFL team. Bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code TBPN for 56-1 odds at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL.
It was a great betting weekend. I ran up DraftKings. Shout out to y'all. It was a great weekend.
Unfortunately not. Cowboys absolutely ruined the
I had to
weekend.
parlay with all of my picks before I switched to the Raiders. So
I
that was
actually
a nice
wanted
little
to
bread.
ask you guys, were you guys underwhelmed with the wild card weekend?
The games, I mean, listen.
We had some really
a lot of the
yeah.
games, how they ended up was how I expected it to.
Because the first game, it started off amazing. The Raiders and Bengals was great.
But again, we knew that was going to be a solid game. Did we see the Bills and Patriots game being close? Me personally, I thought
it was going to be more competitive than that. 47-17.
maybe a little bit. Cards and Rams. The Rams just were so
I
glaring.
was expecting them to be more competitive, though.
Because it's a division
What was your
game.
records for the predictions?
I think we were all 5-1.
I let you get in my head. That's why, bro. I let
Thank
the
God.
emotion.
Bro,
I let the emotion get to
he
me.
was supposed to be 6-0, but he switched his
Yeah.
pick to the Raiders.
That's why you always got to
What a
pick a
dumbass.
side, man.
Fuck you. Who was your pick? Who was your L? Who was your L?
You know what's funny?
Yours.
Nah, my L
You
was the
both had
Raiders
the
and
Raiders.
Bengals.
Word.
Nah, yo, you know
I
what's
should have
funny?
known when he had. If I knew he had the Raiders, just didn't remember. I wouldn't have taken
No.
them.
You know what's funny? He only switched his pick not because of the Raiders, bro. He switched it only because he switched it out of spite.
Yeah,
of
bro.
me saying Matt
we were
Ryan was
arguing
better
for like
than
an
Carr.
hour, bro, on Friday about Derek Carr and Matt Ryan. I was like,
that is why.
Just because he wanted to prove me wrong about me saying Matt Ryan is better, he picked the Raiders and Carr and was riding with him.
That must have been crushing.
it was, bro. It was a good ass game.
It was mad.
Bro, I was pretty mad because I've been high on Joe Burrow all year, calling him better than Lamar, and the fact that I bet against him, it left me sick to my stomach. I was on the plane watching the game. I actually had Wi-Fi.
A little bit of juju with the Bengals. Yeah. It's like
but
you trusted him, but you really didn't.
But I knew
Auden Tate's better than Jamar Chase.
But I knew that I knew the game was gonna be close. I'm glad it was that close because it wasn't that bad of a prediction. I asked you guys that because I was talking to my cousin about it, and he told me he thought the wild card weekend was really disappointing. And I told him, like,
it's only 2 games.
I understand that, but like, if you think about it, it's the first round of the playoffs. When you watch the first round of the NBA, last year, like, more than half of the series ended up in 5. They ended in 5. So the fact that people are expecting these games to be super close, I just don't agree with. I know right now they're talking about should we have really let 7 teams into the playoffs because that 17 basically got embarrassed. But
it's an absolute yes.
The Steelers were the 7th team. They got embarrassed, but if we're all being honest, that 7th team should have been the Raiders or the Chargers. And if we
Dolphins?
If we had if the Chargers,
yes, I agree.
If the Chargers were in the playoffs, it would have been wildly entertaining.
Yeah.
And for the NFC, if the Vikings would have got in, it would have been good.
I don't know, man.
Oh, the Eagles.
I don't know about that. But you're 100% right.
They weren't beat.
Chargers
they would have
and
put
Raiders.
up a fight.
They would have, yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been a better game.
This is Captain Kirk.
Yeah, from Kirk's
No, but it would have been the Raiders versus the Chiefs.
Yeah, they probably kind of do get embarrassed, I think, too.
I think so, too.
So maybe all in, all in all.
I don't know, actually. Would they have? I mean, the Raiders have been playing really good football.
They
gave a high-powered offense a really... They
got mollywopped against the Chiefs when they faced them.
Oh, no.
No, they did.
They did.
They did. Like week 14
no, he means
or 15.
just saying the word. The word.
The phrase, yeah. The word.
Mollywop?
Yeah. It's just something you don't hear every day.
Yeah, no.
Shout out Colt.
Shout out, man.
Shout out who?
Colt.
We'll leave it at that.
Facts. Mollywopped.
Colt Mollywop.
Yeah, Colt Mollywop.
That still might be his.
Shout out Incredible Youth.
Yeah, facts.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Come on, bro. Are you a Hackensack head?
I don't know what that means.
What?
I just said
Mollywop?
Yeah. No. I know
Mollywop?
who he is. I just didn't know Mollywop was a phrase.
You just used it.
No, I used it, but I didn't know
if you used it correctly.
No. I know I used it correctly, but when I used the phrase, I didn't expect you to give him the cameo.
Oh, absolutely.
His name is Colt Mollywop.
He's been like that forever.
Yeah.
The Raiders fired Mike Mayock. They fired him after 3 seasons, even after making the playoffs. 25-24 record with him as the GM. So now the Gruden and the Mike Mayock regime is done, and it's over with. They interviewed Dave Ziegler, which is the Patriots director of player personnel. Still yet to be determined if he is going to be the GM. Rich Bisaccia, who hand wrote letters to all his players. Who knows if he's back as head coach? What do you think about the Raiders, the direction they're moving in after firing Mayock?
This is tough, truthfully, because the Raiders really came together once Gruden went out, or I would say these last 4 or 5 games, they really impressed me. I had been extremely down on the Raiders, and I don't know if that's my Broncos hate or my genuine analysis of the Raiders. I just felt at a certain point I was watching the Raiders game, and their defense just was not what they were these last couple of weeks. They really came together against the Colts. They put up a great performance. Against the Bengals, they put up a really solid performance. And against the Chargers, it was a slugfest without a doubt, a true division game. But ultimately, their offense, as good as their defense was, their offense came to play, and they put up points to beat the Chargers. And then to come in against the Bengals and give arguably top 2, top 3 hottest offenses in the NFL, they didn't stop them by any means, but they gave them some fits. Down the stretch, they had some big-time stops. They got to Joe Burrow. They definitely made him feel the pressure. It does not help that Joe Burrow has one of the worst offensive lines in the league, but they definitely got to the quarterback, and they definitely made Joe feel it. Do I think this was a good decision? This is hard. I lean more so yes, given the fact that his draft history, he hit on the 2019 draft to a degree. He got Cleveland Flair with the 4th overall pick was a bad choice. In my opinion, I don't think that would have been my choice by any means.
Terrible.
Wasn't Josh Allen, not the quarterback, the defensive end, available at that point in time?
Yep.
I feel like that would have been my route.
No, yeah, Josh Allen.
Yes, Josh Allen.
I was going to say Ann Quinnen, but he was the 3rd pick.
So then they took Josh Jacobs in the 1st round, but late 1st round. Josh Jacobs was, to a degree, one of the main reasons why the Raiders had so much success against the Bengals on offense. Josh Jacobs was flat out awesome. I'm very happy with that pick. Me and you, we kind of debated, is he a top 10 back? He's not a top 10 back, but he's just outside. He has that explosive ability. He has both the ability to catch the ball and run the ball, both at high levels. I really like his game. It's just a matter of if he can stay healthy or not. Then you bring in Jonathan Abram. Jonathan Abram's a good ball player. I just feel like he's too risky with the way his play style is too risky for my liking.
It's been underwhelming.
Max Crosby was a late pick for them. Was he a 3rd round pick?
4th, I think.
4th or 3rd.
Third. Either way you shake it. A Pro Bowl player, amazing talent at the edge rush position. Yeah. He was a great pickup for them. And you have Hunter Renfrow in this draft
5.
also. He was their best wide receiver this year. And then you just look at his 2020 draft, and I feel like that's the one that really stands out for me. Henry Ruggs. It's very unfortunate what happened with that situation. Who knows what Ruggs could have been. He'll never play football again. He'll never play football for the Raiders at the very minimum. I doubt we ever see him in the NFL. Damon Arnett, not a good pick by any means. Lynn Bowden, not a good pick by any means. Brian Edwards, if I'm looking at these 4,
he's an average pick.
He's very average.
Yeah, he's a guy.
And then you draft Alex Leatherwood in the 1st round this year.
He hasn't been good.
No, he's been awful this year.
Yeah, he was really bad, especially against the Bengals.
He got moved from his natural position to guard because he was that awful, and he was awful at guard.
And you took him very early. I thought Leatherwood was a late 1st round at best.
And Christian Darrisaw should have been the pick there.
Correct, for sure. And you bring in Trayvon Moore, which definitely helps that safety position. But other than that, you really didn't have any true studs. I mean, you had Nate Hobbs, who was a starter, and he has a little bit of potential, but we'll see how that shakes up. A late round pick, you definitely will take it. And then free agency signings. Who had he brought in that really was a difference maker for them? He went out and made that AB trade. That's unfortunate the way that it shook out. And again, we spoke about it on our Zoom podcast that trade ended up being Deontay Johnson. Now imagine Deontay Johnson on this offense. That'd be pretty great. You bring in this offseason Kenyon Drake, to have some depth in that running back room.
A lot of money too.
How much was that contract?
It was like it might have been like $10 million a year.
I'm looking at it now. I'm sorry. 2 years, $11 million contract. Now, I understand Kenyon Drake was solid with Arizona for a year, and it was like 4 games down the stretch. But even that last season, he wasn't anything to really boast about. Yeah. And then this year, you bring him in to kind of take away touches from Josh Jacobs, given the fact that Josh Jacobs is injury prone to a degree. I remember there was one point in the season where his injury tag was everything, and that did make me laugh. However, Josh Jacobs has the talent to be the guy. He showed it down the stretch, and it got to a point where Kenyon Drake was really irrelevant. And another great signing by him was Yannick Ngakoue. That was a really good signing for them. He was really solid for them this year, and it's just unfortunate that nothing else really worked out for him. You brought in John Brown. He really didn't do anything for them. Brought back Carl Joseph. He was okay. I just don't think that he did enough for me to say he should be their long-term GM, but he definitely had some decent picks for the Raiders that at least made them a playoff team this year.
Yeah, I mean, the reason he got fired because he was John Gruden's guy. Gruden picked him at the end of the 2018 season to say, this is the GM I want, and there's been reports back and forth was it Mayock making the final decision on picks? Was it John Gruden?
It was John. He had the final decision on picks. The owner, Davis.
Al Davis. Or Mike, not Al.
No, it's not Al Davis. It's
his son.
Yeah, search the name of the place.
I want to say it's Mike.
But he said that the decision making was 51-49. Gruden had final say on every decision.
Yeah, okay. Regardless how you want to do it.
Mark Davis.
Yeah, and he's
51-49.
Yeah, like at that point, like what's the point? Like you guys are doing this together. I guess if Gruden wants to have the final say, I mean, he's the coach, but Gruden's a very outlier coach who got this 10-year contract that we really don't see at all. But no, Drew hit it on the head. I mean, at the end of the day, you're gonna get the blame or the praise depending on how you hit on these draft picks. And he didn't really hit on many. You got Max Crosby in round 4, Hunter Renfrow in round 5, and those are really your two standouts. And they're really good players, don't get me wrong. But when you have He had 13 picks in the top 100, and you have 2 for-sure starters. It's Josh Jacobs and Trayvon Moehrig. Those are your only 2. You have 13 picks in the top 100. I need a little bit more than that.
Trayvon Moehrig.
And even still, Josh Jacobs is a really good running back, but I think he's replaceable. I don't think he's someone that is a once in a generation or someone that, a team's going out and like, oh, we'll go and trade a first round pick for Josh Jacobs. So I don't think he just didn't make enough difference-making picks at the position. He gave out some bad contracts, like Trent Brown he gave big money to, trade him the next year. Rodney Hudson gave big money to, trade him the next year. And even though Kenyon Drake had his moments, I still think he was overpaid, and Ngakoue had his moments too. And even if you look at that 2020 draft with Henry Ruggs, I know he's super fast, and the Raiders have been known for always wanting their fast players. I forgot the receiver. It just slipped my mind who...
Tyrell Williams.
No, he was a first-round pick by the Raiders. He should never gotten the
Darius
first.
Hayward Bay.
Yes. He was just fast as hell, and the Raiders just wanted speed. But it just kind of reminds me of that, and maybe that's just a Raiders or Mark Davis kind of ownership thing.
It was Tyreek Hill being in that division. Seeing him 2 times a year, they wanted that type of player.
Yeah, because
Henry Ruggs did. He gave their offense a different element to it, though.
Yeah, but
it's just sad what happened. It was a crisis.
It was, of course. But I mean, I think a lot of people probably still had Judy Lamb. Maybe not Jettas, but even still, I think
Jettas. He's become the best, but I think
a lot of people at least Judy and Lamb over
them taking Ruggs. If we take the crisis aside, which is hard to do, but just on production, he has been better than Judy. Lamb, like if you put Ruggs on Dallas, I mean,
was he better than Judy?
I think he's better than Judy.
I was going to say
he was better
no, but I'm saying numbers wise.
No,
last year
his rookie season, Henry Ruggs didn't live up to the hype.
Do anything.
But this year he was on pace for 1,000 yards.
Was he?
Yeah, he was on pace for 1,000.
So at the end of the day, like I said, Mayock, he just didn't make enough difference-making picks or moves. They did get better, each season, but at the end of the day, it's because he was John Gruden's guy. Mark Davis wants to bring in his own guy, probably bring in a new coach too, I would imagine, if you're also hiring a new GM. So it doesn't surprise me to see him go.
I mean, I agree with what you guys said. I think he's missed on too many early round picks. That's really what it's about. Missing on that many first round picks, he's basically missed on every single first round pick. John Gruden and Mike Mayock. 2019, they had 2 first round picks. They drafted Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Abram. Josh Jacobs, I'm okay with the pick. Jonathan Abram has been disappointing, and it's when you're drafting that high, and that pick was part of the Khalil Mack trade, you are expected to draft a difference maker there. And Jonathan Abram has been anything but that. He's a hard hitter. He plays hard, but he's average, below average. Cullen Farrell, that was the biggest missed off. He's one of the biggest busts that we've seen in a while. Like he is. That's just what it is. It's just the bottom line.
He was a healthy scratch, I'm pretty sure, opening day this year.
Especially having so many options at that pick. You could have went with Josh Allen. I believe there were other picks as well around that area. I just want to look back to it.
There was a ton, I'm sure. I mean, Clelin Ferrell has 8 sacks in 3 years. He's a special teams rotational guy at this point. Just about anybody you could have taken at 4 is going to be better than him.
Clelin Ferrell.
I mean, look, Clelin Ferrell, he was drafted over Devin White, Josh Allen, TJ Hawkinson, even Ed Oliver would have been a better pick. Devin Bush, Jonah Williams, Rashawn Gary, Christian Wilkins, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, obviously, it's hard to really judge this in hindsight, but they had 3 first-round picks in 2019, and they drafted Farrell, Jacobs, and Abram. Jacobs is the only one that hit, and you just had to really draft. Yes, Jacobs hit, bro.
No, I'm saying Abram's not bad. He's not bad. He's not good.
But first-round pick worthy, come on.
I agree.
No.
I agree.
So I think this was the correct move. Yep. I just think that the Raiders are... This year, they had a Cinderella story. I think next year they're going to be back to being dysfunctional again and not making the playoffs for years to come. Unless they get John Harbaugh. I think Jim. Unless they get Jim Harbaugh, I think Jim Harbaugh can bring stability to the Raiders organization. Does he want to go to the Raiders? I'm not sure. There are reports linked to him maybe taking the job. He's the favorite to take the job right now. He's the favorite to be hired.
I don't think it happens.
I think Jim Harbaugh, he went to the 49ers. They were abysmal. Alex Smith was labeled a bust. He turned Alex Smith's career around. They made an NFC championship, then the Super Bowl the very next year. I mean, Jim Harbaugh has had success in the NFL. I trust him as a coach. I would love him with the Raiders, but who knows if he's going to go there.
Do you guys think? Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I'd love him to the Broncos.
Oh,
you're gonna be devastated if he goes to the Raiders.
You're getting Dan Quinn.
That'd
Can
be
we
crazy,
not manifest
bro.
that?
That'd be bad.
Let's manifest.
There's no way you could fire
Kellen Moore?
Fangio and
Hackett?
hire another defensive coach because Fangio is a phenomenal defensive coach.
See,
It's hard to get better than him.
It's either we get Nathaniel or we get Flores. I wouldn't mind Quinn.
Dable? Bills.
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah, I wouldn't mind that either.
Yeah. There's been rumors that him and the Bills assistant GM are both going to go to the Giants. That'd be pretty cool.
Very.
Yeah.
If
Turn
they
that
get
around.
Russell Wilson,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, they could.
As long
eat
as
a
Pete
year of
Carroll
Daniel
stays, bro,
Jones.
Russ really might leave.
Yeah. What I was going to say is, what do you think happens with Derek Carr this offseason? Do you think Derek Carr gets moved? He's been rumored in trades.
I think if they do, they're the dumbest franchise ever. Unless Derek Carr asks to be traded like a Stafford situation, you don't trade him.
I agree.
He's the only thing going for the Raiders right now outside of that pass rush, honestly. Like, Derek Carr is he's the pillar for that team. And he's a top 10 level quarterback. Like, trading him or letting him go is just flat out ridiculous.
What he did this year is insane. Being able to get through your head coach and your number one, receiving threat and just we'll still go to the playoffs. That's
And
something
losing
that
half your O-line before the season started also.
just made things
Derek
work.
Carr
Losing Darren Waller for
is a
5
great
weeks.
quarterback.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't
Turning
think he should
Hunter
get moved.
Renfrow into a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That's crazy.
So y'all on my side again that he made Hunter Renfrow? Because last week you guys said no.
No,
Whoa,
he
I
didn't
said it's
make
a little bit of
Hunter
50-50.
I never said he made Hunter Renfrow. I think that's
Well,
ridiculous.
you just said yeah to him.
No, I said that's ridiculous.
Oh, okay. I was just saying y'all love to not pick sides.
Whoa, me?
saying.
I'm the king of picking sides.
And you saying that last week really
Hunter Renfrow's good.
no,
He's good.
it really made me disgusted in what you
Who?
said.
Me?
Yes.
What did I say?
Because to say that Derek Carr made Hunter Renfrow that number one option when versus the Chargers, they were literally double teaming him. I don't
He had
think that
17 yards.
I don't think they were double teaming
I
him. They were
understand.
giving him Devontae Adams
Yes, because
treatment,
who are you
bro.
supposed to cover?
Darren Waller played.
First game
First
back,
game.
he didn't
Like,
do anything.
Oh, come on, bro. Like, he played, though.
Hey,
Like,
he had 2 catches.
when a defense is giving you that respect, it's because you're a great player
Yeah, no,
on your
Renfrow's
own,
good.
not just
For sure,
Derek
for sure.
Carr is your quarterback.
Derek Carr is also mad good.
Yeah, I know he's good.
That's what I'm saying. Why are you looking at me? He's the one that said that Derek Carr
I am
made
the one
him.
who said it.
Like, what? That's what I'm
I was
confused.
also
You-
asking
no,
that
you're the
too,
one
I
that
was
said
like,
it.
No, I said it as hell.
Nah,
I
bro.
said it as hell.
Last week, Drew said it.
No,
Bro,
I
I'm
did
telling you,
not.
I said it. Drew said it was like 50-50.
No.
Bro, I'm
Was it
telling
you that said it?
I said it.
No,
yeah.
I don't
I
remember
was
it that way.
disgusted.
That's why I was like, why is he calling for Drew?
Like, what the?
No.
I was like, if you want to go for it, bro. But
No, because I vividly remember Drew on Zoom last week during the preview saying the fact that Derek Carr has made Hunter Renfrow.
oh, no, that was me as hell.
I don't know if that was you. Was that you?
Bro, 1000% it was me.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
saying it's
disgusted
him.
in what you said, bro.
All right, there we go.
That really disgusted me.
There we go.
I almost vomited in my mouth, bro.
Again.
Again, yeah.
And you saw the comments. They was on you about that.
Yeah, they were. I just think I look at it as Derek Carr is a borderline top 10 quarterback, and Hunter Renfrow is like, what, mate? He's not even a top 20 receiver. He's like 25.
So did Dak make Cole Beasley?
Dak?
Yeah,
I mean, Renfrow is better than Cole Beasley.
I know.
Did Dak make him? No, I mean, but I think Hunter Renfrow is better than Cole Beasley ever was.
So
Easily.
Yeah.
I know. So why are you saying that Derek Carr made Renfrow a viable option?
I'm confused by the question. This Cole Beasley thing threw me off.
I understand.
You understand what I'm saying?
A little bit. He's trying to say that are you going to say that Dak Prescott made Cole Beasley what he is?
What was Cole Beasley's best year in Dallas?
800 yards.
He was all right.
He's
Hunter
a great
Renfrow put up
option,
a rack,
though.
didn't
I mean,
he?
he was a great security blanket.
He
Then
was.
he had 1,000 yards in Buffalo the very next year.
Yeah. Got to play with Josh Allen. That's nice.
Yeah, did Josh Allen make him, or was just Cole Beasley just good? I mean, he was the second option.
I mean, Josh Allen plays a huge part in it.
I know,
Josh
but
Allen.
John Brown. And,
But why are we saying that Dak made Beasley? Because Beasley wasn't supposed to be like a good...
I don't believe he made Beasley.
No, I understand, but why is that the question? Because Beasley
Because
wasn't
if you
prospect?
don't think that Dak made Beasley, how can you possibly think Carr made Renfrow when Dak is better than Carr and Beasley's worse than Renfrow?
There's a lot to unpack here.
I understand what you're saying now. I understand what you're saying now.
I do know what you're saying. And it's just...
They were
when I
double
saw
teaming
it-
him, bro.
Yes, I know.
The
but
Chargers.
when I just think of it, like, my logic is...
Bro, he cooked Kenny Moore,
I understand.
a Pro Bowl slot corner.
Can I talk, bro?
Yes.
When I think of it, we agreed that Derek Carr is like a borderline top 10 quarterback, and we don't even talk about Hunter Renfrow in the top 20 receivers. He's a good receiver.
There's a lot of really great receivers.
Yeah,
though.
that's fair. And there's more receivers than quarterbacks.
Oh, he had 9 touchdowns
What
this
team
year.
wouldn't Renfrow be the second, third option on? I can't think of any.
I mean, before this year, was Renfrow a strong number 2, number
Hell
3?
No. Nah. What do you? I mean,
Number two, yeah.
last year was his rookie.
No, I would say number 3.
Was year 2 for him.
Yeah.
Or was it rookie year
No,
last year?
it was his third year, I believe.
Because let's be real, it was Waller's the one.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you want to see him as a wide receiver or a tight end, he was the first option. Then you had Ruggs.
Last year, Renfrow had 656 yards.
Yeah,
That's mid.
This year, he had
nothing.
103 receptions,
Bro, he was
1,038 yards,
crazy,
9
9
touchdowns.
touchdowns.
All right, that was rude. Sorry, Renfrow, Hunter.
Renfrow, Hunter.
Calvin Ridley has been making the news cycle because there's talk about a potential trade for him. Now, this is really quick. We can make this really brief and then get into our preview and predictions for the divisional round.
Let's do it.
What do you think is the best destination for Calvin Ridley? We know he took a break from the Falcons due to mental health issues. There hasn't been an official report yet made from the Atlanta Falcons that they want to trade Ridley, but there's been a lot of rumors circulating that they would love a second-round pick, a conditional one that maybe could turn into a first-rounder. He's an unrestricted free agent in 2023. There would be a lot of suitors in the market. Now, what team do you want to see Calvin Ridley on?
There's a ton of teams that could use him. I mean, I have like 12 listed here, but there's just a couple things you have to think about. One, hopefully all of his mental health is good. That's first and foremost. Got to make sure that he's back, fully committed to football, and he's ready to play. That's first and foremost. He's also a bit older, I think, than a lot of people imagine he is. He's going to be 29 at the end of next season.
What?
Already? I know it's insane, but he was 24 years old as a rookie. That's why he was a very old rookie.
What in God's name?
And I mean, for reference, Jamar Chase had just turned 21 in this past season. So he was an old rookie who came in. And then, as you mentioned, he's a free agent in 2023. So you would have to trade a second-round pick, like you mentioned, possibly conditional that turns into a first. He's going to be 30, in 2023, and you're going to have to pay him $20 million. So I know we've talked a lot about the Jets potentially getting him. I would love it. It would be really cool for Zach and us to finally have a wide receiver one again. It's been since Brandon Marshall, since we really had like a dominant wide receiver.
Santonio Holmes.
Even in those days.
Eric Decker?
He was a 2 to Marshall.
No,
He was.
I don't see
Dustin
Joe
Keller.
Douglas. I don't see Joe Douglas giving up premium draft capital to go after a 29-year-old wide receiver and then having to pay him $20 million. I don't see Joe Douglas doing that, even though it would help Zach Wilson.
Do you think he deserves 20?
Kenny Galladay got 17.
Okay.
But a couple other teams that are ready to make a Super Bowl run, even though we love the Jets, they're not there yet. The Patriots, as we talked about earlier, is one of those teams.
They're ready to make a Super Bowl run?
Yeah, sure.
Who?
Why not? The Patriots?
the Pats.
If they get a true wide receiver one, you have Bill Belichick coaching up that defense, why not?
That defense got smoked, though, bro.
I know, but
their defense, I think, is not as good as we think they are.
I have all of the faith in Belichick to be able to make it work.
So I can understand where
They were
he's
the
coming
best defense in
from.
the league.
You
They
can
had
argue
moments.
that-
Do I agree with you? No. Do I see what you're saying?
Can they not win a playoff game next year?
Yes, but
then you're right in the hope.
The Super Bowl run's crazy. There's just
You
three.
can go down to the final 6 teams. You're pretty damn good.
It's just like, who are you going to project to be better for the future? The Bengals or them?
Bengals.
There you go.
But at the end of the day, it's a 1-game playoff series, and you have Bill Belichick going up against all these teams. He's going to be the best coach every time.
The Dolphins are getting
I don't
better
know.
too.
He
I'm
got
not just
outcoached
saying
with Sean
that.
McDermott.
Bro, it's a once-in-a-lifetime.
And Brian Dable. Brian Dable outcoached them.
There's
Regardless.
teams that are getting better.
Okay, if you don't want to give it a Super Bowl run, a
He's 70.
playoff run, a team that needs a wide receiver and is ready to make a step, and at least think the Patriots are going to go into next season thinking
Hungry.
they could go for a Super Bowl.
I agree.
Okay, so Patriots are one of your
Patriots,
options.
another team is the Ravens. I think if you add him to Marquise Brown and Bateman and Andrews, all of a sudden you have a top 5 weapons room in the NFL. The Colts would be another one who have always seemed to be like a receiver away. You get Carson Wentz, another weapon to pair up with Michael Pittman. So those are at least the the contenders. There's a bunch of other teams that could use him, but those are just kind of top of my head that I think he would go and make a difference and be able to go on a playoff run.
Okay, now, what team do you want to see Ridley on?
I mean, I want to see him on the Jets.
Come on,
I want to see him on the Jets, but I also understand the hesitancy.
Unbiased opinion.
Ravens.
You want to see Ridley on the Ravens?
That'd be so cool. I love Lamar.
Are we my turn now? 100%. Miami. They need that number 2 option to pair with Jalen Waddle. That would also give Mike Gesicki a little bit of leniency as
He's a
well.
free agent, I believe.
I think they bring him back. Mike, you say he's one of the better tight ends in the league. That's not saying much. That's
Can't block though.
He cannot block to save his life. There's not many guys on that.
He doesn't even line up as a tight end, bro.
Yeah, you're not
Like
telling me much.
90% of the time.
Yeah, listen, bro, I'm with you.
Not a lot of tight ends get paid to block.
Yeah, no, especially nowadays. I mean, Kelsey's the best tight end in the league, and he's not the world's best blocker by any means. However, now you bring in Calvin. What? That's wrong.
I think
He's a good blocker.
He's not. He's a good blocker. He's not an elite blocker. He's not Kelsey. He's not Kittle or he's not
Kelsey,
Gronk.
Kittle, and Andrews don't get paid to block. They get paid to make big catches, and that's what Gesicki does.
Kittle was.
But Andrews is a great blocker though.
Kittle was labeled better than Kelsey I think the year that Kelsey broke the record for receiving yards because Kittle could block.
Yeah. But I'm saying Kittle doesn't
But yeah,
get a huge contract.
Kittle is an elite blocker.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think Kelsey probably is not an elite blocker, but he's a great one.
Yeah, he's
though.
really good.
He's great.
He's
I think so.
He's big.
Let me hit the film room and I will let you know if he's
Tight end
great.
blocking
That's
film.
it, right? That's what I got to do. However, like I was saying about the Dolphins, they need another option on the outside. Will Fuller coming into this year was supposed to be that guy. You paid him $10 million for 1 year, and he only played barely a game for you. I think he played a quarter, something around those lines. Will Fuller barely played for them. And the Dolphins were one of the league leaders in drops this year. They were 8th in total drops in 24. And as much as I like Devontae Parker as a ball player, he's not an option that I want on the outside. Calvin Ridley showed that he can do it by himself. Given the fact that Julio was not on the field a good portion of last season, and even still, Calvin Ridley had over 1,300 yards and a boatload of touchdowns. He's had double-digit touchdowns in his career already in a season. I just think you bring that to that extra factor to Miami's offense on top of continuously building that offensive line. They have the cap space. I believe they have the most cap space in the NFL, so they could pay him if once his contract expires, they would be suitors to give him a contract as well. I feel like that's probably the best destination for Calvin Ridley.
I'm looking at his PFF grade, so he's a good run blocker, probably below average. This year, 59.7 run blocking grade. 2020 was at 79 though. For his career, he's been around like the 60s to 70s area.
I wasn't saying that he was bad.
Yeah.
He's not a great blocker to me. At least the numbers back it up.
So you want to see him in Miami?
I would like to see him in Miami. I feel like I would not be opposed to the Jets because I agree with you. You bring Zach Wilson a true number one option that just
opens up everything
beyond
belief.
belief.
The box you can't,
and you put him with LaFleur. Really,
Yeah.
they could just really do some dynamic
you got
things.
Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, and Calvin Ridley. Oh.
But now you bring in the Alabama crew of Ridley, Waddle, and Tua. That really starts to get me excited.
That just sounded weird.
You know what? I'll say it again. You bring in Waddle. You bring in Ridley to pair with Waddle and Tua. It gets me excited.
Yeah,
100%. One of the fastest, most explosive, clean route running duo wide receivers in the NFL.
Wow. Kind of got stuck.
Little parched, bro?
Yeah, I kind of got like something stuck in my throat right now.
What if that is?
Calvin Ridley, what team I want to see him on? There are a couple options. The Dolphins are one. The Patriots, the Eagles are another one that's a sleeper.
Browns are huge too. We haven't mentioned.
Facts.
The Browns are huge, I think, too. The Saints could use one, but their cap situation is ridiculous. Yeah. The Colts, I would love that. They need a true number one threat, definitely. I want to see Ridley on the Jets. If the Jets want Zach Wilson to take that leap next season,
to take flight,
they need to bring in a wide receiver number one. And what better guy to bring in than an all-pro in Calvin Ridley? I understand his age. He'll be 29 at the end of next season. But I look at the Jets. If you can have a receiving core of Elijah Moore, Calvin Ridley, Corey Davis, Braxton Berrios not even in the mix, but, come in as a replacement guy here and then on some snaps. We get a tight end, Dalton Schultz. I think this offense becomes scary. And
I like that.
I do.
I like that.
I think Zach Wilson takes a gigantic leap to the point that the Jets are in playoff contention next year. Might not make it, but we'd be in the mix. And if it comes down to a week 17, week 18 game, I know for a fact he won't do what Tua did. And Zach will get it done.
If he's playing the best team in the AFC, I have my doubts.
He beat the best team in the AFC.
Who?
Zach.
We beat the Titans and the Bengals.
But they had no Derrick Henry. They had no A.J. Brown. They had no
Neither did the
Julio
Titans.
Jones.
Oh, they didn't have Derrick Henry either.
They did. They did have Derrick Henry. You guys did have Derrick Henry. Facts.
Yeah,
You
they didn't
did.
have the receivers.
Facts.
Didn't have the receivers, yeah.
Bro, fumbled.
The Jets have to be having
Facts.
meaningful games.
Because Derrick Henry had like 1,000 touches.
Yeah.
Zach beat
Next
them.
December, bro, we have to be in meaningful games. We have to be 8 wins. Like, we have to be ready to fight for the playoffs. And I'd love that. I just don't trust Douglas to make
And
that
that's
move.
the thing. Joe Douglas is very smart and calculated with his decisions. So I don't know if he'd go out and trade for a guy like Ridley, but the reason why I believe he will is because you look at the free agency crop of wide receivers this offseason. Mike Williams, I wouldn't trust him. I'd rather trust Ridley. I'd rather pay Ridley than Mike Williams. Allen Robinson, I'd rather pay Ridley than Robinson. I don't think there's a chance in hell we get Devontae Adams. So he's just off the table. Gallup, torn ACL. Godwin, torn ACL. I think those are more riskier than Ridley. And
I would take Godwin over Ridley easy.
I don't see a top wide receiver in this draft outside of Jameson Williams that the Jets should spend the 10th overall pick on. I don't think Joe Douglas is going to spend the 10th overall pick on a receiver.
I agree.
The only way to get a game-breaking one is by trading for Ridley or signing one. Mm-hmm. And I think the Jets are going to be uber aggressive in doing that. We have the 35th pick and the 38th pick in the draft. 2 second-rounders. We got one from the Sam Darnold trade. Essentially, we traded Sam Darnold for Calvin Ridley. The Falcons just won a second-round pick. Trade them the pick Carolina gave us. Essentially, we traded Sam Darnold for Calvin Ridley. I take that 10 times out of 10. We'll handle whether we pay him or not later. Let's just get him in the building. Let's get Calvin Ridley in there. Get a weapon for Zach. And I told you guys through text, man. Zach gonna get Ridley's mental real right. He's a great guy. He's a good dude.
He is.
I think he has the brightest smile in the world. And just that alone, I think Ridley's gonna really shine in New York with Zach Wilson. He's a perfect fit for Michael LaFleur's offense, a West Coast scheme, perfect route runner. This was a match made in heaven. I think the Jets inevitably trade for Calvin Ridley, and they will be the surprise of the NFL next year, and Zach Wilson is going to show all of his haters while he's the best quarterback in the 2021 NFL draft class. There's no doubt about that.
I'm glad there's no Zach Wilson haters here.
Yeah, of course not.
I can't hate on him. I'd be stupid too.
Yeah.
I really do think he's nice.
He is.
He's nice.
I'm excited, bro.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
He's so good.
Dalton Schultz, I'm really quick. Do you think it's a contract year type situation where he played very well because it was a contract year? Or
This
do
is
you
really
believe
his first opportunity too?
Correct.
Because Blake Jarwin got hurt last year, and then they had obviously Dak was hurt, so it's completely different.
The Jets have room for error. We have cap space. We have a ton of picks. I would still draft the tight end, even if I do sign Schultz.
But what's that contract going to look like? Are you going to give him?
I don't think it's going to be.
Are you going to give him Jonnu money?
I don't think it's going to be insane.
He might be worth more than Jonnu at this point.
But I will say this though: anything is better than Ryan Griffin.
Agreed.
Tyler Kroft.
I agree.
So Dalton Schultz, he would have the same role in New York that he had in Dallas, essentially, if we do get Ridley. Ridley and Moore, our first two options. Corey Davis now becomes our third option. Even Corey Davis could be our second option. You really never know.
And we can move up that contract after next year.
And then we have Dalton Schultz. And the way that Joe Douglas structures his contracts, he's very calculated. He always puts the Jets in the best position. I think we'll be fine.
So Goddard's making $57 million. Are you giving Dalton Schultz $60?
He's going to be around that $50 million range probably.
Would you give Dalton Schultz $60 million?
Yes.
Yeah?
How many years?
It didn't seem very, probably four years. So 15 a year for Dalton Schultz, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's a lot.
That's a
it's
risk.
expensive.
I don't think he's going to get more than Goddard, though. Goddard is better.
This year, Schultz was crazy good.
He was mad
He was
good.
crazy good.
It's also a very,
High-powered offense.
pass-happy offense.
But if you bring in Ridley, you sign Dalton Schultz, Corey Davis is your number 2 again. Elijah Moore actually would take that number 2.
Yeah.
I think that would be more beneficial.
Yeah.
Maybe it gets worth it, but I don't know if I would take that risk. It's a lot of money.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm down. I don't really care.
I bet
I'm
you
going
are.
all in. I'm going all in with my chips.
Fair enough.
It doesn't. For me, the Jets have to go all in. They
You
have
just
to
need to
put
stay
all the
healthy.
chips.
Are you going
on
to
the table.
project
Just stay
Zach to be
healthy.
better than Dak next year? Because if that's the case, I'm fine with the Dalton Schultz signing.
Do I project Zach to be better than Dak?
Yes.
That's tough. No.
It's a loaded question. It's a loaded question. And I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
I will say this. The Jets had the 13th ranked offensive line this year. And
Douglas's thing.
Surprising.
I know people are going to...
Without Mekhi.
Yes.
I know, but George Fant was awesome at left tackle.
True.
I know people are going to take that stat and use it to knock Zach Wilson. Oh, man, he had great protection. Oh, and he was mid at best. All right, whatever. You can use that. The reason I won't use that, and the reason why I think it's a positive, is because you know what that tells me? That tells me the Jets aren't a dumpster fire. I'd much rather Zach be bad with our supporting cast good than him be bad with an awful cast like Darnold. Because now I can truly gauge what Zach is. Okay, this isn't working because it's Zach, right? But he got better as the season progressed. And the fact that our offensive line is the 13th ranked offensive line, Joe Douglas built it up from the last one to 13th. It's only going to get better.
I agree.
He's going to draft an offensive lineman early in the draft. We know that's what Joe Douglas does.
Yep.
He's probably going to sign some depth at that position, if not a primetime guy like a Brandon Scherf. You never know. We can really do that.
You'd love that?
If we'd have a top 5 line.
Yeah.
Elijah Vera Tucker is a Pro Bowl level guard. Yes. Connor McGovern is a starting center. If we get he's a Pro Bowl level left tackle.
Absolutely.
Our left side of the offensive line is great. Even if it's George Fant starting there, it's great. Morgan Moses bringing really him back at the right tackle, that would be fine. We're going to have a great offensive line. I think we're going to have a top 10 offensive line next year. We just get the weapons. I would even draft a running back, another to complement Mike Carter.
Okay.
And now we're talking. I think Zach's going to have a breakout season. Like this, you can knock him for having a better situation than other rookie quarterbacks this year outside of Mac Jones. Okay, I agree. I would say Mac and Lance had better situations. There's no doubt. Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, I guess theirs was slightly worse, even though the Bears' offensive line wasn't bad either. Like, they were like middle of the pack, and so were the Jaguars. They were all middle of the pack. So all these guys had similar situations in a sense. I think Zach takes that leap next year, and I'm glad that we're not a dumpster fire. The Jets are heading in the right direction. We got the right coach. We got the right play caller. We got the right GM who makes smart trades. I think I love this. I think we're trending in the right direction.
Without a doubt. I'm very high on you guys.
It's about staying healthy. That's going to be number one. It's been year after year. We got hurt. We saw at the end of this season Elijah Moore go down, Corey Davis go down. I think we're the number one team in terms of injury, our salary cap on the IR.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
and we're looking into it like with the medicine and all this performance stuff.
I believe in years past we were looking a lot at ACLs, and this year we had a lot of Achilles injuries. So that was something that Douglas said in his press conference that's one thing they're going to look at because Carl Lawson went down, Marcus May went down. Why are they getting these huge Achilles injuries that ends your season? So the number one thing is going to be stay healthy, because I think if our defense stayed healthy this year, we wouldn't have been this bad. If Carl Lawson was able to play and Marcus May was able to stay healthy, like our defense wouldn't have been ranked 32nd.
We can be I think next year we're like the 21st ranked defense in the NFL.
I was going to say, you got to fix the rush D.
Our offense, I just think, has to make that jump to be like a top 15 offense.
Which
and then we'll be fine. Yeah,
the pass offense was there.
So on to the divisional round preview. There's going to be 4 awesome games. Let's start out with the first one. The Bengals versus Titans. The Titans are 3.5-point favorites in this one. Fun fact, the Bengals beat the Titans 31-20 in 2020, Joe Burrow's rookie season. The Bengals, with the roster they don't have now, beat the Titans, so maybe that takes you take that into account in your answer. So what do you think about this game? What do you think is going to happen, and who do you think is going to win?
Another fun fact, Zach Taylor coached Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, for 12 seasons.
Both at college and at A&M and in Miami. I didn't know that. So when I'm looking at this game, the biggest question right away from the Titans side is, what is Derrick Henry going to look like? He looked really good in practice. He had a contact practice, they called it. I saw some highlights on Twitter of him just kind of running through guys, and he looked like Derrick Henry. I mean, he looked damn good. So I'm over down Derrick Henry. I think he's going to come in. He's going to get 20-plus touches. He's going to look really good. And while the Bengals' rush defense on paper has been really good this season, they were especially from weeks 13 to this last playoff game, they let up only one 100-yard rusher, or total 100 yards. So their rush defense has been really solid all year, but they have a ton of injuries that they just sustained in this previous game. Larry Ogunjobi and Mike Daniels have already both been ruled out, and one of their top backups as well, Josh Tupou, I'm 100% butchering that, is also questionable. And then Trey Hendrickson, too, is also dealing with concussion. So their entire defensive line has been pretty much depleted for this game. And if all of these players are going to be out, plus you're getting Derrick Henry you're going to have to go against, I know they've been great all season, but you're missing 3-4 starters. It's going to be really hard to stop them. In terms of their passing attack, A.J. Brown, not worried about. Julio had a really good Week 18 game, 50 yards and a touchdown. This is the best he's looked in a while. And there was also a couple other plays where he was open where Ryan Tannehill kind of just missed him. He hasn't had the best season this year. But then when I look at the Bengals side of things, it's going to rely on Joe Burrow, just like a majority of the season has. He's been magnificent over this last month of the season. I mentioned earlier, he's made me eat my words. He's 100% a tier 1 quarterback who can, overcome basically anything and lead his team and backpack his team. Jamar Chase, doesn't matter what you do, he's going to get his unless you're just going to completely double cover him on some Cooper Kupp, Arizona stuff where they're saying, we don't care what happens, you're not beating us. So if the Bengals want to win this game, they're going to have to get pressure. I'm sorry, if the Titans want to win this game, they're going to have to get pressure on Joe Burrow. And I don't see that as difficult because the Bengals offensive line this year has been atrocious. They let up the most sacks in the NFL, while the Titans were tied for the 9th most sacks in the NFL. I think it's going to be a really solid game. I just look at the Titans. They're the healthier team. They've been able to get after the quarterback. So I got them winning over the Bengals. Relatively low scoring. Got them winning 20-17.
This stinks because I like both these rosters. I love Derrick Henry. I like what's going on over in Cincinnati. Unfortunately, I just don't think the Bengals have enough to overcome what's going on in Tennessee. I think Tennessee is one of the best well-coached teams in the NFL. Mike Vrabel does an excellent job year in, year out, and he needs more praise. We say it every single week. We talk about the Titans because the fact they were able to stay afloat without Derrick Henry, without A.J. Brown, without Julio Jones, without a great offensive line by any means in terms of pass blocking, they've still been able to win games, and not just win games, be the number 1 seed in the AFC. So that's all credit to what they have going on in Tennessee, specifically with Mike Vrabel. To break down this game, you mentioned all the injuries that they have to that defensive line. If Derrick Henry's back, it's about to be a field day. Hendrickson, I think, will play. Concussions, I know that they're 50-50 on. But come playoff time, I think they'll clear Trey, especially the fact that he is their best defensive line player. I think he will play, and obviously he will leave his mark on a game. He's a special ball player. And I'm happy for him because they were doubting him. They were saying he was probably the most risky free agent signing at the defensive line position. He came in this season. He absolutely did his thing. So shout out to him. But you're going against Derrick Henry, the best running back in football. And regardless of whether he's coming back this first week and we're going to see him be a little bit rusty, star players come alive in big moments, and Derrick Henry is one of those guys. Derrick Henry is a future Hall of Fame running back. He is the best running back of our generation. If you want to count AP, I'll push back. I'll say Adrian Peterson's better than him if you want to count him a part of our generation. But Derrick Henry's right behind him, in my opinion at least. And I just think with A.J. Brown, with Derrick Henry, with Ryan Tannehill has done an excellent job this year of being a game manager. And I would think he will continue to do so against the Bengals, where the Bengals really, they looked dominant to a degree against the Raiders. It got ugly. And the Raiders have been hot, and of course they've been playing really good football, but it was not the most safe win by the Bengals. And this was at home with all their fans going absolutely crazy. This is their first win in 31 years. So they had a lot going with them in this game to help them feel a little bit extra motivated, to give them that momentum to beat the Raiders. However, now they're going into they're going into Tennessee against a great Titans, a great, well-disciplined team. I just think that they're going to have difficulties moving the ball a little bit. I think Joe Burrow will have a great game given the fact that I'm not in love with their secondary, but I think Joe Mixon might struggle on the ground. That front line that the Titans have is for real. Jeffrey Simmons is arguably top 3 defensive tackles in the league. I think I would have Jones over him and obviously Aaron Donald, but other than that, he's probably right there with those guys. I think it'll be tough for the Bengals to assert themselves the way that they've asserted themselves against other teams, and especially in Tennessee, it's going to be tough. So my score prediction, I don't think it's high scoring also. I think I'm going to lean 24-21 Tennessee.
This is the toughest game for me to pick a winner for. Man, this is tough for me. I'm almost tearing up as I say this.
Getting emotional.
The season the Bengals have had to win their first playoff game since 1991. A text message wasn't even invented at that point. It wasn't even the first text message wasn't even sent at that point.
Send that text.
What Joe Burrow has done, breaking records in his second year, what Jamar Chase has done, what Zach Taylor has done, it makes me emotional. And I love Cincy. I love their uniforms. I love their helmets. I love Joe Burrow. He's, man, I would love to shake his hand one day. I love Auden Tate.
Of course.
My mind is telling me no. My body's telling me yes. It's just super difficult for me to pick the Bengals in this one.
It's tough. I wanted to pick them. I really do. I love the narrative.
Joe Burrow in his last 5 games has 344 yards per game. Has thrown 13 touchdowns to 0 picks. But Ryan Tannehill's been playing efficient. In his last 3 games, 205 yards per game. Yeah, the yards don't scream out at you, but 7 touchdowns to 0 picks, completing 73% of his passes. He's been very efficient. Larry Ogunjobi went out for the Bengals, who finished top 3 with the Bengals in tackles for lost, quarterback hits, and sacks. He's a huge impact player. The Titans have forced 8 turnovers in their last 3 home games against the Dolphins, Niners, and Jaguars. I understand versus the Jaguars and Dolphins is not that impressive because they didn't face great quarterbacks or a great team. But the Niners, yeah, it's very impressive because they're a contender. The Titans have 93 quarterback hits this season. Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry, Danico Autry have 15 plus. You mentioned Zach Taylor's history with Ryan Tannehill. I really don't give a damn about that. I don't think that does anything for the outcome of this game. I think it's just a cool fact. The Bengals this year have beaten the Chiefs, Raiders, and Steelers. Those are the 3 playoff teams they've beaten. And the Chiefs are the only great win in that. I don't think the Raiders and Steelers were a great win. They lost to the Niners. They lost to the Packers. You look at the Titans. They have beaten the Colts twice. You picked them to make the Super Bowl.
Jeez, how did this turn into this, bro?
They beat the Bills, who are the hottest team in football, arguably. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Rams and embarrassed Stafford in prime time.
Couldn't beat the Jets.
The Niners, when they were at their hottest, Thursday Night Football, they beat them too without Julio.
That was crazy.
I don't even know if Julio did play. I'm not sure. I know A.J. Brown did play, though.
Julio played. He left the game.
The Titans' defense is ranked 25th pass defense-wise, but they're 7th in touchdowns, which means that in the red zone, they are very great. They don't break. They bend, but they don't break. And they're 6-1 when both Julio and A.J. Brown play. Even if Derrick Henry was out, I probably would have leaned Titans just because Deontay Foreman has been that great. You look at the Titans offensively, there really hasn't been a drop-off in yards per attempt and efficiency-wise when Henry's been out. The key guys are really Julio and AJ when they're out, and especially AJ. When AJ's out there, Tannehill, his passing down the field, it just skyrockets. His efficiency skyrockets. I have the winner written down here as the Titans. But as I'm saying this, my heart is swaying me in a different direction.
I can understand. Joe
Burrow, we've talked about it. He's the 4th best young quarterback in the NFL.
He is.
He's better than Ryan Tannehill. That offense is explosive. T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd didn't even get involved versus the Raiders. It's going to be tough going into an away atmosphere like Tennessee. Like that is going to be a tough game on the road. This is so tough for me. Man, I knew this was going to be this pick to me was a game time decision on the show. I knew I wrote down the Titans, but something is telling me I can't doubt Joe Burrow twice. I doubted him last week. I can't doubt him twice. I'm picking Cincinnati to win this game.
I respect
I'm picking Joe Burrow, Joe Cool.
Like it.
I'm picking Jamar Chase. I'm picking that defense. I know that it's not outstanding, but I think their run defense is pretty good. I think they can maintain Henry somewhat. Defensively, I like their corners in Awuzie and Hilton. Those are pretty good corners. Hilton can do a good job on their receivers. I think Awuzie is pretty good. Jesse Bates has really been playing better as of late.
He has.
Logan Wilson is a very good coverage linebacker. My heart is going with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going with Cincy. Who say who they gonna beat them Bengals? Who they? Who they gonna beat them Bengals? Who they?
Love it, bro.
Who gonna beat them Bengals?
It's a good pick.
Who gonna beat them Bengals?
Titans, unfortunately, man.
Who gonna beat them
The Titans
Bengals?
to win, personally.
I don't want them
to win.
I would love to see Joe Burrow, but I just think those injuries to the defensive
being
line.
an analyst kind of stinks.
I will say this though.
I think it's just too because I've been down the Titans all year.
When Derrick Henry,
Honestly, that's the reason why I went Titans too. I'm tired of doubting them. They have been week in, week out proving teams wrong.
when Derrick
How
Henry
could you
went
do
out,
it?
I said that the Titans are done. They will probably get out the first round or lose in the first round of the playoffs. They got the bye week. But I'm sticking with my guns, man. I don't care that I doubted them.
Your gun said Titans, man.
I'm picking the Bengals.
All right.
Who gonna beat them Bengals? Who they?
What's the score?
I think the score is... I'll give a weird score.
Okay.
26 to 19.
Ironically, that was the score of the Raiders game and
It
the
was.
Bengals.
No, wait, it was?
It was.
I'm switching my score. I'm switching my score. It's too ridiculous. 23 to 16.
Okay. Joe Mixon, man, he's been sketchy lately. Like, he hasn't surpassed 65 yards in the last, 5 weeks.
Yeah, Burrow's just been.
He's been backpacking. But 17 attempts, 46 yards
I will
last
say
week
this.
against a rush defense that's not really good.
I will say this. It took Joe Burrow a little bit more than halfway through the season to truly feel comfortable in his knee. And you saw the difference in his movement, in his slipperiness, his slitherness, in the pocket escaping guys. Just smooth. I think that he's just playing at a different level, and he's an elite quarterback.
He is.
I think look, the Bengals have never won a road playoff game in their history as a franchise. Joe Burrow and that team has already shown they've done the impossible. They've done things the Bengals have never done. Who they gonna beat them Bengals? Who they?
You see why he wasn't bragging about their first playoff win? Because it's about to be the new norm. It was so hard to choose Tennessee, man.
It was.
It was
The
so
Bengals
hard.
have the cool factor.
They're so
For sure.
cool.
They are.
I hope Tennessee loses. I hope I'm wrong.
You're going against your guy Derrick Henry though, bro.
That's why I can't do it. I can't do it.
Right.
I hope I'm wrong, though.
What's Derrick Henry's stat line?
80 at least.
Okay.
On to the next game, the 49ers versus the Packers. This is also going to be a great game. All these games are going to be great.
Hope so.
The Packers beat the 49ers 30 to 28 in week 3. The Packers are a 6-point favorite, and Aaron Rodgers has 7 consecutive games of 2+ touchdowns with 0 interceptions, second best in NFL history. They're getting healthy. We know this matchup has history behind it because in the NFC Championship, the 49ers completely wiped the floor with the Packers. They ran all over them, 285 yards on 42 carries, 6.8 yards per rush. Now, are any of you calling an upset? And if you are, step to the plate.
I'm not.
None of you calling upsets.
I'm not.
Nope.
This is about to be a smoke show.
Do you? Are you?
No, I have the Packers in this one.
So do I.
I'll be honest. This isn't going to be a good game.
You think the Packers are going to?
I think it's going to be
wipe the
pretty
floor?
easy. They have a revenge game 2 years ago in the NFC Championship game where they got absolutely torched on the run.
They got dominated.
That being said, they'll probably get exposed on the run as well. But I think that the Packers' offense is going to be too much for them. Aaron Rodgers is playing perfect football of late. He's thrown 4 interceptions this year. 2 of them came from week 1. He's been absolutely spotless this season. And you look at these guys that they're going to be getting back. David Bakhtiari is probably going to play.
He's expected to.
Jair Alexander has logged 2 limited practice.
He's
I
expected
do
as well.
believe he's going to play. Devondre Campbell practiced in full. He's on the injury report, but he practiced in full both days. I don't have any worries about this game at all. I really don't. After what I saw against the Niners, against Dallas from the Niners and from Jimmy G has to be a 10 out of 10 this weekend.
He does.
And I asked that from Kyler Murray against the Rams. He needed to be a 10 out of 10. I don't even think that was
a 2 out of 10.
It wouldn't have happened. Yeah. Even if he was a 10 out of 10, it wouldn't have been a game. Now, I'm asking Jimmy G to play a 10 out of 10 if he wants to beat the Green Bay Packers right now, and I don't think it's a possibility.
Look, here's where we're going to disagree. You think it's going to be a smoke out. Packers are going to scrape the Niners.
I do.
Partly because your analysis on the Niners is wrong in the Cowboys game.
In what sense?
Because you act as if they didn't totally dominate that game.
Oh, no, my analysis is spot on.
They totally dominated that game versus Dallas.
Because my analysis basically right now is Jimmy G has to be perfect, and
they
Jimmy G
played
was
well,
the reason
but
why they almost
didn't
lost.
put them away.
Jimmy G
They let him
doesn't
hang
have
around.
Jimmy G doesn't have to be perfect.
Against the Packers, he does.
He doesn't.
Against the Packers,
Because
he
in
does.
the NFC Championship, he only threw for like 80 yards. I think less. He had like less than 10 pass attempts, and the Niners still won.
But that defense was way better than it is right now.
It's not.
Their secondary
It's not.
is nowhere near what it was. They don't have Sherman.
Look, the Packers, Bakhtiari, Josh Myers, they should play. Lucas, the starting offensive linemen should be Bakhtiari, Myers, Lucas Patrick, Runyon, and Billy Turner most likely. We know Jair's coming back with Zadarius. The 49ers do lead the NFL in defensive pass interference calls. And I think the match versus Devontae Adams, I mean, he's a mismatch for anybody. I don't know how they're going to cover him at all whatsoever. But he's really the only guy the Niners have to worry about. And that defensive front is going to get after Aaron Rodgers. And I think that defensive front is, in my opinion, quite obviously a step above the Packers offensive line. The Packers offensive line has been middle of the pack this year. It's nothing special. I understand Bakhtiari has been out, but this is his first game in a year. Like,
I thought he played against the Lions.
No, I don't think he played.
I'm pretty sure he got some snaps.
He did?
Yeah, I
Okay,
believe so.
check that for me. But if he did, I mean, it's still like he's going up against Nick Bosa.
Yeah,
he's going up against some really great pass rushers in this game.
But like I've mentioned so many times before, great players and great moments step up to the plate.
Yeah.
He's not regular.
And Nick Bosa isn't regular either. He will step up to the plate.
Okay, agreed. But at worst, Bakhtiari is the second best.
And you got to worry about
Eric
Eric Armstead too. Who's going to block him?
That'll be a good game.
It is going to be a good game, but
The
not
Packers,
as good as you guys think.
The Packers are 18th against the rush, allowing 115.3 yards per game. But they're 31st in yards per carry at 4.8. That's why Jimmy G doesn't have to have a perfect game.
He played 40%.
Jimmy G doesn't have to have a 10 out of 10 game for the Niners to win. He can have an 8-7 game and they can still win. I 100% believe in that because Shanahan is going to run the football. There's no doubt about it. He's familiar with LaFleur. He's familiar with Joe Barry. He's familiar with these coaches. And the Packers have not been good against the run in the past couple of weeks. Versus the Ravens, they allowed 143 rushing yards and they averaged 5.5 yards per carry with no Lamar. Versus Cleveland, allowed 200 plus yards, allowed 8.8 yards per carry. I think the Niners are better than Cleveland as a running team. The Packers have ranked 21st or lower against the run in the last 5 seasons. And that's what's held them back from making a Super Bowl run every single year. Positive signs, though, versus the Vikings. Dalvin Cook only had 13 yards on 9 carries. But Sean Mannion did play that game. So they didn't really have to, and it was like a cold weather. I mean, Sean Mannion, he wasn't a threat. They could stack the box. I don't think you can do that against Jimmy G, especially with Debo and Ayuk out there. You just can't end Kittle. The Packers also, and this is very scary for me. You talk about coming out hot. The Packers are ranked 25th in first quarter offense this season. They get off to slow starts. And if they get off to a slow start against the Niners and they're running the ball and they're chewing clock, that's a recipe for the Packers to lose the game.
What's killing me is he's talking like he picked the Niners to win, but he already told us he picked the Packers to win. So that's what I'm understanding.
This is going to be a great game. I'm going to tell you why the Packers are going to win right now.
That's what I'm waiting for.
The Packers, I think, are different than previous years. I think LaFleur has been a better coach. I think Rodgers is not who he was in 2019. He's been better in 2020 and 2021. He's been borderline flawless. He doesn't make mistakes. I think they run the ball better now with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. They run the ball way better. Defensively, Devondre Campbell is really been a cornerstone for them as a linebacker.
Without a doubt.
Getting Jair back is huge. Rasul Douglas has been huge. Eric Stokes has been awesome. They have a great roster. There's no doubt. And with Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary taking that next leap this season, Kenny Clark, Darius Smith coming back, that is a very good defensive front, a great defensive front. The reason why I'm picking the Packers to win is because Jimmy G has a bum shoulder. And I think Jimmy G, like I mentioned, I think he can have a 7. He can have a B- game, and the Niners can win. Unfortunately, I think he's going to have a CD game. I think he's going to have a D+ to C game.
I agree.
Because of that, I'm picking the Packers to win. But it's going to be a very close game. And if the Niners win, I will not for 1 second be shocked whatsoever.
Aren't the Packers your Super Bowl team, though?
Yes.
So why would you not be shocked?
Because the Niners can make it to Super Bowl.
Even though the Niners should have lost to Dallas.
Should have is crazy.
You got to
It is
stop
crazy.
saying that.
I apologize. They could have easily lost to Dallas, is what I meant to
How
say.
could have they easily lost?
The Dallas Cowboys played their worst game of the season and lost by 6 points. They had a chance to win the game on their last drive.
Wait. Okay. You know, it's funny. What you're saying is really funny. It's actually hilarious. The reason why is because you act like Dallas's last play of the game was from the distance of where Derek Carr's last play of the game was versus the Bengals.
They were at the 40, and they got to the 25. If they would have spiked it, if they would have really ran it
Derek
perfectly.
Carr
like
and the Raiders
5 or
were in
10.
the red zone. They were within the 10-yard line.
Okay.
Dallas Cowboys had to forget about the QB draw play because you disagree with the decision. So you thought
Dallas had 2 possessions in the last 2 minutes of the game.
you disagree with the decision. So let's cancel out the QB draw play. They should have won on a Hail Mary.
Could have.
With all the defensive backs back there.
I said should have. I
covering.
meant could have. It was an honest mistake.
Come on. The Niners completely dominated the Cowboys. They dominated
What are you
them.
saying?
They dominated them.
I don't know if you believe that.
We had this debate
Yes.
2 hours ago. I don't think we have to get into it again.
They dominated them in every single phase of the football game. 100%.
They still almost lost.
So, Drew, what's your score prediction? You don't think it's going to be close?
No, I
What do you-
actually don't. I
2
think it's going
touchdowns?
to be 28-14.
Okay. Wow. I'm on Joel's side. I do think this game will be a bit closer. I don't think it's going to be a 2-touchdown game. I don't think Jimmy G has to play perfect, but it's going to be very important for the 49ers defense to slow down the Packers in the first half. Because if they're able to have the rushing attack with Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel, anything's possible. Because if you keep Aaron Rodgers off the field and you're able to attack this pretty poor defensive front just in general, like you mentioned, they give the second most yards per carry. From there, Jimmy G just has to be Jimmy G. Play well off play action. Hit George Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, all of these guys.
And Jawan Jennings. I told you about him.
He's nice.
He made some great plays. I told you. He's good, man.
He did.
I like Jawan Jennings.
He did. The Niners and Packers played earlier this season. It's not really fair to look at it because Trey Sermon was the leading rusher. Elijah Mitchell was either injured or just didn't really come into his own until later in the season. And the Packers and the 49ers, they made an interesting game. You know, the Packers were up 17 at one point, but the Niners were able to come back. They scored in the last couple minutes of the game, but Rodgers does what he does. He came back, led a game-winning drive. Mason Crosby hit a 50-yard field goal, and they won the game. It was interesting in that game because the Packers were missing both Elton Jenkins and David Bakhtiari. So Nick Bosa was having a field day against the left side of that offensive line.
You said Elton Jenkins?
Jenkins, yeah, left guard.
He's not going to play, though.
Yeah, just in general. I'm not sure who their backup was at that point. But Bakhtiari obviously coming in this game is going to be huge for them. Rodgers in that game had his quickest time to throw in his career. So their game plan was, we're just going to get the ball out. We're not going to let Nick Bosa beat us, even though he had 5 pressures. He had a sack. He played a really good game. Devontae Adams was ridiculous. 12 catches, 130 yards, and a touchdown. Targeted on 56% of his routes, highest of his career. So they just said, we're going to feed Tay. You can't stop him. They weren't. I don't trust them to stop him this week again. I've seen too many years of Devontae Adams being excellent that I don't trust anybody to stop him, even if it is Jalen Ramsey. But I'm looking at this game.
Ooh, Ramsey's not stopping him?
He'll contain him, but no,
I agree.
he'll still go
I
for at
agree.
least 80.
That's very fair. At least 80.
Yeah. And Ramsey's also not going to shatter him every play.
I think he might.
I don't think he will.
We're talking about a matchup that's not happening.
I know.
But it's going to happen.
It could. They definitely could. But look at this game. Like I mentioned, Elijah Mitchell is going to be in. Jimmy G has been a lot better the second half of the season as he was all the way down in back three. If you're the 49ers, you have to figure out some way to slow down Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. I mean, that's the story basically about every team was going to play the Packers. How are you going to stop arguably the best quarterback and the best wide receiver in the game? In the first matchup, they weren't able to. I really don't see where they do it in this matchup. And if you're the Packers, it's pretty simple. If you're able to pressure Jimmy Garoppolo, force him into throws he doesn't want to make, you'll win this game. When Jimmy G throws an interception, they're 2-6. When he doesn't, they're 7-0. So for the 49ers, protect the ball, somehow get pressure on Rodgers, even though he has one of the quickest time to throws in the league with some of the best weapons in the league. A couple things I do want to mention. Number one is weather. In their 4 previous matchups, it never got colder than 58 degrees. This matchup has a low of 3. It's going to be freezing. Green Bay's used to that. San Fran does play in some inclement weather, but Green Bay is definitely have the home field advantage here. It never getting lower than 58 is crazy, so it's going to be a big change from their previous matchups. You guys mentioned the injuries. Jimmy G with a shoulder and a thumb injury. It was interesting because the line opened at, I want to say, like 4.5, and then it jumped to 6 once the injury report came out. So there might be a little bit more than just a shoulder injury that Jimmy G is going to be able to play through. And then the Packers right now are just getting healthy at the right time, while the 49ers aren't. Nick Bosa also in concussion protocol. Packers are the healthier team. They have the better quarterback. They have the better overall team. I do think it's going to be close, but I have them winning 24-20.
I think the score is going to be 33-28. I will say this. Aaron Rodgers has to have a perfect game. If he doesn't, they will lose.
Yes, it seems like it's a perfect game every game.
That's why I'm not worried.
I know. That's why I'm not too worried either, but I'm just saying, like, I think he throws one interception, they lose the game. Like that's how thin of a margin of error I think it's going to be for the Packers. This just isn't a good matchup for them. It's as simple as that. It's not a good matchup. Nobody wants to face the Niners. Nobody, not the Rams. They already beat them. Not the Bucs. Not the Packers. Everybody's scared of the Niners.
Rams aren't scared.
I don't think the Packers care.
No, not at all. I'm telling you, Packers are about to wax them.
Yeah, I think the Packers do care. I think they're over there. They're pretty scared.
I don't think any of these matches are great for the Packers, but I think they'll be like, fuck it, we'll play anyone. We have Rodgers.
It's a fact.
I mean, I guess you're right to a degree. I have the Packers in this one.
Yeah, so we're all on the Packers. Oh, you picked the Bengals. Okay, never mind.
I picked the Bengals, yeah. So this is going to be a tough one. It's going to be very tough.
Sorry, just going to love that.
Very next game, the Rams versus the Buccaneers. In week 3, the Rams beat the Bucs 34-24. The Bucs are 2.5-point favorites. Drew, you're picking the Rams. You picked them to go to the Super Bowl. You're Ramily, and the chant they were cheering at the Rams Stadium.
Let's hear it.
Was, whose house is this? Rams house.
I like that.
And this towel, it says champs here. But sadly, it's NFC West champs. So not NFC Championship champs, not Super Bowl champs. It's NFC West champs. So will they be more than just NFC West champs?
100%. 100%. They're going to be NFC champions, Super Bowl champions, TBD. I need my time. Bills have been playing great. Chiefs are the Chiefs. You never know. That being said, this is an easy one for me personally.
Ooh.
Is this for me, bro?
Yes.
This guy spoiled me this weekend.
He did.
Spoiled me this weekend. I got to say thank you. I won't say what you blessed me with because they don't need to know all that, but thank you, bro. That being said, about this game, I look at the Buccaneers and I worry about their weapons. Jalen Ramsey is the best corner in football. I won't hear it any other corner. I don't care who it is. If it's not Jalen Ramsey, I don't want it. Because forget about his lockdown coverage. In open field tackling, Jalen Ramsey might be the best tackling cornerback I've ever seen in my lifetime. There's no one I've seen that is more willing to make contact with the opposing player than Jalen Ramsey. He wants to hit the offensive player. He is so special when it comes to play recognition and just adapting on the fly. Jalen Ramsey is just a special cat. I love his game. And he only has to worry about Mike Evans this weekend. And that's all the Eagles had to worry about this weekend, and it didn't matter because Mike Evans absolutely destroyed them, had over 100 yards. He had 117, 9 receptions, and a touchdown. He was amazing. But it's a whole different ball game when you're going against Jalen Ramsey. And you look at this game against the Eagles, they did not have to throw that much. But there was not another receiver on this team that had over 40 yards. And in the run game, Keyshawn Vaughn played a good game for Keyshawn Vaughn's standards, but he had 17 carries for 53 yards. He had Gio Bernard rush for 13 carries, 44 yards, which is a little bit better efficiency, but still not great. Both of them scored. But it was because they were both really close to the red zone when they had these opportunities. I just can't see a way that the Buccaneers win this game. I think that they don't have the personnel to match up with the Rams right now. I don't think that we'll see a game that we saw from them early on this season where the Rams absolutely dominated the Buccaneers. I personally don't see that. I do think this will be a competitive game, arguably the best game this weekend. I'm lying. Bills-Chiefs is going to be the game of the week. That being said, this is going to be a very close second. I just think Rams right now, forget about how they're playing. I think personnel-wise, they are just more talented overall. They're just the healthier team overall. And I think we're seeing a lot of injuries on that offensive line from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past weekend. I'm not sure what the injury report is right now, but you're going to see a banged-up Wirfs, and that is going to be an absolute field day for Von Miller and Aaron Donald. Tom Brady was sacked 4 times against a good defensive line in the Eagles. But it's not the Rams' defensive line. The Rams' defensive line is the best in the NFL. And if Tom Brady doesn't have his guy protecting his right side, I think that it is going to be a long day for the Buccaneers. But it's Tom Brady. I'll give him that respect that he deserves. It will be a close game, but ultimately Rams are winning this game. And my final prediction is going to be 27-21.
Real quick before you go, The Athletic is reporting that Jim Harbaugh would accept the Vegas job if it was offered to him.
Okay, yeah, that's great news. I love your vote of confidence, Drew. I mean, you have to stick with it at this point. It's too late for you to back down now. So
Again,
I can understand.
That's not me.
I can understand.
Anyone that watches this show knows.
We got the Rams fan, we got the Bucs fan.
I can understand.
Ramley, we're going to ride into the sunset. We're going to be on the horns, holding on the whole way. We're going, baby. Trust.
You know, last year, as I repeated on the show all the time, I picked the Bucs to win the Super Bowl, and it was like my June pick. I'm very happy about that. I'm gonna gloat about that for the entirety
Rest
of
your life. Yeah, I would too.
That was a great pick. They're not the same team from last year. They're not.
Definitely not.
Being a Rams fan for one night when I went to the playoff game,
best night of your life.
it was great. You know, I got the chance to feel what winning is like in a playoff game. The Jets have never given me that.
Oh,
It's 2010. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You were in middle school.
I haven't felt that in a while, and I've never felt that in the stadium. But I felt that energy in the stadium. But my main concern with the Bucs is Matthew Stafford.
Shocker.
In that game, Matthew Stafford didn't have to play beyond himself because everything was really there for him.
I mean, he had 343, 4 touchdowns.
Those passes to 343. What are you talking about?
In this game?
No, I'm talking about the last week versus Cardinals.
I was going to say because when they played the Bucs, he absolutely went bonkers.
No, yeah, I'm talking about the Cardinals. The throws to OBJ, they were phenomenal. There's no doubt.
Van Jefferson. Cooper
But
Kupp.
there were also some throws I saw Stafford make in that game that was a little bit of an underthrow right there. You're lucky the guy was open by 6 yards because it could have ended up bad. In their first matchup, the Rams beat the Buccaneers handily, but the Rams didn't do anything defensively that really fazed Brady. Brady threw for over 400, had a touchdown, had 0 picks on the day. It was really the Bucs defense. That game, Sean Murphy-Bunting didn't play. Carl Davis didn't play. Jamel Dean didn't play. Their top 3 cornerbacks, they're playing in this game. Also in that game, the Rams had Deshaun Jackson, who had over 100 yards in that game, who was huge in it. They had Robert Woods still. They don't have a deep threat like that now that the Bucs really have to worry about. And I do think Woods is a little bit better than OBJ.
Van Jefferson isn't a deep threat?
I don't really. He is their deep threat, but he's not a Deshaun Jackson level deep threat, in my opinion. He doesn't scare defense like Deshaun Jackson. Even at Deshaun Jackson's old age, he doesn't.
I feel like that's a good thing. because then you catch them sleeping. And that's been Van Jefferson all season.
Yeah, you're not going to catch the Bucs sleeping.
And Cooper Kupp is still a great downfield
I don't know,
target.
bro. Quez Watkins was wide open multiple times down the field. They get caught sleeping.
31-0. It was 31-0, bro.
Again, but there was opportunities.
The Rams
Okay.
are
Exactly.
Okay,
It's the Rams.
better
but
than the Eagles.
this is what I'm saying. Ultimately, I know that Tristan Wirfs is hobbled. He might not play. You mentioned Donald having a field day. He doesn't even line up there. I would expect more.
I said Von Miller.
I would expect more Leonard Floyd. That he's the matchup, really. Leonard Floyd. And can I see the Rams really getting after Brady and making it really tough on him? I can see it, but I really am not expecting that. I think their offensive line is still the best in the league. Tristan Wirfs is a huge part of that, but you can have Gronk helping to chip Von Miller or Donald. Von Miller is good. He can be great in certain plays. He's not the elite player he once was.
Playoff time, though.
Aaron Donald is the only elite player on that defensive line, truly elite player on that defensive line. You mentioned the Jalen Ramsey versus Mike Evans matchup. Mike Evans, his last 3 matches versus Jalen Ramsey, has had 6 receptions for 58 yards. So he's been productive against Ramsey.
You said last 3 times. That's his average.
Yeah, 58 yards per game. Yeah. So it's a pretty even-keeled matchup. I think Mike Evans proved against the Eagles, against Darius Slay, that, now that I'm the option, you guys can go to me. In that game, AB didn't play. Godwin did play, but AB didn't play, so I don't think that's that big of a factor. Leonard Fournette is probably playing in this game. The Bucs have the 3rd best rushing defense in the NFL. 21st against the pass. Most of that is due to their injuries in the secondary all season long. The Eagles were the best rushing team in football by a wide margin. The Bucs shut that down. The Bucs will shut down the Rams' offensive rushing. They will shut that down. Matthew Stafford has to have that big-time performance, put the team on his back, and I don't expect that to happen. Ryan Jensen's playing, Sean Murphy-Bunting, JPP, Tristan Wirfs, game-time decision. Todd Bowles last year showed us he can scheme against Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes and be mightily successful. That defense is not injured. That defense is healthy. The offense, they lost Godwin. That's their injury. Fournette, Wirfs, but Brady is that great. I mean, it's more likely for him to make a Super Bowl than it is for Curry to make a 3-point shot. And Curry's the greatest 3-point shooter to ever live. Todd Bowles blitzes on 40% of his defensive snaps. He's going to get after Stafford. He's going to make him think. Stafford came up hobbled in Week 18 versus the Niners. Because the Cardinals game wasn't a competition, he really didn't have to put stress on himself in terms of moving and creating plays outside the pocket, being mobile, and really being a playmaker in that aspect. The Bucs have allowed the least amount of sacks in the NFL at 23. Most of that is due to the great offensive line. A lot of that also is due to Tom Brady recognizing as soon as the ball is snapped, I don't have it here. And then just throwing it away, getting rid of the ball. The Buccaneers will win this game. You don't beat Brady.
You're hoping.
I'm not hoping.
You're hoping.
You're hoping.
I'm not. I really feel confident. I genuinely have no stress about this game. The fact that Rams are underdogs is great. I'm happy. We should all go to DraftKings and put a lot of money into the Rams.
You know what's funny is that people like you have doubted Brady so many times and have been wrong.
I've never doubted Brady in my life.
You're doubting him now.
This isn't doubting him.
You're doubting him now.
I'm not.
You're doubting him now.
This is not me doubting him.
You said it was going to be a close game when you said 20-24.
Exactly. And I said because of Brady, it's going to be close. But he's lost in his life.
The Buccaneers will win this game.
I'm interested in the
score.
And
it's going to be handily. It's going to be 31-17. Buccaneers will win.
2-touchdown game. I don't know if I see that. I'm riding with the Ramley. I'm riding with my Rams.
Throw them up, baby. Throw them up.
Ramley, yeah. I'm here.
I'm going to come in here next week wrong.
I like
Throw up your index, bro. I mean,
yeah, stuff. That's it right there.
Come on now. You wish you were part of that.
That's got to be the
I felt it.
Yeah,
I felt it.
Exactly.
Don't want to be part of that for more than one day. I'm good.
Bro Feltis said it was one of the greatest experiences of his sports life and said, nah, I can't experience this anymore.
You said a lot of good things, Joel. You said a lot of good things about the Bucs. For sure. I've been one that I've had to deal with Brady my whole life, and I'm not doubting him. He's somebody that I've I've seen win way too many times, and I don't want to see him win again. And that isn't me being biased or anything.
The Rams just aren't the 2010 New York Jets.
That's fair. No one's the 2010 New York Jets. No one's got Rex. When I look back, though, at week 3, because, like you said, the Bucs offensive line has been great, but the Rams were able to get after him. Aaron Donald showed why he was the best defensive lineman in the NFL that game. 5 total pressures, 3 tackles for loss, and a strip sack.
Talk to him.
He was pressuring Brady the whole game up the middle. That's really how you affect Brady. If he can't step up in the pocket, he's not rolling out to the left or right. If you're able to get pressure up the middle in the interior, like the Rams were able to do in that game, you're going to have some success against Brady, even though he still had a great game. On the other hand, the Bucs defensive line wasn't really able to do anything in that game. They didn't get a sack on Stafford until the 4th quarter with like 5 minutes left in the game. The defensive line in general struggled to generate pressure. And you mentioned that Todd Bowles likes to blitz, and he did. They blitzed Devin White and Levante David 15 times. That only generated 2 pressures. When they did blitz, Stafford ate them up. He completed 80% of his passes for 90 yards and a touchdown. Stafford also had 0 turnover-worthy plays. He was great passing the ball deep, completing 60% of his passes, including 1 touchdown. So Stafford played spectacular in this game, even against a really good Bucs defense who was still pressuring him, who was blitzing. And since the Bucs were trailing most of the game, they weren't able to establish a run. I think it'll be close. So Ronald Jones and Lenny Fournette, who is expected to play, they're going to be more involved. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. If the Rams want to have success, it's got to be similar to what they did in week 3. You got to keep Stafford clean. They did a great job really limiting the pressure for Stafford. And you got to pressure Brady internally. Aaron Donald, if there's anyone who could pressure any offensive lineman, it's going to be him. Like I said, he had an MVP type performance in that game. And from there, you got to be able to run the ball with Cam Akers and Sony Michel. Cam Akers came out in that Arizona game. He looked phenomenal. He looked like he had that explosiveness, that juice, that agility, that twitch that we saw before his Achilles injury. And he even had a few plays that were called back, a few chunk plays that were called back as well. I know that the Buccaneers were able to shut down the Philadelphia Eagles rushing attack, but this offense is just more explosive. Jalen Hurts is not the quarterback Stafford is. They don't have the outside weapons that the Rams do, or the running backs. Cam Akers is better than every running back that the Eagles have, even his 3rd game back from an Achilles injury.
Miles Sanders is better than?
Yes, easily.
The guy that you always praise.
Who, Cam Akers?
When have I praised Miles? Last year?
Don't lie.
Yeah, no, I did praise him last year, but then once I realized,
yes, you did.
Let's be honest, bro.
He's a guy.
He's Cam Akers is different.
He is.
Not against that Bucs defense. Nope.
Cam Akers.
I love Cam Akers.
Did you see him go deep on some balls too? Yeah. Come on now.
Amazing story.
If the Bucs want to have some success in this game, you guys mentioned the injuries to this offensive line. I saw Wirfs and Jensen are both going to be game time decisions. I don't think it's a sure thing that either of them are going to be playing. So Brady's going to do what he's been doing his whole career. Short passes, screens, get the ball out quick. And defensively, you're right. You got to make Stafford beat you. You cannot let this run game going, because if you're getting 5-6 yards a clip, this game is going to be over. From there, Stafford can feast off play action, hit some deep shots to Odell, Van Jefferson, get Cooper Kupp involved as well. And then the injuries, the Rams just the more healthy team. Andrew Whitworth did get rolled up on in the last game. I believe he didn't play at all in the second half, but he does seem, he's questionable, but he does seem likely to play. It's going to be close, and I don't want to bet against Brady because you're going to be wrong more often than not. Mm-hmm. But I just think the Rams are the healthier team, and that's really important in a playoff run when you're trying to compete for a Super Bowl. So I got the Rams winning narrowly. I have you picked 28-14. I also have 28-14, but the Rams.
No, I'm 31.
Oh, yeah. Did you have 28-14?
I had 28-14 for Green Bay and San Fran.
Well, so whatever.
28-14.
No, 28-24. No one picked that? Okay.
No.
Rams 28-24.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you guys are amigos on this one, and you guys are both gonna lose together. It's good that you two are sticking by each other's sides, because you guys have been very pushy with me when I have criticized Stafford. So I'm glad that you guys are sticking by your guns throughout the entire year. Sadly, it's not going to end the best for you guys. I can already feel,
he can't even get the words out. He knows he's about to be wrong.
I can already feel after Sunday, when it's already going to be the Bills and Chiefs, the text message I send you guys, like, I'm sorry, I told you Stafford couldn't do it in prime time, all this other stuff. But, okay, I hope that you guys find peace after the end result of that game.
We will.
All right, man.
I hope you guys find I feel like you guys have some fear in your heart over the picks that you guys picked.
I actually have not felt better about picks in a long time.
I feel pretty confident about them.
This is where champions are made. The wild card, we were all 5-1, but the wild card, the favorites won five times out of one. So that was a very easy week to pick. This divisional round, this is where champions are made.
I'm with you, man. This is tough.
And this last game is the best game of the divisional round, the Bills versus Chiefs. They played in week 3. I don't know. They played in week 5 or week 6, one of those. The Bills beat the Chiefs 38-20. Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites in this game. Now, you guys are all riding with Mahomes?
No. I'm choosing the Bills. I said it last week. I'm going to say it again this week. The Bills are the hottest team in football right now. Both sides of the football. Defensively, I gave them a lot of pushback because their schedule was not the strongest. But they've shown me it does not matter who they play. Outside of their rush defense, which I do have my concerns about, their pass defense is still great, even with Trey White being out. If the Chiefs want to win this game, their pass defense needs to be what it usually is. But we've seen Mahomes have some struggles this season, more so than any other season in his career. Now, we know come playoff time, Mahomes is a different beast, and he's been a different beast throughout the entirety of his career thus far. But I'm looking at the Bills, and I'm looking at how they have changed their offense, and I don't see how they lose this game. I can't see how they lose this game. It's Mahomes. However, I still feel that confident in the Bills to win this game, given the fact that Josh Allen is arguably the best quarterback in the AFC.
League.
I'll give it to Rodgers. Rodgers was perfect this year, at least, outside of literally week 1. But other than that, he has been flawless. But I do think this season, Josh Allen proved that he was the best AFC quarterback this year at least. And the run game really has been phenomenal these last couple of weeks. They've really done a great job in incorporating Devin Singletary, and I've been adamant on the fact that they need a run game if they want to compete for a Super Bowl. If they got that run game, they were a perfect team in my eyes. Now they're starting to incorporate Devin Singletary, who absolutely did his thing this past weekend, against the Patriots, 16 for 81 and a touchdown. I'm looking at this Chiefs defense, who it's been good, but it's been bad. Bad to start the season, got really, really strong towards the middle of the year, kind of cooled down, but was still relatively solid. But we still saw the Bengals really torch them. And I still just look at the Bills right now and just think, how are they going to stop Stephon Diggs? Gabriel Davis has been a great option for Josh Allen. Emmanuel Sanders is in this mix now too, and you have to worry about him. Cole Beasley is a solid option that you just cannot not at least scheme for a little bit. I understand Stephon Diggs is that 1A without a doubt. Cole Beasley isn't a slouch by any means. And we can't forget about Dawson Knox, who led the league this year in touchdowns at the tight end position. There's no holes on this offense at all. Any holes that they had were gone once they started to incorporate Singletary into this mix. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be the game of the weekend, without a doubt. It is going to be a high-scoring game. But I think the Bills right now are the hotter team, and the hotter teams win come playoff time. I'm going Bills 35-28.
Oh, you want me to go? We're switching it up. You've been going second the whole time. Or just want to look me in the eyes?
That was part of it.
Oh, nice.
You can go.
Okay.
I'm going to save my answer.
All right, nice. Because I'm curious if we have different answers. But I do have a different answer than Drew, who's sitting across from me right now. I'll give the Bills their credit. They were spectacular against the Patriots. They've been really good all season. I mean, the fact that you're able to have a perfect game, 7 straight touchdowns against the Patriots and Bill Belichick nonetheless, that might never happen again. I doubt it's ever happened in Bill Belichick's history, and who knows, even NFL history. I don't know if that has happened. What Josh Allen did last week is, it might be something that'll never happen again. I mean, you have 21 completions and you have 308 yards. It's 21 yards per completion. He's just, whatever he wanted to do against that Patriots secondary and defense as a whole, he was able to do it. One thing that really impressed me, they only had 7 third downs the entire game. For reference, the Patriots had 14, the Bucs had 13, the Rams had 13, the Chiefs had 12. So they were it was complete and utter domination from this Bills offense. It was the best they've looked all season and the last couple of years, really, since Josh Allen has broken out. And given this is still a young Josh Allen, this is when Bill Belichick is supposed to be great against opposing quarterbacks, and the fact he's doing this is ridiculous. When we look the first 2 times they played, because you brought that up, it is hard to bring it up because of how different the Chiefs are now. Back then, not only was their defense bad, their offense was still in shambles. In that game, Josh Allen was fantastic. He had 315 yards and only 15 completions. He was 5 for 6 on throws, 20+ yards. 2 of them resulting in touchdowns. I think that was Dawson Knox. Really his coming out party at over 100 yards and a touchdown as well. The offensive line played great. Overall, the Bills were just spectacular in that game. And then Kansas City, as they did for the first about month and a half in the season, looked really bad. Mahomes struggled to move the ball down the field. Targeted Tyreek and Kelsey 23 times, only resulted in 120 total yards. So overall, the offense wasn't good, including the offensive line, who allowed 14 pressures, 8 of them coming from their right tackle, Louis Niang. Just a terrible game from Kansas City. But now we're not in week 4 or 5 anymore. We're in week, 20, I guess, technically now. And this isn't the same Kansas City team that played Buffalo in week 5. They were 2-3 after that game. Since then, they went 10-2. They averaged 33 points per game, number 1 in the NFL. They're allowing 19 points per game, top 10 in the NFL. I know Buffalo is right up there with them. Both teams are relatively healthy. Tyreek and L'Jarius Sneed both practicing full. Tyreek was doing like backflips in the Steelers game. I know he didn't have the best game, but he should be fine to go. Clyde didn't practice, which was interesting, but Andy Reid said not to really look too much into it. And the Bills really don't have many injuries to look on in their front two. So when I look at both of these teams, it's really hard to pick who has the edge in any position. Both their offense have been spectacular. Both their defense have been really good this year. But then who do I want to bet on? Do I want to bet on Mahomes and Andy Reid at home?
Basic.
Or do I want to bet on Josh Allen and McDermott on the road?
Cool.
And that's really just the one thing that comes down to. That Kansas City is going to have that home field advantage. Those little things on third down when it's going to be really loud for Buffalo and it's going to be quiet for Kansas City. Those key moments where they're just going to have that slight edge being at home. But it's going to be a good game. I got Kansas City winning 31-27.
Made a lot of interesting points right there. Josh Allen, 5 touchdown passes versus the Patriots, flawless game. Mahomes saw that and did it to the Steelers too.
Hell yeah.
And when Mahomes did that, it showed me one thing. It told me one thing about him. He's looking at Josh Allen. He's looking at him through his rear view mirror like he's driving a car.
This is such facts what he's about to say.
And he sees Josh Allen coming right here trying to merge onto his lane, trying to cut him off like a New York City driver. That's why Mahomes had that 5 touchdown game. Kind of like Fast and Furious, kind of like Vin Diesel, just cutting him off. But Josh Allen is ferocious. He's a Bill for life. Last year, when the Chiefs faced the Bills in the AFC Championship, I had just watched The Four Falls of Buffalo. Excellent E60 documentary on the Bills' 4 straight Super Bowl losses with Jim Kelly and that Bills roster that was built by Bill Polian. A soft spot emerged in my heart for the Buffalo Bills. Even though they are an AFC East rival, and maybe that came into your decision, even though I don't think you're that type of guy.
I am.
I said the Bills have just went through so much heartache. I'm picking them. I picked them last year. They lost. They were at home.
Got smoked.
Stephon Diggs watched from the sidelines as he watched the Chiefs celebrate and go on to the Super Bowl and then get embarrassed by the Bucs. The Chiefs' defense has been great. But over the past couple of weeks, they struggled mightily against the Bengals, struggled mightily against the Chargers, even struggled against the Drew Lock Broncos in Week 18. And they were trying that game as well. As good as the Chiefs' defense has been, the Bills have been better.
Has been.
First against the pass, 13th against the run. Trey White is not playing, yes. Levi Wallace, Teron Johnson, Dane Jackson have all been amazing. And having 2 all-pro caliber safeties in Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde really helps those guys out. Travis Kelce has not been the elite tight end he's been this year. He's been good.
Really good.
Yeah, but I think he's lost a step. I don't think he's that same guy we've seen over the past couple of years.
You said this about Mike Evans, and you were so blatantly wrong.
I would not say that.
The Buffalo Bills this season finished with the highest pressure rate in the NFL at 30.8% and a hurry rate at 15.4%. And they only blitzed 26% of the time. The Bills' offense is averaging 32.3 points per game in their last 6 games. Buffalo has ran for 164 yards in that span. Josh Allen on the run, 14 touchdowns to 1 interception, 11.8 air yards per attempt. The best quarterback on the run in the NFL. Mahomes has the resume over Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the better quarterback right now. There's no doubt about it.
I agree.
Josh Allen has a case to be the best player in the NFL. The only person I'd put above him at the quarterback position is Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen is that special. He torched the Patriots defense, a great defense all season, even though they started to fall apart as the season progressed. Bill Belichick has never been embarrassed by that. No coach has ever been embarrassed like that because the Bills had the first perfect offensive game. All drives outside of the kneel down at the end, they scored on. Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes. He outplayed him when they faced earlier this season, and he's going to outplay him again at Arrowhead Stadium because he's looking at Mahomes and he said, "You beat me in Buffalo." Stephon Diggs watching from the sidelines in disappointment, disgust. They're coming with vengeance. They're coming ready. They're coming for war. Josh Allen is going to win this for the Buffalo Bills. I picked the Buffalo Bills to make the Super Bowl early in the season, and that's exactly what they're going to do. And this right here, the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs, forget about all the divisional games this weekend. This is the Super Bowl. Whichever team wins this game is winning it all. And the Buffalo Bills are winning it all.
Beautifully said.
I'm with it, man. Listen, what else is there to say?
It was beautifully said. You're just going to be wrong. So
it's
no.
The
Buffalo Bills will win.
I can't go against Mahomes in KC, bro.
It's so basic, though. Like,
it's
come
not.
on, bro.
These teams are neck and neck.
No thanks. Won't be caught dead rooting for that ketchup-eating bastard.
Yeah, and you wonder why I want to root for Josh Allen, bro?
Because his fan base jumps through tables, and they're kind of cool.
So white.
Josh Allen is my guy. And he's very similar to another guy wearing number 2 in New York. That's coming soon.
Josh Allen's different, man.
Josh Allen just got like 40 pounds on him in 3 inches.
Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL outside of Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen is the best young quarterback in the NFL.
I'm with you.
Well,
there's no doubt about it.
Wait, you just said Mahomes earlier in the show.
No doubt about it. You did say Mahomes earlier in the show. Okay.
Wasn't me.
Because no doubt about it's crazy. Like, Mahomes is right there.
You know who Shaggy is?
Shaggy?
Yep.
Like
Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
No, like the musician.
Oh, I'm not informed.
It wasn't me.
No?
It wasn't me. Josh, I said it's an argument between Allen. I'd pick Allen right now.
Yeah,
if I said Mahomes, I apologize.
You did.
I was wrong.
Mahomes and Allen.
Josh Allen is the best young quarterback in the NFL. He's the best player in football right now, I think.
Better
you put
Rodgers.
everything. That's the only thing I'm pushing back on, honestly. That's the only thing. But like,
I agree.
he has an argument too for that.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is and
Rodgers just makes no mistakes.
Josh Allen has played in bad weather all year long. He played in 0 degrees in Buffalo versus the Patriots.
Yeah.
Threw it like it was California.
I don't know. So does Mahomes. He plays in Kansas City. That's not good weather either.
Yep, but I think you couple in Kelce losing a step.
I don't know
He
why
did
you're
not
saying
lose a
this,
step.
bro.
Again, you said the same thing about Evans, and you tweeted exactly what I said on the show.
Did you not see Kelce that Charger game when he had that game-winning touchdown? He looked like he was in his prime.
Kelce was elite. He's great now. He's not elite still.
He is elite.
He's elite, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. All right.
All right, look. But okay. Tyreek Hill, though, drop problem. He does have a drop problem this season. That can cost them too. Mahomes, half of his interceptions this year have been receivers dropping the ball. So that can play a factor in it. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills, man.
It's going to be a great game. This is a Sunday night game, right?
I hope. Let's see.
No, it is Sunday night game. Yeah,
Tough.
for sure. So before we end off the show, just quickly give your divisional round winners so we don't have to cut up the clips for TikTok all individually. So for the divisional round, I have the Bengals beating the Titans, the Packers beating the Niners, the Buccaneers beating the Rams, and I got the Bills beating the Chiefs. Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes.
Go ahead, Joe.
You're crazy for that. But I have the Titans beating the Bengals, the Packers beating the 49ers, the Rams upsetting the Buccaneers, and the Chiefs beating the Bills.
Now your boy has the Titans beating the Bengals, the Packers beating the Niners, the Rams handling business against the Buccaneers, and without a doubt, the Bills beating the Chiefs.
That's a perfect TikTok clip. Thank God I don't got to go through all those clips. Holy moly.
Facts.
Yeah, you totally forgot last time. This is going to do it for episode 147
Can't wait to piss.
of the Pick a Side Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast, on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod. Please leave a rating on Spotify, 5-star rating, and a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating. Either one works fine. Thank you guys if you made it this far. We appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.